Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 717WB. 151 Daddy don't kill me, I'm your son. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Listening to Shanks's words, Ben Beckman, who was sitting on the ship's guardrail, glanced ahead, then put his eyes on Shanks and said, "Boss, you don't have to worry too much, I think Whitebeard will handle this matter well. After all, his title of being the strongest man in the world is not something he just said with his mouth." Shanks looked at Ben Beckman, and sighed softly. If it was before, I wouldn't worry about anything. But now, Whitebeard is still unable to escape the punishment of time. The last time I saw him, I could already feel that his body was very bad, and this time the battle would probably cause a dark wound on his body. What's more, this time, the world government came prepared, waiting for Whitebeard to jump into the pit. At the same time as he was talking, Shanks looked at the sea again, his deep pupils made it difficult to understand. Ben Beckman didn't say anything, his eyes stayed on Shanks for a few minutes, and finally looked at the sea. At this moment, a fat man wearing small sunglasses, a green and white striped hat, a green and white striped shirt, and a yellow coat came over. It's all to blame for Kaido. If it wasn't for the purpose of intercepting Kaido's sneak attack, we would have reached Marineford long ago. Lackey Lu said calmly. No way, Lackey Lu, if we don't intercept Kaido, Kaido will attack Whitebeard from behind, and things will become more complicated. Ben Beckman reminded. Yes, advertisement. Shanks also responded at this time, and continued. If Kaido also joins in, then things will become more complicated and completely run away, and no one can stop it. As he was talking, the image of him encountering Kaido gradually appeared in Shanks' mind. The difference from the original is that blocking Kaido this time is not in exchange for any conditions. Simply, just convincing Kaido of the pros and cons. At the time, Shanks said so. If Kaido insists on doing this, then you will be facing 4 Emperor's pirates, and maybe even Marine will lean to his side. The reason is also very simple. If Kaido is fighting the Whitebeard pirates and the Red Hair pirates to the death, do you think Marine will pass up a chance to completely wipe out the 4 Emperors? The answer is not possible. Although Kaido was stubborn in front of him, he tried a few tricks with the red hair, but he didn't say yes, so he left with someone. Ha 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 ha. Shanks burst into laughter and said relieved. Forget it, now, it's useless to worry about it anymore, it's just up to fate, I can come, it's an explanation for Luffy and Captain Roger. 95. However, what Shanks didn't know was that the Whitebeard pirates, with the arrival of the 17th Division, had the upper hand in Marineford. At this moment, Marineford, more than half of the area has sunk to the bottom of the sea. Marine's side appeared, unprecedented loss. Advertisement. Shichibukai's people are also shrewd. Since Doflamingo suffered a big loss from Su Yong, the other Shichibukai didn't dare to provoke the 17th Division, but instead focused on other teams. Captain, are on the body of ordinary members. After all, yes, they're just here to make up the numbers, not to give Marine a hard time, they're gone. It's just a cutscene. In addition, it is worth mentioning that Luffy and his party have also arrived, but when they arrived, they were stunned, and the situation was completely different from what they thought. Now, I'm still indulging in the reunion with Ace and Sabo. As for Whitebeard's side, the ability of Whitebeard in front of using shock fruit was restrained by dark fruit to a certain extent, and Blackbeard in front was still proud. And to Whitebeard, did you see it, Dad, this is the ability I took from the captain of the 4th Division, Sachi. Single quote. However, in the next second, he regretted it. Whitebeard directly attacked with Kong Cloud Cut, which caught Blackbeard by surprise, and slashed his abdomen with a knife. Ah, it hurts, it hurts. Damn it. Blackbeard lay on the ground, clutching the long wound while rolling on the ground. Before he could regain his senses, Whitebeard made another move immediately, and saw him jumping forward. To prevent Blackbeard from moving, he stepped on Blackbeard's hand with one foot, and the other hand was cut with clouds. The handle is pressed. And Whitebeard's free hand grabbed Blackbeard's head with one hand. Quote. Pride, rashness, that's your weakness. Advertisement. While speaking, a white circle appeared on Whitebeard's hand. Obviously, this was the ability of shock fruit. As for Blackbeard, after seeing this scene, he panicked completely, and hurriedly played the emotional card again. Stop, Daddy, stop, I'm your son. Are you really going to kill me? 35. Hearing Blackbeard's words, Whitebeard's eyes sank slightly, his brows moved slightly, and he said coldly, I said, teach, only you are not worthy of being my son. As soon as the voice fell, Whitebeard released the ability of shock fruit, which immediately caused a violent explosion in the direction he was standing. The aftermath of the explosion, Zhao Zhao, was rushing towards Su Yong at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. Captain, Sweat, Lafitte and his party were in a hurry, but they didn't dare to act rashly. After all, behind them, there was a guy like a beast. Once they make a move, it is naturally a good thing to be able to help their own captain, but what they are most afraid of is that they will die at the hands of Su Yong before they can make a move. Lafitte made eye contact, and seemed to decide something. In an instant, all of them turned their heads and attacked Su Yong. In the face of this sudden attack, Su Yong was slightly startled, but it was within his expectations. After all, he didn't believe that the Blackbeard pirates would be so honest and obedient. It's so. I'll make it happen for you. Advertisement. 152 Blackbeard. Hey, I'm here, hey, I'm gone for flowers. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I saw Su Yong waved his hand gently, and a huge tree root burst out on the ground in an instant, like a flood, attacking Lafitte and the others. In a blink of an eye, they pushed them far away. In the current state, I can't deal with the 5 elders, but against you, that's more than enough. Su Yong gave a small smile. Just as those words fell, suddenly, a voice came from behind Su Yong. Successful sneak attack. As soon as the voice fell, San Juan Evil Wolf directly lifted a huge building and smashed it down towards Su Yong. Brush. The huge building fell down with great speed. However, Su Yang's body did not move too much. I saw him slowly raise his right hand, covering armament hockey instantly. Boom. The huge building smashed into Su Yang's hands. The ground he stepped on shook a little, followed by a faint smoke rising slowly. What? San Juan Evil Wolf was stunned for a moment, and he was a little unexpected about this result. Crack, crack. .477. Advertisement. At this moment, the huge building began to crack, followed by shattering to the ground. Su Yong turned around, looked at the giant countless times bigger than himself, and grinned. Yes, if the sneak attack is successful, you should be rewarded with something. 39. After all, Su Yong instantly disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he was already in the air. Don't look down on people, you bastard. San Juan Evil Wolf roared, clenching his huge fist and hitting Su Yong directly. And Su Yong, of course, also punched back. Bang. Luo. A huge fist collided with a tiny fist. What San Juan Bad Wolf never expected was that his fingers dented in an instant. The whole person took many steps back. What? It hurts. It hurts. 35. Su Yong didn't give him a chance to breathe, rushed over quickly, and slapped him on the stomach. Wood-style cutting technique. As the voice fell, countless tree branches skyrocketed from his body. Boom, and fell directly to the ground. San Juan Bad Wolf. Lafitte and his party shouted. Su Yong turned around, squinted and smiled. Don't worry, it will be with you soon. 95. The members of the Blackbeard pirates were miserable, and Blackbeard himself was even worse. Although his self-righteous dark fruit had a little restraint on Whitebeard, but, in terms of physical skills, Blackbeard was not half as good as Whitebeard. Advertisement. It didn't take long for him to lose a few more teeth, and his whole body was covered in blood. Dad, stop, stop, I'm your son. Blackbeard, who was grabbed by Whitebeard's head and raised, begged for mercy. However, there was no movement on Whitebeard's face. Teach, damn you, you know what? I know it's wrong, I was lost by this dark fruit, and that's why I killed Brother Thatch. Blackbeard continued to play the emotional card, hoping that he could impress Whitebeard and let Whitebeard spare his life. You not only killed Thatch, but also handed over your captain to the world government. You have seriously violated my bottom line, Teach. When Whitebeard said this, his anger had obviously increased a lot. Forgive me, Dad, I've been following you all these years, no credit or hard work. Blackbeard struggled constantly, trying to escape Whitebeard's control. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Whitebeard directly threw Blackbeard up, and then waved his arm to activate the ability of Shock Fruit. When Blackbeard fell into a suitable position, he directly waved it. Crack. The thing that was like a barrier cracked in an instant. Blackbeard's body was damaged and he was vomiting blood. This punch, I did it for Sachi. While speaking, Whitebeard ran wildly, then jumped, raised his fist, and activated the ability of Shock Fruit again. This punch is for Ace. Boom. With the fist hitting Blackbeard. Something like a barrier cracked open again. Blackbeard vomited blood again, his eyes turned white, and he lost consciousness when he fell to the ground. After landing smoothly, Whitebeard stared at Blackbeard who was lying motionless on the ground. In his heart. The big rock finally fell. Advertisement. Suddenly, at this moment, a voice came from behind Whitebeard. Whitebeard looked back and saw that Ace had landed beside him. His eyes fell on Blackbeard, his expression became complicated, and it took a moment for him to say these 2 words through gritted teeth. Teach. Teach is a member of your 2nd division. I will leave the matter of knowing his life to you. It can be regarded as a revenge for you. Whitebeard said calmly. Ace nodded, and while walking, a raging fire was already burning on his body. Fire punch. With a roar, the place where Blackbeard lay just now caused a violent explosion in an instant, and the heat wave washed over the surroundings. As for Su Yong, he has already done everything, and the Blackbeard pirates did not miss a single one, and they all died in his hands. Tisk tisk tisk. It seems that it's going to be a lot smoother than expected. Su Yong glanced at their corpses with indifferent eyes, and said expressionlessly. I saw him leap and land next to Whitebeard. As soon as it hit the ground shook violently. Parts of Marineford are sinking again. Your teammates from the 17th Division are really surprising. Whitebeard looked down at the sinking area and praised. Yes, Whitebeard has thought about it, all the members of Su Yang's 17th Division are not fuel-efficient lamps. However, I never imagined that it could be so outrageous. It's no exaggeration to call yourself one of the 4 emperors of the 17th Division. Su Yong smiled lightly. It's okay, it's just, everyone is a little uncomfortable. Advertisement. 153 The Marineford situation, the shocked red-haired gang, full order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Whitebeard looked at Su Yang's Versailles smile, stood at Kong Yunchi, and laughed up to the sky. Gu la la la. Su Yong, You stinky boy. Su Yong was speechless for a while, but what he said was the truth. They are good for everyone with great strength. But, at the same time, the character is also outrageous. Su Yong, I'm sorry, I caused trouble for you and Dad because of my affairs. 35. While speaking, Ace's figure came out of the smoke. Su Yong took a look, and there was some embarrassed Ace in front of him. He just smiled lightly and didn't say much. After all, his main purpose for this trip was not to rescue Ace, but because of Whitebeard. As for another reason. In other words, he originally thought that such a huge battle of Summit War would be able to harvest a lot of summoning fragments. But, looking at it now, he thinks too much. Marineford has sunk in half, not to mention a lot of summoning fragments, and now he doesn't even see a single one. Idiot, what are you talking about? You are part of my Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard's kind eyes stared at Ace. Ace lowered his head. The more his father said that it didn't matter, the more uncomfortable he felt. On the contrary, if Whitebeard scolded him now, his mood would be much better. Okay, don't think too much about other things, let's talk about it later. Now, Ace has been rescued. Teach Guy has also learned his due lesson. We don't need to continue with these troublesome marines. The entanglement continues. 35 Whitebeard said calmly. Su Yong nodded to Ace, but there was no drop of summon fragments, so Su Yong didn't care about the time to leave. Advertisement. Let's go. Everyone starts to evacuate. Whitebeard instructed. Uchiha Madara vs Sengoku. The battle between Susanoo and the giant golden Buddha. However, let's just say, even if Uchiha Madara didn't open the full Susanoo, Sengoku was tight. Boom. Bang. .55. Susanoo wielded a huge blue long sword and slashed at Sengoku's golden Buddha one by one. Sengoku kept retreating while defending. Soon, he retreated to the brink of collapse. He glanced back at the rolling sea water deep below. Sengoku's brows furrowed sharply. It's all because of the appearance of you guys that made things like this. 95. Sengoku roared angrily, raised his fist, and hit it directly. A huge shock wave rushed towards Susanoo. Uchiha Madara quickly controlled Susanoo for defense. Boom. A loud noise. Advertisement. Susanoo directly rubbed the ground and stepped back dozens of steps. Compared to Sengoku's side, he was relatively lucky. On the other hand, Ace Kano and Diablo's side, the two five elders were not so lucky. The one who fought against Diablo was seriously injured. The one who fought against Ace Kano fell directly. Most of the body has been charred. My old friend. How come you, even you have left me? An old man in a black suit, with curly white hair, a fluffy white beard, a flat hat, and a scar on the left side of his face knelt on top of the charred corpse, weeping again. That's right, how could he bear it when his old friends left one after another? This old guy, crying and crying is really bad for his image. Ace Kano stood beside Diablo and said calmly. Diablo looked indifferent and said indifferently, so what, when he murdered Su Yong, he was already sentenced to death. Ace Kano smiled slightly. That's right, war, there is always someone who has to pay the price. When Ace Kano's voice just fell, suddenly at this moment, not far away, a marine soldier shouted. 0 for flowers. Everyone, look, in the sea, another ship is approaching. That is, one of the 4 emperors, red hair pirates. Damn it, can red hair pirates help Whitebeard too? Advertisement. Damn, we have no chance of winning with the Whitebeard pirates alone, and now, with the red hair pirates, we don't even have that 1% win rate. Why is this happening? How did the promised seamless plan, the promised plan to destroy the Whitebeard pirates, become what it is now? Damn it, what is the plan to destroy the Whitebeard pirates? This mother F-Ker's plan is to destroy our marines. That's right, the red hair pirates, one of the 4 emperors, is involved, and it is our marines' plan to destroy it. Meanwhile, Shanks' boat. All of them stood at the front of the boat, their eyes fixed on the disrespectful Marineford that had collapsed, and they all fell into deep thought. Boss, what the hell did Marineford go through before, to become what he is today? Usopp said solemnly. It's really heroic. Marineford has become like this. Lackey Lu was also surprised. Whitebeard, Ace, Su Yong, Marco, etc., 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 all, it seems, we are not too late, and the result is not as bad as we expected. Ben Beckman said slowly. Shanks let out a sigh of relief. He had never expected such a result. It looks like Whitebeard's plan to rescue Ace this time is going well. Ha 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 ha. It seems that it doesn't matter if we come or not. At the other end, are we going to return? Lackey Lu asked. Idiot, you've come here. If you go back at this time, it won't be in vain. I beg for some data support, please. Advertisement. 154 We fought and forced you to pretend. Please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing this rant, Reiki Lu laughed instead. Ha ha ha. That's what I said, boss. Anyway, no matter what the course of the battle at Marineford is, at least this outcome is what we want. Ben Beckman got off the ship's guardrail, put his hands on his chest, and leaned against the guardrail. Yeah, the process doesn't really matter, the important thing is that the result is what we thought in our hearts. Shanks also showed a relieved smile at this moment. Compared with the relief on the red-haired side, Marine couldn't calm down. Good guy, I can't take a single Whitebeard pirate group, and your mother-in-law also has a 4 Emperors pirate group. The original plan was to destroy the Whitebeard, 477, pirates, or the Beast's pirates. 18. Now what? The guys from the Beast's pirates were not seen, and Marine was beaten to pieces by the Whitebeard pirates. No matter how you look at it before, the plan was to make a steady profit without losing money, but now, after losing his wife, he lost his army. Today, Summit War, will be the most humiliating day in Marine's history. Damn. Sengoku's gaze was reflected in the red hair pirate's ship, and his face was extremely solemn. The reason why he was able to pull away was because Suyong informed Uchiha Madara that they were going to retreat. The Whitebeard pirates' tossing is over. Is it the turn of the red hair pirates? 9. Advertisement. At this moment, Sengoku finally couldn't hold back any longer and cursed directly. Crane and Garp also came to Sengoku's side at this moment, and their faces were also not good looking. Today, the battle at Marineford was completely different from what was expected from the start. Not necessarily. The character of the red-haired guy, if we Marine didn't take the initiative to provoke them, they probably wouldn't have shot like us. Crane analyzed his opinion. Red hair. At the mention of these two words, Garp's eyes stared like copper bells, and his inner anger gradually rose. Yes, Luffy had instilled in him the idea of being a Marine since he was a child, but Shanks intercepted him halfway and successfully dragged Luffy into a pirate. How could Garp not be angry? If the redhead wants to fight, then we will fight him to the death. Garp clenched his fists tightly and was ready to fight. At this time, Sengoku and Crane both cast contemptuous glances at the same time. It seems to be saying, "You old man, what are you thinking in our hearts? We don't know. You were thinking about the red-haired guy who took your grandson crooked, and now you go to him to vent your anger. Garp, take a good look at our current situation." Sengoku frowned and reminded. Garp came to his senses and glanced over the battlefield. Marineford is now torn apart, the waters of the bay are red with blood, and the Marines are wounded, maimed, and dead. The beacon smoke was floating around, and looking at it like this, Marine's damage had exceeded 75%. Of course, on the Whitebeard pirates' side, the death is not too small, but they are basically weak, generally a little strong. Dodin only suffered a little injury. Advertisement. Overall, the loss is not large. Garp was silent. Naturally, Sengoku and Crane didn't say much. Because they couldn't be more clear. This is the price of war. Sengoku, Ace is here with you, under your care. 35. In the Whitebeard pirates, except for the 17th Division, everyone else gathered at the place where Marineford docked. Quote. Hearing Whitebeard's words, Sengoku felt very uncomfortable, but he couldn't do anything about him. After all, yes, now he doesn't dare to act rashly. If he messes up, Whitebeard won't leave, and he will come to fight again, and the people from Red Hair Pirates are involved again, so let alone the current 75% loss, or even 100% possible. Squeaky squeak. At this time, the Red Hair Pirates ship had already docked, but seeing that Whitebeard had already left, and Marine had not pursued, Shanks didn't plan to disembark. Whitebeard, I didn't expect us to meet so soon. Shanks stood in front of the boat and greeted Whitebeard. Whitebeard glanced at him out of the corner of the eye, and then sneered, "What? Red-haired brat, are you going to come to see my joke? If so, then you made a mistake. 0 inches. For this, Shanks didn't want to explain anything, only to see him laugh out loud. You're still the same, Whitebeard. Shanks. Advertisement. In the crowd, Luffy ran out and waved at Shanks. Yo, Luffy, long time no see, I didn't expect you to come. Shanks greeted him with a smile. As soon as he finished speaking, not far away, Sengoku shouted loudly, Redhead, what are you doing here? Shanks shifted his gaze from Luffy's to Sengoku's body, and then still had a smile on his face. I just wanted to come over to see the ending, not to fight with you Marines. Hearing what Shanks said, Sengoku's heart also fell. After all, Marine didn't talk about casualties now. Even the ones who were still alive were already exhausted. The 4 Emperor's pirates, the consequences can be imagined. Sengoku, this is the end of the day, of course, if you haven't had enough, let us be your opponents. 33 Shanks put one hand on the hilt of the knife and looked straight ahead with a firm gaze. Sengoku at. As long as Sengoku doesn't listen to their dissuasion, Shanks will not hesitate to shoot. Sengoku frowned. Man, I still need you to say, if I still want to fight, I will stand here and talk to you in 4.6. Sengoku kept silent, which saved Marine's face a little, and Shanks naturally regarded him as Sengoku's acquiescence. Redhead, you're quite good at it. We fought and forced you to pretend. Marco had already returned to the boat, and was sitting on the boat's guardrail at the moment, and said solemnly to Shanks. Yo, isn't this Marco? How about, have you considered what I said last time? Shanks was not angry, but asked with a smile. Idiot, don't ask such silly questions. Marco retorted. Ha 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 ha. Shanks continued to laugh. And at this time, on the battlefield, the ship flying with the number 17 floated up, and then came to the sky above Whitebeard. Advertisement. 155 Summit War ended. The unforgettable 17th Division please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shanks glanced at the flying ship with a look of shock in his eyes. A lion fruit capable person. He subconsciously guessed. There was a complicated look in his eyes. So, is the golden lion no longer in this world? He sighed. Years are not forgiving. In a trance, Shanks felt that the battle between the golden lion and Roger happened yesterday. He witnessed a glorious era. I have also witnessed the fall of one by one, the big men who were amazed at the sea in those days. Quote. I saw him sighing lightly, regaining the complicated look in his heart, and then greeted Su Yong in the boat floating in the air with a smile on his face. Su Yong, I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. Su Yong heard the sound and looked over. The moment he saw Shanks, his face was calm and he said, indeed, it's been 10 times so soon. How about you, do you want to come to me? Shanks didn't shy away from Whitebeard being here, and asked jokingly. But, advertisement. As soon as Shanks said this, before Su Yong could answer, Marco below couldn't help cursing. Enough, redhead, don't be too reckless, you guy. Shanks didn't care, and said to Marco with a smile, Marco, you're overreacting, I'm inviting Su Yong. When Marco heard it, he said angrily, redhead, you are too despicable, Su Yong is from my Whitebeard pirates, so I can't react very well. Right, Dad. Whitebeard glanced at Marco and just smiled lightly, not overreacting. Okay Shanks, how about I be the captain? Su Yong sat on the ship's guardrail and said with a small smile. Shanks was at a loss for words, but he didn't expect Su Yong to answer like this. At this time, the crew behind Shanks fell into the lower stone road. Ha 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 ha, this is the boss who was directly shriveled. It's so funny, it's the first time I've seen this expression of the boss. It's okay, boss, it's not impossible to make Su Yong the captain, ha 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 ha. Faced with the joking, outspoken, and generous Shanks of his own crew, he naturally didn't take it to heart, and instead laughed along with him. After a while, he replied to Su Yong. Forget it, you'd better stay at Whitebeard by yourself. Ha 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 ha, this time, there was laughter from both the Red Hair Pirates side and the Whitebeard Pirates side. Okay, it's time for us to leave. Whitebeard instructed everyone, then jumped up and boarded the Moby Dick. Okay everyone, it's time for us to go. In this war, our Whitebeard Pirates won. Marco also shouted. Advertisement. At this moment, both the pirates who joined the Whitebeard Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates themselves shouted with enthusiasm. We won. We won. 99. Sengoku listened to their shouts with helplessness in his eyes. There's no need to be too angry. What they are stating is just a fact, he said in a deep voice. Garp and Sengoku didn't speak, and Kong and Marine 3 Admiral on the other side didn't speak either. Their gazes sent the Whitebeard Pirates away. Boss, it's time for us to leave, Ben Beckman reminded. Shanks nodded, then turned and stepped off the front of the boat. Sail, let's go back to New World. Where are we going? On the ship of the 17th Division, Tornado sat on the ship's guardrail and asked casually. It's not certain yet, but the only certainty. We won't follow Whitebeard back to New World. Su Yong was lying on the reclining chair, sipping juice while responding to Tornado's words. After all, even though Emily and Anna said that they were not summoned by Su Yong, they are still members of his 17th Division. Even if you want to go back to New World, you have to take them both with you. Tornado was silent for a while, but didn't say much. After all, no matter what Su Yong decided, she felt that it didn't matter too much. By the way, Su Yong, those two old men have already been killed by me and Ace Kano. Diablo added at this time. Hearing this, Su Yang's heart didn't have much turbulence, it was only a matter of time before the two five elders died at the hands of Ace Kano. Advertisement. Now, Su Yong has killed two, Ace Kano and Diablo have also killed two, that is to say, the five elders have now become an old star. That's right, killing them will save them from hanging out next time. Su Yong nodded in satisfaction. Point 477. After sailing a distance, Sabo and the people who came with Luffy began to part ways, and after a while, only the Whitebeard Pirates were left. The ships of the 17th Division also landed on the sea and sailed side by side with the Moby Dick. As for Su Yong, they boarded the Moby Dick with Uchiha Madara. As soon as they landed, the crowd began to cheer enthusiastically. Captain Su Yong, you are so handsome on the battlefield. Yeah, your move is so outrageous, it scared me directly. Although I was also frightened, you are so handsome, without you, our plan to rescue Ace would not have been so smooth. Captain Su Yong, please tell me what devil fruit you are eating. Yes, I also want to know, this devil fruit is simply heaven-defying. And what is the name of the last move? That red dragon is the most hockey I have ever seen in my history. If you don't think about it, then let me give you a name. 6635. Su Yong looked at them speechlessly. Facing the suddenly enthusiastic crew of the Whitebeard Pirates, Su Yong felt a little uncomfortable for a while. Advertisement. 156 Marco, do you want to experience the medical skills of my team doctor? Please complete order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Come on. You guys, don't flatter me, my goosebumps are about to get up. Su Yong waved his hand and hurriedly stopped them, then hurried through the crowd and came to Whitebeard, while Diablo and the others followed slowly. Whitebeard, because I wanted to rescue Ace, I didn't have time to introduce the members of the 17th Division to you. Now that our battle with Marine is over, let me introduce you to the members of my 17th Division. Facing what Su Yong said, Whitebeard didn't speak, just watched with interest. This also shows that Whitebeard is the default. This long-haired man, named Uchiha Madara, was the first partner I found after leaving the Whitebeard Pirates. With that, Su Yong pointed at Diablo again, and continued to speak. This one, elegant and noble, is called Diablo. 39. This one, the one with the axe, is named Ace Kano. This, green-haired, lowly-faced named Tornado. 35. This is the 17th Division Doctor, Giorno Chopper. Having said that, Su Yang pointed to the still-flying Acunorlia, and then said calmly, as for the one in the sky, the name is Acunorlia. When Su Yang's words fell, everyone's eyes couldn't help looking up to the sky. Advertisement. A huge black dragon with mysterious patterns on its black scales appeared in their field of vision. Acunorlia's strength, when they were at Marineford, they could see clearly. Suddenly, at this time, a member of the first team asked. Su Yang. Captain Su Yang, I have a doubt. Su Yang looked at him and gave him a gesture of saying please. Why? Why does Acunorlia fly in the sky and not come down with us? Su Yang gave him a thumbs up and complimented. That's a good question because he's seasick. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. After everyone listened to Su Yang's answer, you look at me, I look at you, this is the first time they have heard of such a strange thing. However, Su Yang did not explain too much to them, but continued. And these two people next to me, I think Whitebeard already knows, Rem and Ram. There are two other members of my 17th Division who, for some reason, were not able to participate in this operation, their names are Emily and Anna. The above are all the members of my 17th Division. Su Yang said slowly. Whitebeard nodded thoughtfully. He once said that Su Yang's 17th Division is an independent division. As long as the members of his 17th Division do not break the rules of the Whitebeard pirates, then Whitebeard will not interfere with anything of the 17th Division. Advertisement. What the hell? Team Doctor. Captain Su Yang, the configuration of your 17th Division is too good. One of the team members said. Indeed, but what I'm more curious about is who will be better than the team doctor of the 17th Division and the ship doctor of our General Whitebeard pirates. Another member of the team continued to say. I'm also very interested when you say that, but Captain Marco is our ship doctor, and his devil fruit is also good for healing, so I still think that Captain Marco is invincible in terms of medical skills. Oh, you are going too far, we just won the battle with Marine, you are here to step on and hold one, I'm afraid it's not right. Facing their booing, Joes also frowned immediately. You guys, what are you kidding me, even if the team doctor of Su Yang's 17th Division is really not as good as Marco, so what? Sorry, Captain Joes. After the players who were booing heard Jaws' words, they immediately bent down and said to Joes. It's not me who you want to apologize, but the team doctor of the 17th Division. 35 Joes said angrily. On the contrary, on Su Yang's side, whether it was him, Giorno Chopper, or the other members of the 17th Division, there was no wave on their faces. Sorry, Mr. Giorno Chopper. After being reprimanded by Joes, the team members immediately apologized to Giorno Chopper. Giorno Chopper smiled slightly, not taking such a boring thing to heart at all. Backquote it doesn't matter, the name of my team doctor is also given to me by Su Yang, in fact, in a certain sense, I'm not the same as me. What? Advertisement. When everyone heard this, they were immediately startled, and at the same time they felt a little disappointed. In fact, they really wanted to see Giorno Chopper and Marco compete in medical skills, but after hearing Giorno Chopper's words, I knew that I was thinking too much. Marco sighed lightly when he saw their appearance. In fact, Marco couldn't understand it. The reason they did this was because it was too boring to stay on the boat all the time, so they wanted to create a lively atmosphere. There is no malice in the heart. At this time, Su Yang also stood up, and he explained gently. Let me explain it like this. In ordinary illnesses, Marco wins, but if it is a serious injury, no one in the world can compare to Joe. Runo Chopper. Undoubtedly. After Su Yang's words fell, Zhao Zhao, in addition to the members of the 17th Division, others including Whitebeard also cast suspicious glances at Su Yang at this moment. There is no one in the world that can compare to Giorno Chopper. Obviously, everyone's reaction at first was sweat of disbelief. However, when they thought about the various kamui of various members of Su Yang's 17th Division, they seemed to feel reasonable again. Captain Su Yang, is this true? If that's the case, wouldn't it be too stupid? There is no one in the whole world who is an opponent of the big injury, this is directly invincible just by listening to it. 35. This is unbelievable. There is no doubt that after Su Yang said this, Marco would have been completely interested in this guy named Giorno Chopper. Advertisement. 157 I didn't expect it, Chopper also have it. Please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. You guy, I can't see that you have such a skill. Marco walked over, reached out and patted Giorno Chopper on the shoulder, calmly said. Giorno Chopper paused, then smiled. Su Yang exaggerated, I'm not that good, and I'm not even a team doctor. Mr. Giorno Chopper, you are too modest, Captain Su Yang said you have it. That's right, otherwise, everyone is bored on the boat anyway, Giorno Chopper and Captain Marco will have a medical exchange between them. 39. After everyone heard this, the interest that had been extinguished just now ignited again. I agree too. The pirate who proposed Giorno Chopper to discuss with Marco continued. Of course, Giorno Chopper, we are only proposing such a thing, as for whether or not to participate, it still depends on you and Marco Captain's meaning. I'm bored anyway, so I don't have any problem. After all, I also want to see Giorno Chopper's medical skills. Marco smiled lightly. At 477, Giorno Chopper's eyes turned to Su Yang. Su Yang gave a wry smile, then waved his hand and said with a smile, "Don't look at me, if you want to learn from each other, then go." Giorno Chopper looked back. Ever since he boarded the Whitebeard pirates, he has always felt a little uncomfortable and has nothing to do. Now, since Marco wants to learn from himself, it can also relieve his boredom. If this is the case, then please advise. Advertisement. Hearing Giorno Chopper say that, Marco smiled. As for the subject of discussion, it is also based on individual needs. Marco is good at big and small diseases, so the crew joined the pirates in the Whitebeard pirates and found a sick person. As for Giorno Chopper, Su Yang said he was good at treating major injuries, so he brought in someone who was seriously injured during the Summit War. Because the subjects of treatment are very different, it is difficult to judge who wins and loses, and in the end, by decision, it is ultimately up to Whitebeard to judge. And Whitebeard, before he even started, had already figured out what to do in order not to hurt Giorno Chopper's confidence. And his strategy was, both sides have different strengths, so the end result is a draw. After a moment, Captain Marco, you are right about everything. A man with a thin face and pale lips continued to ask, do you have any way to treat it? Marco smiled calmly. Yes, although one of our pirates had this kind of disease before, but because yours has dragged on for a long time and it has become more serious, it will be very difficult to treat, but don't worry, if it can be cured, it can be. Yes, Captain Marco said this, there is indeed such a thing, since Captain Marco said yes, then it must be possible. Yeah, I was there at the time, and the symptoms were exactly the same as you said. In the end, after Marco's treatment, the guy was completely cured. As expected of our Whitebeard pirates ship doctor, we are still quite capable. Captain Marco seems to have a good chance of winning this game. Indeed, I think so too. It's still a little too early to say this. After all, Captain Su Yang said that Giorno Chopper is unrivaled in the world in terms of healing serious injuries. Advertisement. With this voice falling, everyone's eyes turned to Giorno Chopper. And Giorno Chopper was also shocked at the moment, Marco just based on some symptoms to determine what the disease is. That got him Giorno Chopper, and it must have been a mess big. Hey, Su Yang, that guy Giorno Chopper doesn't look like he can win, but the look on your kid's face makes me think Giorno Chopper won't lose. 39. Whitebeard looked at Su Yang sitting next to him in surprise. Hearing the sound, Su Yang looked at Whitebeard, then smiled lightly. Whitebeard, I still say that, Marco beat Giorno Chopper with major and minor illnesses, but Giorno Chopper is invincible in the type of major injury. Oh, 35. Whitebeard looked at Su Yang's firm eyes, and asked tentatively, Giorno Chopper, that kid, should have eaten some devil fruit. Su Yang didn't plan to tell Whitebeard about Giorno Chopper's abilities now, so he said, no hurry, keep watching. Goo. Whitebeard burst out laughing, but did not continue to ask, his eyes continued to return to Marco. Giorno Chopper, the equipment needed for the operation has been prepared, and the people have already advanced, just waiting for you to perform it. At this time, a hot woman in a white coat gently moved towards Giorno Chopper said. What? Giorno Chopper was caught off guard by the words of the woman in the white coat. Obviously, that kind of thing, he will not use. Must use that kind of thing. 99. Advertisement. Giorno Chopper asked. Before waiting for the woman in the white coat to speak, Marco, who was not far away, spoke up. Look at you, if you think you can treat it without need, then follow your method. According to my method, then push people out here. What? After hearing this, the woman in the white coat was obviously a little surprised. After living for so long, it was the first time she had heard that there was no need for any surgical equipment to treat someone who was seriously injured. However, the seriously injured person is in a very bad condition and needs to be rescued. The woman in the white coat reminded her. From beginning to end, she still believed in scientific treatment methods. Do as he says. Yes. 35. After Marco said this, the woman in the white coat immediately shut up, walked in quickly, and pushed the seriously injured man out. Giorno Chopper glanced at the man lying on the push bed, and then his eyes flashed slightly. Such a man, during the Summit War, his hands had been cut off, and the amputated limbs were not recovered. There was also a long scar on his abdomen. A closer look showed that his internal organs were also damaged. Now, he is dying. The reason why those people pushed them didn't expect Giorno Chopper to live as long as he could. But, maybe for others, he must die. But for Giorno Chopper, it was a piece of cake. Advertisement. 158 The 17th Division is really a group of terrible guys, please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As for the crowd, they stood beside them, quietly watching Giorno Chopper's every move. Because they all wanted to know how Giorno Chopper was going to save the man who was already on the verge of hell in front of him. In the original JoJo, only the Avatar can see the Avatar, but here, as long as Su Yang recalls it, including Su Yang himself, they can see the Avatar of Giorno Chopper. When Su Yang and the others saw the stand-in, they knew that Giorno Chopper was about to use his abilities. Sweep sweep. Suddenly, at this moment, Su Yang threw a few pieces of wood that he had made towards Giorno Chopper. Giorno Chopper took it as well, and with a smile on his face, said to Su Yang. You still understand me, Su Yang. Let's start now. Giorno Chopper nodded. The crowd looked bewildered. There was a big question mark on their faces. Undoubtedly. Advertisement. 2. It is the first time they have seen such a wonderful treatment method of taking a few pieces of wood to treat a seriously injured person. Hey, you said, is it really feasible for that guy named Giorno Chopper to treat with a few pieces of wood? One of the pirates asked in a low voice towards the man beside him. The man shook his head and said softly, no, I don't know, I have never seen this kind of treatment, but I also believe that Captain Su Yong won't lie. After another person heard this, he also added a sentence. Indeed, if other people do this and kill me, I will not believe that a few pieces of wood can cure such a critically ill person, but this kind of thing if it happened in the 17th Division, I think it is very reasonable. 5. I think so too. After all, at Summit War, they stared at me, showing all kinds of abilities I'd never seen before. The people on this side were discussing, and Giorno Chopper had already started on the other side, and I saw him constantly throwing his fists at the wood placed on the deck, shouting, hada hada hada. But, in the eyes of Marco and the others, Giorno Chopper is punching into the air, while in the eyes of Su Yong and the others, Giorno Chopper is punching in the air, but his avatar's fist had already hit the wood. When Giorno Chopper stopped throwing his fists, everyone was shocked that there was a change on the wood. Look, what's that? Wood, the wood has grown fingers. Damn, what's the situation with this special lady? Me too, I don't know, this is simply outrageous, throwing a fist at the air can actually make the wood grow fingers. What kind of ability is this? I'll just say, the guys of the 17th Division, there are only things you can't think of, and there's nothing they can't do. 35. It's incredible, I'm very curious, what devil fruit did Giorno Chopper eat to have this ability? Advertisement. Obviously, at this moment, not only the ordinary crew members were shocked, but even Marco and the others, and even Whitebeard were surprised. This guy. Whitebeard's eyes sank slightly, and then looked at Su Yong with surprised eyes. Yes, Whitebeard has seen countless devil fruit abilities after going to sea for so many years, but this is the first time he has seen such an extremely weird one like Giorno Chopper. At this moment, Su Yong also looked at Whitebeard, and then smiled calmly. I said, the serious injury type, Giorno Chopper is invincible in the world. 35. This really opened my eyes, I didn't expect that such people still exist in the world, gu la la la. Speaking of the back, Whitebeard burst out laughing. Marco was speechless in shock at this time, and just watched Giorno Chopper's every move quietly. Moments later, the required organs were made, and something that shocked them even more happened. They assumed that Giorno Chopper would need surgical sutures after the organs were made. 0 for flowers. However, it never occurred to me that Giorno Chopper installed it directly like a machine part. ... Everyone's facial expressions at this moment are like petrification. The heart also suffered a great blow. The 3 views have also been completely refreshed, and of course, the same is true of cognition. Advertisement. Call. Giorno Chopper didn't notice the eyes of the people around him at all, just sighed lightly, wiped the sweat on his forehead, and muttered, fortunately, I finally caught up. This is done. I'm a man, what's the situation? It's installed like the installation parts. The most important thing is not this, anyone can install it like a part, but no one can connect it together perfectly like Giorno Chopper. Ahem, I'm part of the first team, but I'm sorry, Captain Marco, this time I'm on Giorno Chopper's side. Although I have been helped many times by Captain Marco, this time I am also on Giorno Chopper's side. Captain Marco, don't be too discouraged, it's not that your medical skills are not strong enough, but Giorno Chopper's medical skills are directly heaven-defying. Marco frowned, although he lost completely, but, what these guys did, he couldn't help but want to beat them up. Whitebeard laughed thoughtfully, originally thinking that he would not hurt Giorno Chopper's confidence, and wanted to make this match a draw, but now that he looked at it, he was thinking too much. The worry is not Giorno Chopper, but whether Marco's confidence will take a hit. Su Yong. You boy, where on earth did you find such a scary guy? Whitebeard asked Su Yong. Of course, if there were 1 or 2 Whitebeards, they wouldn't ask too much. However, what is outrageous is that the entire 17th Division is such a terrible guy. Advertisement. 159 Turning Point, Whitebeard Pirates Disbanded Part 1. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Facing Whitebeard's words, Su Yang's sharp eyes looked straight at Whitebeard, then the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and he said gently. Of course, wishers get on board. Hearing Su Yang's words, Whitebeard was stunned for a moment, and then stopped for dozens of seconds. At first, Whitebeard thought that Su Yong would tell himself how he bravely invited them to board the ship, but he never expected that he would directly say, wishers to board the ship. Good guy, the one who wished the special meow came aboard. Goo la 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 la. Whitebeard picked up the jug, poured several gulps into his mouth, then reached out to wipe the foam from his mouth, and finally put his eyes back on Giorno Chopper and the others, and announced. Although the medical skills competition this time is very exciting, both sides have their own, 477, have very good points, but, as Su Yong said, in the face of big and small diseases, Marco completely defeated Giorno Chopper, but, in exceptional circumstances, Giorno Chopper won over Marco. 5. So, according to the comprehensive judgment, if there is a winner or loser, Giorno Chopper is better than Marco. As soon as Whitebeard's voice fell, everyone began to cheer. The team doctor of the 17th Division is really strong. Yeah, I didn't expect it to surprise everyone. Yes, I didn't expect Captain Marco to be deflated. This kind of thing is really rare. Advertisement. You said that I also had a few words of hada hada, and then I also punched the wood. Will the wood grow? I don't know if the wood will grow, but I'll be shouting after you, look, there's an idiot here. As soon as these words came out, there was a burst of laughter all around. After half a day, Wanokuni, Oni Island. Grumpy. Kaido is sipping on suffocating wine, and his mood is getting worse and worse. Finally, halfway through the drink, Kaido threw the jug in his hand on the ground. Then he shouted angrily, "Redhead, you bloody bastard, threatened me." The pirates stationed outside immediately ran in after hearing the movement inside. Kaido. Governor Kaido, F.A., what happened? Hearing the sound, Kaido just stared at them. He originally wanted to use the two of them to vent his dissatisfaction, but he thought that he still had something to ask, so he stopped. I asked you to collect information about the Battle of Marineford. How are you doing? Kaido said solemnly, looking at the two of them with cold eyes. Report to Governor Kaido, the results of the Battle of Marineford have come out, but before, you ordered us not to disturb you, so we originally thought that we would tell you when you came out. So what's the result? Did the red-haired kid join forces with the Whitebeard pirates? Kaido asked, frowning. I don't know the specific details, but it turned out that Marine was defeated in this battle, Whitebeard successfully rescued Ace, and finally left Marineford smoothly. Advertisement. And after Kaido heard this, his anger level soared at a speed that the naked eye could see. He directly picked up the mace on the side and hit the speaker. Boom. The pirate flew out in an instant, then hit the wall, slid down, and fainted. As for the other, he looked at Kaido, swallowed his saliva, and shivered. However, instead of attacking him, Kaido yelled at him, bring the wine. Yes. Governor Kaido, Su Yong, Whitebeard, red-haired, I have written down your account. Marineford. Many Marines are still cleaning the battlefield, and some Marines have already left. But, Sengoku and Kong were still standing on top of the ruins, looking at the ruins with sad eyes. Okay, Sengoku, you don't need to blame yourself. It's not what you and I could have imagined that things have turned into this. Kong comforted. Sengoku's expression was extremely complicated. He wanted to say something, but when the words came to his mouth, he swallowed. Speak, just say what you want, I'm not an outsider. The storm is coming. My intuition tells me that this guy Su Yong is far more threatening than the rocks back then. Advertisement. Having said this, Sengoku paused, then firmly said, no. In fact, his threat is far greater than the rocks. 9. Kong also nodded in agreement, and then sighed. Yes, the guys from the 17th Division alone have killed 4 pillars of the world government, and now, the 5 elders are only the last one left, the Whitebeard pirates cannot be destroyed, and this sea will never have a peaceful day. Sengoku laughed at himself, and then said with a sullen face, destroy them, it's easier said than done, unless, we can join the forces of the pirates to kill them like we did in the past, but, even so, the second where is Roger? The atmosphere also became solemn here, and the two did not speak for a long time. Finally, Kong patted Sengoku on the shoulder, and then said softly, okay, Sengoku, don't think too much, just give yourself a good rest and rest. Sengoku put away that complicated look and nodded. On Whitebeard's side, he did not immediately return to the New World, but settled down at 4.6 on a certain island and held a celebratory banquet. The Whitebeard pirates and the pirates who joined the Whitebeard pirates also participated, and the atmosphere was very lively. Everyone was eating barbecued meat, drinking fine wine, and talking about their heroic killing experience in Summit War. Just the Marine guys, they still want to kill me, who knows that the piece of armor I killed won't stay, ha 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 ha. As long as you eat some peanuts, you won't say such things, but I saw you being chased and beaten by Marine Vice Admiral. Bah, what are you talking about? Stop pretending, I saw it too, I'm super brave, okay. I directly took the blow of Hawkeye Mahawk. 39. Tisk, wake up, you are even more outrageous, and Mahawk. Advertisement. 160 Turning Point, Whitebeard Pirates Disbanded Part 2. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Who do you really look down on? What I said is true. The situation is too small. I would beat Admiral to death. If Dad said he was going to retreat, I would beat him to death. The topic gradually changed, and everyone laughed at this moment. Alright, stop bragging, it's really unbearable. But then again, the 17th Division led by Su Yong is really outrageous. Yes, this is true, not bragging. Yeah, I still remember Su Yang's last move. I guess if it was used to hit me, I would be paralyzed on the spot. Che, it's really useless, if it was me, I guess he would immediately come to help me up and tell me not to die. Ha 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 ha, just when the discussion was in full swing, it was suddenly at this time. There was a cry from Marco. Everyone is quiet, Daddy has something important to announce. 35. Hearing the sound, everyone immediately became quiet, and everyone's eyes turned to Whitebeard. Whitebeard held Kong Yunchi in his hand and a pot of fine wine in the other hand, and then walked up to the heights, only to see that he poured the fine wine into his mouth first, and after a while, he said calmly. Advertisement. Me, Edward Newgate, the luckiest thing in my life is meeting you. Hearing Whitebeard's tone and adding this sentence, everyone was at a loss. Dad, what's going on? No, I don't know, doesn't it mean that there is something important to announce? I don't know why, I always have a feeling of unease. Me too, even when it was important, Dad used to call himself Whitebeard, but today he used his own name. Don't think about it too much, this may be the whim of the father. At the same time, after Whitebeard finished saying that, he continued to pour fine wine into his mouth and continued speaking. In my life, the best thing I've done is to form the Whitebeard Pirates. The Moby Dick carries the joys and sorrows of many of us. I am a qualified captain, but also an unqualified captain. Because of my decision, this time, a lot of people paid for my mistake. When Whitebeard said this, Ace's eyes below immediately became wet, and his lips trembled slightly and shook out 2 words. Daddy, Dad, we never regret it. Yeah, no matter what time, your choice is always right. That's right, even the dead brothers thought so. Dad, I'm sorry, it's all because of my willfulness. Advertisement. Ace shouted. Ace, it's none of your business. Whitebeard retorted, and then immediately said, I am a remnant of the old era. The new era has no ship that can carry me. I, Edward Newgate, announce that the Whitebeard Pirates, starting from this moment, disband. This sound, not too small or too small, entered the ears of everyone, like thunder, and everyone stared at Whitebeard in front of them with their eyes wide open. They couldn't believe it. I also don't want to believe it. From beginning to end, they never thought that one day, Whitebeard would want to disband the Whitebeard Pirates. Each squad leader also looked at Whitebeard in disbelief. Before this matter, only Whitebeard knew about it, and even Su Yong, a traveler, still did not expect that Whitebeard would say such a thing. They all thought that when Whitebeard was talking about an announcement, he meant something else. Su Yang's eyes sank slightly, and there was a complicated look in his eyes. Whitebeard, when you were in Marineford before, when you said something important to announce to me, did you mean this one? 35 Su Yong whispered, a look on his face. Dignified. Soon, everyone went from stunned to unbelievable, and finally fermented. Dad, what are you talking about? Marco said in a trembling voice at this moment. Yeah, Dad, why? Why is it so sudden? What exactly happened? Didn't we win in Marineford? Joes also said with a look of surprise. Dad, don't, the Whitebeard Pirates are my home. Yeah, Dad, please, don't disband the Whitebeard Pirates. Advertisement. Yes, Dad, if we do something wrong, we must change it. There is nothing wrong with you, you have always been excellent. Whitebeard shouted loudly, and the voice entered their ears. Suddenly, at this moment, everyone's emotions began to explode. I don't accept it, Daddy, I don't accept this decision. Marco was already in tears, and he was speaking to Whitebeard so loudly for the first time ever. I also don't accept this ending. Whitebeard Pirates, Moby Dick is the one that I have carried for most of my life. If it is gone, then the fire in my life will also disappear. Dad, why do you say something like this when celebrating? I've always listened to you before, but this time, I won't. Whitebeard looked at their expressions, needless to say, his own heart was even more uncomfortable. However, if they have been under his protection, they will never grow up, and he will always fall one day, but when that day comes, neither Marine nor pirate will miss this opportunity. So, instead of this, it is better to let them adapt to this cruel world before they die. Only then, when that day comes, can he leave in peace. Please allow the selfish me to make this decision. Listening to Whitebeard's words, everyone fell silent again, and they just stared at Whitebeard like this, not saying a word for a few minutes. Like a walking corpse, Marco silently turned around and left slowly. What followed was that almost everyone, like everyone else, silently turned around and left slowly. They all returned to the boat. Only Su Yong sat quietly on the rock without saying a word. Whitebeard continued to drink. Advertisement. 161 Over the past 10 years, thanks to your care, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Time just passed by minute by minute. The lively atmosphere not long ago has long since disappeared without a trace. Looking around, there is a sense of sadness. It was omitted from the previous writing, it should be that only the members of the 17th Division are still there. Whitebeard was still drinking alone, while the members of the 17th Division did not speak and looked at Su Yong quietly, while Su Yong was drinking from time to time and looked at Whitebeard from time to time. I wanted to say something, but I swallowed when it got to my mouth. Su Yong. Suddenly, at this time, in Su Yang's ear, a gentle voice sounded. Su Yong heard the sound and looked over. At this time, Rem was sitting next to him, and the slender jade hand was placed on Su Yang's thigh. Su Yong just smiled lightly and put his hand on the back of hers, but didn't say anything. Rem didn't speak either, she only felt that at this time, she had to stand by Su Yang's side to be his strong backing. The surroundings were quiet again. After Whitebeard drank the wine from the jug in his hand, he stood up, holding Kong Yunchi, facing the sea. Sunset. Advertisement. The setting sun shone on Whitebeard. The majestic back is still the same as usual. Makes you feel safe. Su Yong watched, with mixed emotions. In a trance, Su Yong seemed to have flashed in his mind that when he first got on the ship, Whitebeard was standing in front of the Moby Dick. It was also a sunset time. Also this magnificent back. It seems that everything has a beginning and an end. Goo. At this point, Whitebeard burst into laughter. I have to admit, I'm getting old. Saying this, Whitebeard turned around, and those unpredictable eyes stared at Su Yong. Su Yong, what are your plans in the future, degree? Su Yong shook his head and said softly, I don't know. Indeed, the decision Whitebeard made was too sudden. For a while, Su Yong had no idea what he was going to do next. Don't be confused, just do what you want to do. I saw the back of Rox from the 17th Division, but you are better than him, because your team has what Rox doesn't have. 99. Advertisement. What Whitebeard said, naturally, was unity. Although Rox was strong back then, the relationship between its members was bad, and no one wanted to rely on others. The demise of the Rox pirate is still inseparable from the poor relationship between the crew. If the Rox pirate back then could be as united as the Whitebeard pirates he is today, then the Valley of the Gods will definitely not be the result. Su Yong stood up slowly, then bowed deeply to Whitebeard, and said in a high tone, I have been taking care of you for more than 10 years, Whitebeard. 5. Whitebeard grinned, but didn't say anything. He picked up the unfinished jug beside him, and sat alone on the rock, facing the sea and watching the sunset. Su Yong bowed again, and then slowly backed away. Su Yong and the others boarded the Moby Dick, and the squad leaders who were at this time were all sitting under the ship's guardrail, their heads resting on their knees, not saying a word. Su Yong also had mixed emotions, turned to Uchiha Madara and said, okay, let's go back. Everyone nodded and didn't say anything. They just jumped back to the ship of the 17th Division. And at this moment, a prompt sounded in Su Yang's mind. Ding. Detected that the Whitebeard pirates have been disbanded, and the 17th Division of the Whitebeard pirates originally bound has been invalidated. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Please bind the host to new forces as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary loss of summon fragments. Close black lens bracket. Su Yong paused, quickly sat on the deck of the ship, and opened his attribute panel. Host. Su Yong. Binding. Whitebeard pirates number 17. It has expired. Note. During the expiration period, the unlocking degree of the summoned will not be improved temporarily. Advertisement. Abilities. Tough body. Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki awaits awakening. Special abilities. Wood Style Awakened Sage Body, 8 Inner Gates Modified version 50%, with the increase of unlocking degree, use will reduce the loss of body, 100% will be no damage, the final gate will open fixed consumption of physical strength, does not consume vitality. Note. The damaged body will appear after a day. Summoning value. 0/100ths dropped by random people or things encountered in host. Summoned characters. Uchiha Madara, 58%, Diablo, 45%. Ace Kano, 48%, Tornado, 40%, Giorno Chopper, 35%, Akunorlia, 35%, Rem, 30%, Ram, 30%. Unlocking progress does not affect moves. Unlocking progress reaches 60 to reach the peak strength of the original world. Beyond 60, the summoned character will surpass the peak strength of the original world. Unlocking progress and several events association, the host enhances the strength, the summoned learns the ability of the world, and the summoned improves himself. Warehouse. None. Glancing at his attribute panel, Su Yong fell into silence. The incident happened too suddenly, and he was not prepared at all. Right now, he has only two options to choose from. The first is to establish a new pirate group, or a new force, to continue to sail this sea. The second is to wash your hands in a golden basin and go back to be a salted fish, Jiao Jiao, but, obviously, Su Yong and the others killed 4-5 elders, whether it is the world government or marine, naturally it will not be so easy. Let go of yourself. Thinking of the pros and cons, Su Yong decisively gave up the second idea. If he really wants to be a salted fish, he must overthrow the world government and deal with all threats. In this way, he can find eternal peace. However, as the behind-the-scenes bosses of world government, IM and Su Yong know very little, even, it can be said that they do not. It would be too risky to go there abruptly. Indeed, maybe IM has some tricky abilities, and when the Holy Land Mariajoy Su Yong once watched anime, he still remembers Doflamingo saying that there are some national treasures. Just in case, Su Yong felt that it would take some time to eliminate this huge threat. Advertisement. 162 set up a new pirate group. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Anyway, for him, time is not in a hurry. Now that he has made his own decision, Su Yong has nothing to think about. Back to reality from the thoughts. He closed the attribute panel in front of him. His eyes glanced at Marco and the others again. At this moment, since Whitebeard announced the dissolution of the Whitebeard pirates, he has lost his soul. But also, Whitebeard announced the dissolution of the Whitebeard pirates, which is undoubtedly a fatal blow to the people of the Whitebeard pirates. And Su Yong saw it more clearly, so he didn't fall into a state of collapse like them. However, if you want to say that you have no feeling at all, it must be impossible. After all, the Whitebeard pirates are also where he has lived for more than 10 years. He was in a bad mood, and also felt sorry. However, he knew that the idea of disbanding the Whitebeard pirates had already been considered by Whitebeard for a long time. Therefore, in that situation just now, whether it was the squad leader, the ordinary members, or the pirates who joined the Whitebeard pirates in 477, they all spoke out to discourage him, but Whitebeard remained unmoved. Su Yong didn't say anything, turned around silently and left. Back to his boat. At this moment, everyone was sitting in the living room, and when they saw Su Yong coming back, all of them turned their attention to Su Yong. Advertisement. Now that Whitebeard has disbanded the Whitebeard pirates, what are you going to do, Su Yong? Uchiha Madara sat on the sofa and asked Su Yong seriously. Su Yong also sat on the sofa and poured himself a cup of hot tea without rushing. After a while, he said lightly, I want to hear your opinions. 35. I have no opinion, I will listen to you. 35. Tornado was the first to speak. I don't care, what do you want, I'll just follow. Diablo also followed. Otherwise, let's be gangster superstars. 35. Giorno Chopper gave his opinion. Akurolia, Ace Kano, Beg, Su Yong. The first. Good guy, even when Giorno Chopper came into the world, his original goals remained the same. Is this the original intention? But, it's a pity, my lord, that times have changed. Gangster superstar, what kind of thing is that? Uchiha Madara asked in confusion. Ace Kano. Sounds like an organization too, but it feels so earthy. 35. Giorno Chopper, you brought that thing here. Tornado groaned. Here, for now, only Su Yong, Tornado, and Giorno Chopper lived in a very similar world, so Su Yong and Tornado naturally knew what a gangster superstar was. Advertisement. What's wrong, isn't it right? Giorno Chopper asked rhetorically. It's not that it's inappropriate, it's just that it hurts our image. Su Yong raised his brows and said. The Whitebeard pirates were disbanded. I remember Su Yong once said, let's do as the locals do. We came to this world, so let's follow the meaning of the villages and follow the custom. Let's form a new pirate group by ourselves. 99. Uchiha Madara expressed his own opinion. Madara, it seems that we have a rare chance to come together again. Diablo said calmly. Do you want to form a new pirate group? It seems to feel very good. Tornado blinked his eyes and nodded thoughtfully. I also think that this is a very good idea. Ace Kano also nodded. If so many people agree, then it's up to you. To form a brand new pirate group, the first step is to have the name of the pirate group, and then have our own pirate flag. Su Yong took it slow. Said. Do you have a name for our pirates? This is simple, let's just call it the Konoha Pirates. Uchiha Madara said without hesitation. Su Yong. What the Konoha Pirates? It's a blast, the gangster superstar pirates. Giorno Chopper retorted. Su Yong. No, your names are too unprofessional, I think it's called the Hero Pirates. Tornado also expressed his own thoughts. Su Yong. Tornado, aren't you the same? What heroes, we are pirates. I think it's called the Devil Pirates. Diablo said with a grin. Su Yong. 66.99. No way, Diablo, the word, devil, has already been used badly, and there is no deterrent to outsiders. I think it was originally called the Seven Deadly Sins Pirates. 35. Ace Kano said with a look of shock. Advertisement. Su Yong is numb, my dear, you are all moving things from your own world. Forget it, the name of the pirate group is still up to me to choose, the pirate pattern is up to you. Su Yong sighed lightly. Time flew by and the next day came. Marco they thought about it all night. Finally figured it out. He also calmly accepted the result of disbanding the Whitebeard pirates. The pirates that joined the Whitebeard pirates have begun to leave one after another. Even some of the original Whitebeard pirates had already left by boat. However, for these things, Su Yong is not clear. Because today was the day 8 inner gates inherited the physical loss, Su Yong woke up in pain early in the morning. However, it may have been an experience, and everyone asked when they first started. After Su Yong said not to worry, everyone left. Madara, the latest newspaper, the bounty for our entire team has changed again. At this time, Diablo slowly came to Uchiha Madara with a large stack of rewards in his hand, and handed it to him. Kneeling and begging for the name of a pirate group. Advertisement. 163. The latest bounty of the 17th Division, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara paused, but still reached out and took the thick stack of wanted notices. In the thick stack of wanted notices, there is also a new newspaper. Uchiha Madara first took out the newspaper inside and spread it out. Battle of Marineford. The biggest conflict between Marine and pirates in recent decades. 35. Looking at the title, the expression on Uchiha Madara's face didn't show much waves. As for the content of this time, it is 100% true. Surprisingly, though, Marine is still in the newspapers and apologizing to people all over the world. The content of the apology, you don't need to think about it, it probably means that they couldn't wipe out the vicious Whitebeard pirates, and they felt deeply remorse, etc. Note. At the beginning, it was broadcast live to the whole world. Later, due to the fierce battle, the props of the broadcast were destroyed, so most people knew about the front, and knew nothing about the latter. Tisk. Uchiha Madara clicked his tongue and threw the newspaper in his hand on the ground. His eyes looked at the other, the wanted warrant in his hand. Whitebeard Pirates, Captain, Edward Newgate, with a bounty of 5.683 billion Baileys. Whitebeard Pirates, Captain of the first team, Marco has a bounty of 1.536 million Bailey. This time in the Battle of Marineford, everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates bounty has risen a lot. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara turned a little impatiently, and then increased the speed of his hands. After all, too, he didn't care about the wanted notices of the rest of the Whitebeard Pirates. All he cares about are the people from the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Soon, he turned to Su Yang's. Whitebeard Pirates, captain of the 17th Division, Su Yang, with a bounty of 3,054,000,000 Baileys. 35. I didn't expect that Su Yang came early and participated in the Marineford battle, and the bounty was doubled. Ace Kano said with a smile. What about me? What about me? Tornado leaned beside Uchiha Madara, stuck his head out, his eyes fixed on the wanted notice. And Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed slightly, then reached out and pushed her head away, and said, Little devil, you blocked my sight. 35. Tornado was a little stubborn, and even though Uchiha Madara pushed his head, she pushed her head in hard. In the end, Uchiha Madara saw that there was nothing he could do, so he raised the wanted notice and looked at it. Seeing this scene, Tornado pouted angrily, with a displeased expression on his face, crossed his hands on his chest, and looked at Uchiha Madara angrily. Okay, next one. Ace Kano, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 2.59 billion Bailey. Ace Kano was slightly surprised when he heard this. Oh, do I also have a bounty of more than 2.5 billion? But, I seem to have done nothing when I was in Marineford. 99. Uchiha Madara glanced at him and said flatly, Come on, shut up, Ace Kano. Don't pay attention to him, just turn over the next one. Dragon Roll urged. Diablo, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 2.53 billion Bailey. Advertisement. Giorno Chopper, member of the 17th Division, with a bounty of 520 million Baileys. 5. Akunorlia, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 1.35 billion Baileys. Rem, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 300 million Bailey. Ram, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 300 million Bailey. Anna, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 250 million Bailey. 35. Emily, a member of the 17th Division, has a bounty of 250 million Bailey. The last one. Uchiha Madara glanced at the tornado on the side, then deliberately dawdled, and said, Little Gito, a member of the 17th Division, the bounty is 1,035,000,000 Bailey. Che, Eyeless Marine, I have performed so well that I only gave me a bounty of 1 billion. Tornado said angrily while standing aside. What about you, Madara? Diablo asked curiously, sitting on the sofa. Uchiha Madara just wanted to put away the wanted order in his hand, but unexpectedly, the wanted order was suddenly covered with a layer of green light, and immediately, all the wanted orders fell into the hands of Tornado. Oh, seeking flowers. Uchiha Madara just smiled lightly, then leaned back on the sofa and closed her eyes. Tornado quickly found Uchiha Madara's wanted notice, coughed dryly, and announced, Super annoying bastard Madara, with a bounty of 2.575 billion Baileys. 35. Depend on. Speaking of the back, Tornado couldn't help but scolded, and then said, Marine is really blind, my performance on Marineford is much better than Uchiha Madara, but he is a higher self. More than twice as much. In a blink of an eye, another day passed. Advertisement. Su Yang was numb, this time the stamina was far greater than he imagined, and the pain did not completely disappear until noon. All that was left was his tired body and the soreness all over his body. Su Yang weakly opened his door, and Ram, who were sitting in the living room, hurried over after hearing the sound. Sir Su Yang, are you all right? Ram stared at Su Yang with a pale face, a little distressed. Now, it's all right. 9. Su Yang said with a wry smile. In fact, this pain is nothing compared to death. That's good, we are all worried to death. At this moment, Rem's sad face finally squeezed out a smile. What are you worried about? I said it's fine, it's just an old problem, and besides. Su Yang didn't say anything after that, and his unsatisfactory stomach gave Ram a big hint. Grumble, grumble. Ram and the others smiled slightly. Okay, we know what Mr. Su Yang wants to eat. Ram and I will prepare it right away. Just as usual. Oh no, more meat and more wine. All right, I'll go get ready with my sister right away. Advertisement. 164 Former Whitebeard Regiment, Captain of the 17th Division, Su Yang bids you farewell. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After a long time. Su Yang had already had enough to eat and drink, and after resting for a while, he went to take a shower and put on a clean clothes, during which he also read the latest reward and wanted notice. However, he didn't make any waves, because he didn't care about the bounty. When he left his ship, he found that the Whitebeard pirates had already left. There are only a few former team captains left, namely Marco, Chaozi, and Ace. However, what Su Yang never imagined was that Whitebeard was still sitting on the rock, standing on Kong Yuncho, his eyes facing the sea. Whitebeard. Su Yang came over, first looked at Marco and the others, and finally put his eyes on Whitebeard. And, 477, Whitebeard opened his eyes slightly after hearing Su Yang's voice, but soon, he closed it again and asked. Listen to them, you're sick. Su Yang nodded and said calmly. Yes, but it has recovered today. That's good, let's leave. 35. After leaving this sentence, Whitebeard did not speak. Advertisement. And Su Yang's eyes turned to Marco, and then asked, This. What's going on, Whitebeard? Before Su Yang could finish speaking, Marco said with a frown. Yes, since that day, Dad has been sitting here without eating or drinking for several days. Dad said, if we don't leave for a day, he won't eat or drink, or leave this rock, until he dies. Xiao Zi also added. Su Yong helped to persuade. Ace followed suit. However, before Su Yong could speak, Whitebeard on the side spoke again. I have made up my mind and will not change. If you want me to live a few more years, just leave me here. Father. At this moment, Marco suddenly realized that his heart was very complicated. At first, the reason why he did not leave was because he thought that as long as Su Yong came, he would definitely be able to persuade Whitebeard, but it backfired. Okay, Dad, I know, I hope you can take good care of yourself in these days when we're not here. 99 Marco wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. Father's decision, no matter what we do, we can't change it. For the sake of father, let's leave quickly. Xiao Zi said, choked up. His heart was also very uncomfortable, but he also knew that as long as they didn't leave, Whitebeard would not leave for a day, and Whitebeard was not as hungry as he was when he was young. In addition to his past injuries and his age, Whitebeard won't be able to last long if he continues like this. Su Yong sighed deeply, not expecting Whitebeard to do such an incredible job to force them away this time. I saw Su Yong bent slowly, bowed towards Whitebeard, and shouted loudly. Former Whitebeard pirates, captain of the 17th Division, Su Yong bids you farewell. Seeing Su Yang's actions, Soon, Marco, Chaozi, and Ace also bowed and shouted loudly. Advertisement. Former Whitebeard pirates, 1st Division captain, Marco bids you farewell. Former Whitebeard pirates, 2nd Division captain, Ace bids you goodbye. 99. The former Whitebeard pirates, the captain of the 3rd Division, Chaozi bids you farewell. What Su Yong and the others didn't know was that the man who claimed to be the strongest in the world, after hearing this, there were big tears streaming down his eyes. Soon, after the farewell ceremony, Su Yong and Marco turned around silently and left slowly. What are you going to do next? 35 Su Yong asked Marco. Me, Marco said, looked at the blue sky, and smiled solemnly, shortly rest for half a year, as long as a few years, and may even retire, or may form his own pirate group. Marco, if you set up a pirate group, remember to contact me, I will be your deputy captain. Xiao Zi said. Marco smiled. Let's talk about it when the time comes, right now, it's still early. After the words fell, their eyes fell on Ace.0. Ace was silent for a while, then said softly, my original goal was to make my father the pirate king, but my father has retired, so, let me be the pirate king. Is it still the same as before, called the Spade Pirates? Marco asked. Ace nodded. In the end, they all looked at Su Yong in unison. How about you, Su Yong? Advertisement. Su Yong faced the sea and calmly said, if there is no accident, it should be, also set up your own pirate group. 5. Several people chatted for a while on the coast, and finally left here. Marco, Ace, Yoja and they head to the Sabayati archipelago, one of them needs to buy a new ship, and then go to the new world. As for Su Yong, he left in the opposite direction. He was going to pick up Anna and Emily. Whitebeard's eyes were fixed on the drifting ship, and he finally put down Kong Yunchi in his hand, while reaching out to wipe the tears on his face. I didn't expect to lose my temper at such a time. Go, everyone, the new era belongs to you. The news of the disbanding of the Whitebeard pirates quickly spread throughout the world on 4.6. Sengoku, who was on vacation, immediately became restless after hearing the news. Hastily dialed Garp's phone bug. Garp, where are you now? Why? Sengoku, I'm on vacation right now, don't ask me to do anything or anything, and I'm back in East Blue now. 35. Garp quickly reminded that at this time, Garp only needs to relax for a few months, and he does not want to participate in anything with Marine during these months. I'm also on vacation. I'm looking for you today, not to talk about work, but to ask you, do you know about the disbandment of the Whitebeard pirates? 5. Sengoku's words made Garp stunned for a moment, and then asked back, you. What did you say? The Whitebeard pirates disbanded. Advertisement. 165 new 4 emperors appeared. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. P.S. As the Chinese New Year is approaching, there are a lot of things to do. I really didn't have time to code words yesterday, I'm sorry. Speaking of which, Garp pouted and laughed. Ha 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 ha. Sengoku, what are you talking about? With Whitebeard's character, how could you disband the Whitebeard pirates? Moreover, with the performance of the Whitebeard pirates in Marineford, it is even more impossible to disband the Whitebeard pirates. After all, the Whitebeard pirates have only entered their peak state for decades, so what is their reasons for disbanding? Indeed, what Garp said is right, the Whitebeard pirates are quite special. They say that they are a pirate group, but they are actually more like a family group, and Whitebeard's goals and ideals are all stored in the Whitebeard pirates. How could 10 be disbanded so easily? Facing Garp's words, Sengoku was silent for dozens of seconds, and then solemnly said, Garp, I'm serious, to tell you the truth, when I heard the Whitebeard pirates disbanded, I immediately said. The reaction is the same as yours, they all thought it was a rumor. But after investigation, this is not a rumor. That guy Whitebeard really disbanded the Whitebeard pirates. As soon as these words came out, Garp's smile on his face was restrained. His eyes, which had not become cloudy due to the ravages of the years, stared straight ahead, before slowly opening his mouth for a long time. Is it a conspiracy? It's not clear for the time being, but I don't think it's that simple. I'm afraid it's a conspiracy by Whitebeard. Sengoku raised his eyebrows slightly, feeling a little uneasy in his heart. Advertisement. It's no wonder that Sengoku is suspicious, it's only because Whitebeard has been acting so erratically lately. After all, it is. The former Whitebeard pirates have basically had no major conflict with Marine for decades. This year, the action was so big that it kept their Marine executives guessing. Indeed, as you said, the actions of the Whitebeard pirates are really confusing. Garp said with a smile. Damn, this just ended the Marineford battle. I thought they would be able to calm down for a while, but I never thought that abnormal things would start to happen. I really didn't take a vacation to let me calm down for a while. Sengoku scolded. Since Whitebeard became the Four Emperors, he once thought that as long as the Marines didn't trouble them, the members of his Whitebeard pirates would also calm down, but now it seems that he is thinking too much. Ha 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 ha, Sengoku, this is something that can't be helped, isn't it? I know. 35. Actually, if the Whitebeard pirates really disbanded, it would be a good thing for us. If we Marines still have to deal with the Whitebeard pirates, we can destroy them one by one. 99. Garp, do you think things would be that easy? Sengoku asked. Garp's face sank, and he continued. Sengoku, isn't this something we can't do anything about, we just have to accept it, don't we? Advertisement. Call. Sengoku sighed deeply. Yes, this kind of thing is not something they can control at all. The only thing they can do is to accept it calmly. And make corresponding countermeasures. Okay, continue to take your leave. In addition, I'm also ready to resign as Marshal Marine. I've been running around for most of my life, and it's time to take a good rest. Ha 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 ha. Sengoku, I said it long ago, we are getting old, this era belongs to their young people. Time flies, and a few days have passed. The news of the disbandment of the Whitebeard pirates, after the news agency master received the news, they immediately published the news of the disbandment of the Whitebeard pirates. In just 2 days, the news spread almost all over the world. New World, on an island. Shanks held the newspaper in his hand and watched the news of the disbandment of the Whitebeard pirates. Although it had nothing to do with him, he always had a bad feeling in his heart. In a trance, in his mind, the scene when Roger was disbanding the Roger pirates flashed through his mind, which made him a little uneasy. Anyway, Whitebeard, did you choose to do that too? Advertisement. Looking at the newspaper in his hand, Shanks let out a sigh of relief. Head. Lakilu looked at Shanks' heavy expression and called out in a low voice. Shanks smiled faintly. It's nothing, it's just, the Whitebeard pirates have disbanded. It's really a pity. Ben Beckman also said. 477. Speaking of this, Shanks' face became solemn again. The Whitebeard pirates are disbanded, and a bigger storm is coming. Shanks pulled out the western sword from his waist and stuck the newspaper on the ground, his eyes glowing with cold light. Yeah, the territory that once belonged to the Whitebeard pirates, whether it was Charlotte Linlin, Kaido, or the world government, will inevitably move, because the balance of the New World pirates is out of balance. Ben Beckman said calmly. The situation can only be stabilized when the new 4 emperors appear. However, I feel that this new 4 emperors is still a member of the original Whitebeard pirates. Le Julu said. Su Yang, is that right? Shanks looked at Le Kaludao. While eating the barbecued meat in his hand, Lakilu said with a smile. In the former Whitebeard pirates, who has this ability, only Su Yang's 17th division, although it has not appeared yet, but. In fact, new 4 emperors have appeared. Good analysis this time, Lakelu. Ben Beckman said with a smile. In fact, whether it was him or Shanks, they had already thought about it, but they never mentioned it. Advertisement. 166. Announcement. The establishment of the Dimensional Pirates. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hey, don't look at me every day to know how to eat, but my heart is very delicate. Lakilu said with a smile. Come on, Lakelu, don't be careful, even a bit of a savvy person knows that after all, every guy in the 17th division has a very high bounty. 35. And, I guess, it's very possible that they will become a pirate group with a very balanced bounty, just like our pirate group. Ben Beckman said calmly. Beckman, this is not the same as what you said. Don't be careful, as long as you are not blind, you can see it. Lakilu replied. Ben Beckman. Azrat Island. Su Yang has successfully retrieved Anna and Emily at sea. However, they did not leave immediately, but leaned on the island's port. As for the reason, it is because he needs to think about the name of the pirate group, and then come up with the flag of his own pirate group. On board, everyone gathered together, although Su Yang said that the name of the pirate group reminded him, but everyone kept silent, for fear of disturbing Su Yang's thoughts. A second, a minute, a blink of an eye, an hour has passed. Tornado couldn't sit still, he was lying on the sofa while stretching, and muttered, Su Yang, have you thought about it? It's been more than an hour. 99. I see, or just choose the one I propose and forget it, it's called the 7 Original Sins Pirates. Ace Kano spread his hands on the top edge of the sofa, sitting in a big boss posture. Tisk, choose yours, why don't you call me the Konoha Pirates? Uchiha Madara retorted casually. Advertisement. Su Yang sighed. Caressing his head, he said, forget it, I don't want to, I can't think of it after racking my brains, let's choose a backup plan, let's call it the Dimensional Pirates. Dimensional pirates. Everyone was also stunned, and then their eyes turned to Su Yong. Su Yong explained slowly. The reason why it is called dimension, first of all, whether it is me or you are from different worlds, and the meaning of the word dimension is concise and representative, what do you think? I think this kind of thing. You don't need to ask our opinion, you ask Madara. Madara must say no Konoha pirates, you ask Giorno Chopper, he must say no gangster pirates good group. Tornado said calmly while yawning aside. In that case, let's call the dimension pirates. Diablo agreed. I have no opinion. I have no opinion either. 55. Okay, then, I announce that the dimensional pirates are officially established. Su Yang's voice just fell, suddenly. In his ear, the sound of the system sounded. Ding. The 17th division of the Whitebeard pirates was successfully unbound. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Successfully bound the dimensional pirates. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Bind to get random enhancement card X1. Ding. Congratulations to host for becoming the highest authority and obtaining Conqueror's Haki. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Summoner's unlocking degree has been successfully restored. Close black lens bracket. Following the system's voice all the way, Su Yong didn't even regain his senses when the attribute panel that belonged to him popped up. Advertisement. Host. Su Yong. Binding. Dimensional pirates. Abilities. Tough body, armament Haki, observation Haki. Special abilities. Wood style awakened, sage body, 8 inner gates modified version 50%, with the increase of unlocking degree, use will reduce the loss of body, 100% will be no damage, the final gate will open fixed consumption of physical strength, does not consume vitality. Note. The damaged body will appear after a day. Summoning value. 0/100ths, dropped by random people or things encountered in host. Summoned characters. Uchiha Madara, 58%, Diablo, 45%. Ace Kano, 48%, Tornado, 40%, Giorno Chopper, 35%, Akunorlia, 35%, Rem, 30%, Ram, 30%, unlocking progress does not affect moves. Unlocking progress reaches 60 to reach the peak strength of the original world. Beyond 60, the summoned character will surpass the peak strength of the original world. Unlocking progress and several events association, the host enhances the strength, the summoned learns the ability of the world, and the summoned improves himself. Warehouse. Enhancement card X1. Looking at the virtual panel that popped up, Su Yong finally recovered. Will you get a reward for binding a new one? He murmured inwardly, as if he felt that he had opened a new world. Then I announce the dissolution of the pirate group, and then re-establish it, will I get bound rewards again? Su Yong murmured again secretly. At this moment, his mouth Kakuzu raised slightly, as if he had thought of a note that was not playing. Suddenly, at this moment, the tornado lying next to Su Yong gently kicked Su Yang's thigh with his little foot, and then asked in surprise. Backquote your expression, you must be thinking of some bad idea. Su Yong glanced at the tornado from the corner of his eye, and said in a bad mood, I'm thinking about something bad, can you think about something good? While speaking, Su Yong stood up and continued. Okay, you decide on the flag pattern of the pirates, I'll go outside to get some air. After leaving this sentence, Su Yong walked outside, and the others were stunned for a moment, and then began to discuss the pattern of the pirate flag. Advertisement. And Su Yong, as soon as he got outside the boat, tried it right away. Disband the dimensional pirates. As soon as Su Yong finished speaking, the system let him know that he was thinking too much. Ding. The strength of the host's self-created bound group cannot be unbound. Unless all members are killed in battle, they can be automatically unbound. Close black lens bracket. Su Yang's eyes sank slightly, and he knew that things were not so simple. However, if he hadn't been established so quickly before, he would have really been able to smack the system. Zhao Zhao, the reason is very simple, just need to join the other party, then let him disband, and then find another one, so that he can be bound again. But, I don't know if the reward will be limited, but there should be a limit, and the system won't let it go so easily. Use a random booster card. Open black lens bracket ding. Used successfully. Sweat close black lens bracket. Ding. This time, sage body is strengthened. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Strengthened successfully. Close black lens bracket. Sage body strengthened. Su Yong was a little overwhelmed. Strengthening the sage body was something he never thought of. The system didn't prompt him to have any special abilities if he was strengthened. He had no choice but to try it himself. Along with that, enter the state of sage body. At this moment, Su Yong first had a pair of horns growing on his forehead. Good brother, successfully filled the hole in Yimu's dream. Hee hee. Advertisement. 167 exclusive vessel, Shira, please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After a pair of horns grew on his forehead, his hair color and body gradually turned white. The clothes below the neck are also turning white at a speed that can be seen with the naked eye. In his hand, a black long knife without a blade appeared. The light wind blows slowly, and Su Yang's white robe dances with the wind. Su Yong was slightly startled, a little caught off guard when he saw his own changes. He took a leap of his life, jumped onto the ship's guardrail, and watched his figure reflected in the sea. His pupils shrank slightly. Dude, isn't this the Six Paths Sage mode from Hokage Ninja? Su Yong murmured, looked carefully, and found many differences. Forget it, No matter what, I can feel the current state of Sage body, and my strength has been qualitatively improved again. Just as Su Yong sighed, suddenly, in his ear, a voice sounded again. Ding. The pirate flag has been determined, and the host has completed the final binding. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining the exclusive ship, Shira, produced by the system. Open black lens bracket. Ding. Is the host summoning now? Close black lens bracket. Su Yong hesitated for a while, and finally nodded. Summon 493. 9. Ding. Summon successfully. Close black lens bracket. The voice that accompanied the system fell. Suddenly, the sky darkened. Su Yong was slightly startled and looked up. Advertisement. At this moment, a huge ship has fallen down. Boom. A sound. Suddenly the sea rolled over. The huge waves directly pushed the boat Su Yong to the shore. With such a big movement, Uchiha Madara and the others ran out immediately. What happened? As Marine here. Tisk tisk, isn't it a good time to come? Just let them be the gifts for us to set up the pirate group. Indeed, I didn't play enough last time, I hope they can let us play a little more this time. When the Shira came into their eyes, they were all stunned for a moment. Two huge red long dragons were attached to the left and right sides of the hull, and the dragon eyes flashed with crimson light. In front of the bow, there is only a black dragon with a huge mouth open, and the pair of dragon eyes are also flashing with crimson light. Below the boat guardrail, there are nearly 50 small faucets lined up, but they all have their mouths closed. What's the matter? Why, I always have a feeling that this ship is guiding me on board. Uchiha Madara's eyes sank slightly and took a few steps forward. Oh, I thought I was the only one who felt this way, but I didn't expect you to have it too. Diablo also asked curiously. He himself thought that the ship might have something to do with the demons above, but after hearing Uchiha Madara say this, he knew that it was not related to the demons, it should be related to the summoned ones. I also feel. Me too. You guys feel pretty good, it's the ship that guides us on board. Su Yong stood at the front and shouted. What's going on? Ace Kano walked to Su Yang's side and asked. Yeah, am I still one of Marine's gang? Tornado used his own superpowers and also floated beside Su Yong. Su Yang's eyes were fixed on the huge ship ahead, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly. Advertisement. This is an exclusive ship given to us by the Dimensional Pirates. Belongs to us. Belong to our exclusive ship. This ship looks like a match for us. Indeed, I agree with that too. And compared to most people, our ship looks a lot more hockey. Let's go take a look first. Beg. After Su Yong left these words, he took the lead and jumped on the Shira. Others followed. The Shira is very different from other ships except for its appearance. Internally, it's pretty much the same. But, one thing has a big difference. That is, this Shira has no control room. This is a mind-controlled ship. However, not everyone can control it. Only Su Yong, and the summoned. Moreover, what Su Yong never imagined was that this Shira also had its own exclusive attribute panel. Ship number. Shira. Controlled personnel. Su Yong, Uchiha Madara, Diablo, Ace Kano, Tornado, Giorno Chopper, Acurolia, Ram. New summoners will be added by themselves. Function. Flight, diving, attack, defense. With a brief glance, Su Yong paused. The function of this boat surprised me. It can still fly and dive. However, this has made me a lot more convenient, and I don't need to be coded in the future. 35. After muttering, Su Yong quickly started trying. Advertisement. The thoughts began to be transmitted into the Shira. Su Yong controls the boat and starts to attack. The little dragon head on the side facing the sea started to open its mouth quickly. A deep red energy ball condensed. Immediately after that, it shot out at an extremely fast speed. Whoa. 35. Countless energy balls were launched. The sea in the distance exploded in an instant. Boom. Huge waves surged into the sky. This power really surprised Su Yong. His eyes were withdrawn from the sea in the distance and placed on the faucet in front of him. I don't know how powerful the dragon head launched from the bow is. But, the small dragon head has this power, and the big dragon head naturally need not say more. With a murmur, Su Yong did not test the power of the big faucet. First, he had no subjects to test. You can't cast one on the island. Moreover, the launch consumption is only the physical strength of the manipulator, that is to say, as long as your physical strength is invincible, then he can continuously launch. This is more practical than I expected. Next, Su Yong tested other functions. Flying is good, defense is strong, and diving is like sailing on the sea. All in all, Shira is awesome. Advertisement. 168 Charlotte Linlin's ambition. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. P.S. All the manuscripts that the author saved before were lost, and the mentality jumped directly, but there was no other way, so I had to rewrite it. Meanwhile, New World. Since the disbandment of the Whitebeard pirates, the disappearance has spread to the New World. The New World began to turmoil. The country that once granted the Whitebeard pirates asylum, or the people of the territory, began to panic. Many have left the Whitebeard pirates' turf. As for the reason, it is also obvious. Because the Whitebeard pirates were disbanded, the country or territory that once granted Whitebeard asylum was likely to arouse competition from other four emperors. In order not to be implicated, they left early. New World, all nations, Cake Island. Advertisement. In the huge palace, at this moment, Charlotte Linlin is still enjoying delicious Anko rice cake soup, and below, are her children. Well, Charlotte Linlin has a happy look on her face as she licks, and clings to the Anko rice cake soup that sticks to her hands. Obviously, the Anko rice cake soup this time made her quite satisfied. And below her children are standing aside, watching quietly. Well, licking off all the Anko rice cake soup sticking to her hands, Charlotte Linlin, contentedly, set her eyes on the newspaper on the side table. I didn't expect that old fellow Whitebeard would disband his pirate group, this is a perfect opportunity. Saying that, Charlotte Linlin's eyes flashed a cold light. The news of the disbanding of the Whitebeard pirates spread throughout New World, and Charlotte Linlin already had a plan in her heart as soon as she got the news. She intends to take advantage of the present opportunity to take over all of Whitebeard's territory. Sparrow, who was standing on the side, heard Charlotte Linlin's words, and his expression couldn't help but move. Since such news spread, most of the residents of Whitebeard's territory have begun to flee, and I am afraid that others will know about it. Bar. Advertisement. What does that mean, Sparrow? We're going to take all of Whitebeard's territory before anyone else. As she spoke, Charlotte Linlin reached out and grabbed the remaining Anko rice cake soup on the table and shoved it into her mouth. But Mom, although the Whitebeard pirates were disbanded under Whitebeard's orders, that old guy didn't die. Also, it is said that Marco and the others did not choose to leave, and are still guarding those sites. If we attack, I'm afraid Whitebeard will do it. Katakuri was a little worried, after all, they were discussing now, but they wanted to snatch the man's territory. Edward Newgate, known as the strongest man in the world. Although Whitebeard has announced the disbandment of his pirate group, that man is not dead. 0 for flowers. Once their actions provoke Whitebeard's counterattack, the consequences are hard to predict. Besides, I don't know if the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Regiment will take measures to respond to our actions. Advertisement. 99. Charlotte Linlin smiled, and her sharp eyes were like two knives, glancing at Katakuri. The atmosphere in the entire palace instantly became dull. The group of sons and daughters next to her also immediately followed suit. Although Charlotte Linlin had not paid much attention to the news of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. But after all, what Su Yong and his team members have done are really sensational. So far, the news about the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates has more or less been known to the members of the Big Mom Pirates. It's just a squad under that old man Whitebeard. I'm not afraid of Whitebeard, let alone just a squad. It's not enough for me to fear. 5. Of course, if they're going to fight our Big Mom Pirates, let him try. Saying that, Charlotte Linlin resumed the smile, and began to gulp down the Anko rice cake soup again. Okay, now get ready for me to take over Whitebeard's former site. 9. Advertisement. 169 They are demons seeking complete set. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. On the other side, the Shura is sailing on the sea. Numerous lounge chairs have been placed on the deck of the Shura. Most of the people, including Su Yong, were leaning on the reclining chairs. Although I also use my mind to control the ship, I feel that this is far more wonderful than using my own superpower to control it. Tornado exhaled lightly, and his face was full of relief. The same is true for Su Yong and others on the side. The appearance of the Shura made up for the last shortcoming of the dimensional pirates. With the Shura, they don't need to find a powerful navigator at all. At the same time, 3 nautical miles away from the Shura, a pirate ship with a height of 3 stories was slowly approaching, and there were many small combat ships behind it. The flag hoisted high above the mast indicates that this pirate group is the Kid Pirates. Standing on the deck with a red-haired man of 493, as Kid, one of the 11 members of the pirate supernova. The other person standing beside Kid, dressed in pink and with a long braid, is Apu, who is also one of the supernovas. Apu raised one leg, patted his palm gently, and a series of sound waves spread to the front in an instant. After receiving the return wave of the sound wave, a smile appeared on Apu's face, and said, Kid, didn't you want to change a ship for a long time? A good pirate ship came to the door. Quote. There was a smile on Kid's mouth, and he said, oh. A pirate ship that can be seen by a picky guy like you should be pretty good. Little ones, approach at full speed. Then, many crew members of the Kid Pirates began to frantically push steam power. After dozens of breaths, a huge ship appeared in everyone's sight. 2 red dragons hovered on both sides of the ship, and the red body looked extremely dazzling under the sunlight. Advertisement. The front end has a hideous black faucet. Everyone including Kid was stunned and their eyes widened. Great, our Kid Pirates can finally have a qualified pirate ship. A look of excitement appeared on Kid's face, and his fists were tightly clenched. Immediately after, his eyes fell on the pirate flag, a look of doubt appeared on his face, and he said, a strange sign. It should be a little-known little pirate group. Wrap the ship. 35. Following Kid's order, many small boats galloped quickly, cutting off all the back roads of the Shura. On the deck of the Shura, Su Yong, who was just lying on the reclining chair, slowly opened his eyes flashed slightly, and he said randomly and gently, I noticed it, let's go and see what's going on. Su Yang's voice just fell, suddenly. Swish. The figure of Uchiha Madara disappeared immediately, and the next moment appeared directly in the air. Uchiha Madara in midair looked at Kid and the others who were approaching, a helpless look flashed in his eyes. Just sand and gravel. Kid, who is a Supernova 11 person, can be regarded as a little famous, however, he is still not in the eyes of Uchiha Madara. Then just destroy them directly. The tornado turned into a cyan afterimage and appeared directly in front of Kid and others. Boom. Under the control of the tornado power, a large number of huge blisters immediately rose above the sea. One by one, the blisters directly wrapped all the many small ships surrounding the Shura. What's the matter? Who is it? Sea water. How can we be wrapped in sea water? Could it be this little girl's hand? It's absolutely impossible. 99. Advertisement. The many crew members of the Kid Pirates were full of horror, and many shells and close-up weapons attacked frantically in front of the blisters. However, it is impossible to shake the blisters with the blessing of psychic power. A bunch of ignorant guys, pay the price for your recklessness. 5. The voice of the tornado was extremely cold, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. Boom. Accompanied by a roaring sound, a large number of blisters burst directly in an instant. The many small ships of the Kid Pirates were instantly turned into powder, and many crew members died. It's your turn. Tornado slowly turned around and looked closely at Kid and Apu. At this moment, Apu's face was extremely ugly, and he said word by word, This is, can't be wrong, this is the member of the 17th Division of the original Whitebeard Pirates. We are here. Got into big trouble again. Kid pouted, but he didn't take it seriously, not to mention the members of a mere squad, even the 4 emperors, he just touched it now. 0. So what, she's just a little girl. As long as the other members of the 17th Division are not there, this little girl is not worth mentioning at all. It's just a pity that my crew members are gone. Little girl. Tornado slowly raised his head, his eyes were full of coldness. Hum. The invisible power of thought instantly vacated the air, turned into air cannonballs, and rolled straight ahead. Kid's expression changed drastically, he quickly stepped back, and suddenly opened his arms. Mechanical arm. All the metalwork on the entire boat was attached to Kid's arms. 2 giant robotic arms with a length of more than 30 meters were instantly formed. Go to hell. Advertisement. Kid suddenly waved his mechanical arms and instantly rolled forward. Boom. Accompanied by a huge roar, a large number of telekinetic air cannonballs collided with the mechanical double walls. Thick gunpowder spreads all around. When the smoke cleared, Kid fell on the deck with a shocked face, and the 2 huge mechanical arms had long since turned into dust. What? How is this possible? Apu's face was full of shock. He was very aware of Kid's true strength, but he didn't expect that under Tornwan's hands, he couldn't even hold on to a single move. Kid's eyes were full of shock, and his mind was blank. Tornado curled his lips and said disdainfully, It's really boring. However, since you took the initiative to come to the door, I can only blame you for being unlucky. Boom. A large amount of psychic power rushed up, and Kid's body directly turned into a pile of blood mist. Apu on the side stood there, the joints of his body trembled constantly, and the messy noise continued to spread from it. The Paramesha sound fruit ability was directly frightened, and the body lost control. You're very motivated, little devil. A light wind blew, and the figure of Uchiha Madara appeared beside the tornado. Uchiha Madara, the great pirate with a bounty of 2.575 billion Baileys. 35. One of the surviving Kid Pirates couldn't help screaming. Run. This man is a real devil. A group of surviving crew members began to flee, and some even jumped into the sea without hesitation. Advertisement. 170 Black Dragon. Lousy is no longer seasick, please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara looked at the scene in front of him indifferently, and his heart was not disturbed. After all, it is, like this guy who is not even 1/10,000th of himself. For him, it is optional. Their life and death are only between their own thoughts. Damn it, are these guys looking down on me? They weren't scared when they saw me, but seeing you, it's like a mouse seeing a cat. Tornado clenched his fists tightly, and his face was full of bad looks. My bounty is higher than yours. Uchiha Madara squinted slightly and glanced at the tornado beside him. 35. Tornado was at a loss for words and wanted to refute something, but he swallowed the words. After all, Uchiha Madara was right, his bounty was indeed much higher than his own. Moreover, many of the Kid Pirates in the field did not think that the many blisters just now were released by a tornado, and instead attributed everything to Uchiha Madara. Damn. The tornado suddenly shouted, and the huge psychic power immediately sprayed away towards the surroundings. Boom. Advertisement. Immediately above the sea surface, a huge hole 10 meters deep appeared, and with the help of a large amount of seawater, like a cannonball, it sputtered frantically towards the surroundings. Swish. One after another, the sound of breaking through the air sounded, and the bodies of the many Kid Pirate crew members who were madly fleeing quickly became a sieve. Many people died with unbelievable expressions on their faces. Scratch flopping sound. Under the panic, Apu began to frantically twist the joints of the supreme body. A large number of sound waves emanated from the inside of its body, rushing towards the front. However, many sound waves completely dissipated the first time they touched the sea water. Many sea water still penetrated his body. How can that be? Apu's face was full of astonishment, and a dense hole had appeared on the surface of his body. Boom. With a dull voice, Apu's body also fell on the deck. At this point, the Kid Pirates, the group is destroyed. At this time, the Shira also came to the side of the main ship of the Kid Pirates. Advertisement. Su Yong was lying on the ship's guardrail and jokingly said, "Did you kill them all? Didn't you leave a single one alive?" Huh, want to stay alive? There's no other way to stay alive. I can only blame Su Yong for not saying it sooner. I've already dealt with them all. The tornado stall on the side spread his hands, and some Tsunere replied. Su Yong didn't answer, and looked at the pirate flag among the many wreckage in front of him, plus the two huge iron arms he saw before. He basically knew the true identity of the incoming enemy. Unfortunately, Kid is a good pirate supernova. In the original book, when Kid faced Kaido of the Beasts, he would rather die than surrender. In the end, he was imprisoned in an underground cage, but he still refused to surrender. And this guy owns Conqueror's Hockey. In a sense, Kid's future is immeasurable. Those who own Conqueror's Hockey are always in the dark above the sea. It's a pity. Su Yong and the others accidentally wiped it out on the cradle. At this time, Aknororia, who was not far away, suddenly said, "This should be the first battle of our dimensional pirates since the establishment. Although it is just a group of unremarkable guys, it is still a good start." 5. Giorno Chopper couldn't help but nodded and said, "It's true, but it seems that with our strength, few people can beat us." Chopper, be confident, we are not afraid of anyone. Diablo smiled slightly. While they were discussing, Su Yong couldn't help but said, "Akunorlia, shouldn't you guy, under normal circumstances, transform into a dragon form, or lie on the bed?" "What? I'm no longer seasick." Hearing that, everyone here turned their attention. Advertisement. Aknororia stood there blankly, with a confused look in her eyes. At this moment, this guy's face is ruddy, and his gestures are full of freedom and ease, and there is absolutely no depression after boarding the ship at first. It seems to be the case. 35. Tornado excitedly approached Akurolia's side 493, looked at it carefully and said, "This is really a miraculous thing. Originally Su Yong was thinking about how to solve your seasickness problem, but I didn't expect it. The problem has completely disappeared." The Ram and Rem sisters on the side were also relieved. Since Akurolia is not seasick, then his food problem can be solved easily. On weekdays, in order to take special care of the seasick Akunorlia, Rem racked his brains, and even Ram was pulled over from time to discuss. All kinds of nutritious meals are constantly changing, but it can only make Akunorlia a little comfortable. Is it because of the Shira? Su Yong secretly guessed in his heart. Immediately he said, "It seems that many benefits of the Shira are still waiting for us to discover." 55. In the eyes of everyone in the Dimensional Pirates, an excited light soon appeared. At this moment, the status of the Shira in the hearts of everyone skyrocketed. Akurolia's long hair fluttered in the wind, a look of anticipation appeared in her eyes, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. Advertisement. 171 summons again. New team member. Chow Meng, please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ding. Detect nearby summon fragments. Just when everyone was happy that Enolia was not seasick, a system prompt sounded in Su Yang's ear. "Oh, there are fragments here." 35. After hearing the sound of the system, Su Yong was a little surprised, and said to himself with the same expression on his face, "Interesting." 35. According to the previous system showing the urine quality, Su Yong swept his eyes to the direction of the Kid Pirate's ship. As predicted, beside the dead supernovae Kid and Apu, two glowing light spheres appeared. This is double the joy. Seeing that two groups of summoning fragments appeared this time, a smile appeared at the corner of Su Yang's mouth. Although by looking at the luster and wink of the light group, he has already judged that these two fragments are only ordinary summon fragments. But no matter how small mosquito legs are, they are still meat. And after the Summit War, Su Yong broke away from the Whitebeard group and established his own dimensional pirate group. He felt that he was one step closer to being a leisurely and permanent salted fish. If it wasn't for this fashion and he didn't know what other trump cards this guy was hiding, he would have wanted to directly pull a boatload of people into the Celestial Dragon's holy land to make a fuss. Hit him directly. However, Celestial Dragons, as the top of the world, has ruled the world for 800 years. 800 years of heritage. It is indeed not to be underestimated. So Su Yong also felt cautious at this time, and waited for his own growth and development to see if he could bring some help from the heavens and the world in the next days. Advertisement. After he is so powerful that he is invincible in the world, he will fight celestial dragons again and again, and directly push the crystal. After solving the biggest scourge of IM, can he enjoy his eternal life as a salted fish? I saw Su Yang's feet move, and took the lead to come to Apu's body, stretched out his hand, and a shiny summoning fragment was in his hand. Open black lens bracket ding. Items worth 100 summoning points detected. Close black lens bracket. Ding. In view of the fact that the credit for the last host summon has not been returned, this item has been automatically deducted 100 summon points. Close black lens bracket. Before Su Yong warmed the summoning fragments in his hand, the system prompt sounded at the right time. It's just that the movement this time is straight-faced Su Yang's teeth tickling. Humph. Damn capitalism. After a long time, a piece of summoning fragment appeared, and it was simply and rudely swept away and deducted by the system. What's the difference between such a shameless act and Su Yang's rude behavior in his previous life when he automatically deducted money from Ma's father every month? Su Yang's heart instantly had a feeling that even after crossing the road, he was still living under the exploitation and maiming of capital. Forget it, you always have to pay it back when you come out, asterisk. Anyway, I've paid off the debt, and I also have a chance to summon. It's a big deal in the next days to do more things, kill supernovas when you have nothing to do, you can always earn it back. Remembering that he quarreled with the system last time and didn't win, in order not to be mad at the system, Su Yong forced himself to relax and comforted himself. At the same time, Su Yong didn't stop, and he came to Kid's corpse again, picked up the summoned fragment that fell on the ground and put it in the system warehouse. The good thing is that this time the system didn't make any more plans to increase the interest, and what else to fix. Advertisement. Adhering to the philosophy that only the summoning fragments that he has used are his own, as soon as Su Yong returned to the ship, he turned on the system to prepare for the summoning. Host. Su Yong. Binding. Dimensional Pirates. Abilities. Tough Body, Armament Hockey, Observation Hockey, Conqueror's Hockey. Special Abilities. Wood Style Awakened, Sage Body, 8 Inner Gates Modified version 50%, with the increase of unlocking degree. Use will reduce the loss of body, 100% will be no damage, the final gate is opened and fixed consumption of physical strength, does not consume vitality. Note. The damaged body will appear after a day. Summoning value. 0/100ths, dropped by random people or things encountered in host. Summoned characters. Uchiha Madara, 58%, Diablo, 45%, Ace Kano, 48%, Tornado. 41%, Giorno Chopper, 35%, Anolia 35%, Rem 30%, Ram 30%. The unlocking progress does not affect the moves, and the unlocking progress reaches 60 reaches the peak strength of the original world. Beyond 60, the summoned character will surpass the peak strength of the original world. The unlocking degree is related to several events, and the host enhances the strength. The summoned learns the world ability, and the summoned improves it by himself. Binding item. Shura. Warehouse. Summoning fragments X1. After a cursory glance at the panel, Su Yong found that the major events he had experienced during this period of time had improved everyone's unlocking degree. While nodding secretly, he entered a command into the system. System. Use summoning fragments. Ding. Are you sure to use the summoning fragment? 66 yes. Ding. Congratulations to the successful trial of the host, and get 100 summon points. Close black lens bracket. System. Summon. Ding. Command received. Is calling. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Ding. The summoning is successful, consuming 100 summoning points. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting Super Dream from Pokemon. Close black lens bracket. Huh, didn't they all summon humans from various anime planes before? Why did you summon the Super Dream in Pokemon this time? After hearing the system's broadcast, Su Yang's face was also a little stunned. He always thought that the system could only summon normal ones for him. I didn't expect this wave to summon a Pokemon for myself. As a tech nerd in his previous life, Su Yong is no stranger to big IPs like Pokemon. Whether it is anime or various mono-good games, he is slightly involved in farming. In particular, Chao Meng, a well-known and popular player, is more familiar with him. As a man-made Pokemon, it not only possesses the powerful strength of a beast, but also possesses a super IQ far beyond that of humans. In a certain theatrical version, Chao Meng used his own power to build a fortress with super technical content. Using the technology in this fortress, he not only cloned the rest of the Pokemon in batches, but also created a Super Dream Ball that completely exploded the performance of the Master Ball. Just as Su Yong was surprised, he saw a white light detached from his body and fell to the side. In the blink of an eye, the white light gradually transformed into a human form. When the people around the deck saw this scene, they didn't notice anything at all. After all, they all came this way. Instead, they were very curious to watch and discuss, what kind of person will this new member be? Advertisement. 172 Mewtwo's Mission. Iron Suit. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Oh, it even has a tail. It seems that the newcomer here is a bit interesting. Seeing that a tail slowly grew out of the buttocks that began to transform into a shape of light, Uchiha Madara said with his arms folded in front of his chest. As soon as Uchiha's voice fell, Diablo, who was raising the bar every day, also raised the bar unceremoniously. Hey, an ignorant guy. A long tail makes you look a little better. I've seen many guys who came out of magical creations, but their strength is rubbish. Just as the two were talking, the white light body was also torn apart at a speed visible to the naked eye, and fell to the ground piece by piece. The next second, what caught everyone's eyes was a strange-looking person. I saw that this newcomer had a strange appearance and a thin body. The whole body is hairless, and the skin color of most of the limbs and torso is silvery white, which is very different from ordinary people's skin color. Only the belly and the thick tail at the back of his butt are lavender. On his back, there are two organs similar to blood vessels that protrude from the body and are directly connected to his brain through the back of the neck. Shish. As Chao Meng's eyes opened, a powerful wave of super energy burst out of his body, exerting pressure on the surroundings. It was noon at this time, and it was the time when Ace Kano called 493 tyrants. After feeling the superpower pressure exerted by Chaomeng, he also put his hands on his hips, and looked like he could make Laozi's ox bad, and commented on it. Hey, this newcomer is not tall and has a bad temper. Small. 0. Advertisement. It's noon, but I've driven you to hell. I see if you will call yourself, Dad, to the newcomer at night, hee 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 hee. The tornado floating aside also laughed at it. And Uchiha Madara and Diablo, who also looked like they were watching the fun, were coaxing by the side. Although when he was summoned, that mysterious voice told him everything. However, I saw with my own eyes that everyone was able to play freely without being affected by the superpower fluctuations that were comparable to the coercion of the divine beasts that they released, causing the super dream with an IQ beyond ordinary people to shed unconsciously. A drop of cold sweat. What kind of existence are these guys? Looking at Cheomung's somewhat suspicious look of life, Su Yong also spoke in disgust. Super dream. I know your experience, make you have doubts and hatred for the attitude of human beings. Beg. But it's a new world, and you can think of it as your new life here. So, let go of the hatred in your heart and start all over again. The opening remarks, Chao Meng, welcome to a whole new world. Su Bai smiled when he spoke, and looked at Cheomung with full of kindness in his eyes. With the influence of the system, Cheomung still maintains a very close feeling to Su Yong, so after hearing Su Yang's words, he lowered his head and said, please advise me in the future. Su Yong. Hearing Mewtwo calling his name, Su Yong didn't care much. After all, he didn't really care about that. Advertisement. And Cheomung's many experiences have created its heart that yearns for freedom and equality. So after hearing what Mewtwo said, he kept a smile on his face and began to point to Uchiha Madara and others to introduce Mewtwo. Okay, now I'll introduce you to other partners, they are all like you, from different worlds. 35. This is Uchiha Madara, this is Diablo, this is Tornado. Because the world of Pokemon is a setting of World Shuttle and Time and Space Shuttle, it is not difficult for Mewtwo to accept that these partners, in Su Yang's mouth, come from other worlds. However, his good attitude towards Su Yong stemmed from the influence of the system. And against Uchiha Madara, Diablo, Ace Kano, and several guys with different personalities, he seemed a lot colder. Only when facing the four daughters of Emily, Anna, Rem, and Ram, did his aloofness restrain a lot. Come to think of it, not only because the four women were originally easy to get along with, but also because their four strengths did not surpass Mewtwo, so Mewtwo could perceive their minds through their superpowers and discern the reason for their great kindness. Until Mewtwo and Enolia met, there was a little accident. I don't know if it's because Enolia brought Dragon Slayer magic to Ultimate. When they saw Su Yong introducing Chao Meng to each other, the two seemed to have some serious illness, and they released their own coercive aura to each other at the same time. That look, it's like two beasts, preparing to compete for their own territory. If Su Yong hadn't released Conqueror's Haki, which he had acquired not long ago, at the right time and attracted the attention of the two of them, there might have been a big mess. Of course, although the two people's momentum confrontation was stopped, the two people looked at each other's non-confrontational energy, as long as anyone could see it. To describe it with the words of the people eating melons tornado on the side, it is, go. There is another pair of deadly enemies on the boat. Advertisement. The arrival of Mewtwo has not only added a new look to the Dimensional Pirates, but also brought a new development direction to the Dimensional Pirates. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. In the world of pirates, technology is definitely one of the main themes of the sea. Whether it is Vegapunk, which Marine claims to be 500 years ahead of the world, Germa 66 and Guy Saw of the pirate forces, and the Southern Army commander of the Revolutionary Army, they are all famous for their technology. Not to mention Frankie in the original protagonist group, who was the legendary shipmaker who directly made the Transformers Gundam. The previous Dimensional Pirates had no talent in this area, so Su Yong never paid much attention to this aspect, and he didn't need it. But, now the arrival of Cheomung has also made Su Yong set his sights in this direction. At this time, the Dimensional Pirates have a great reputation, and they are very popular. The members Emily and Anna are just ordinary people, with no ability to protect themselves, and can't stand the storm of any battle. But the emergence of technology can make up for this shortcoming for them. Su Yong couldn't help but start to imagine, if someone took aim at Emily and Anna during the battle, when they really thought they could pick up the persimmons, Emily and Anna put on a suit of steel battle suits. What? Although the style of painting has changed a bit, Su Yong felt that this would be a good choice. Thinking of this, Su Yong immediately talked to Chao Meng about his idea, and directly took Iron Man's iron suit as an example. At the same time, if you say something about Mewtwo, just follow this standard. The people in the boat will do their best to help. Advertisement. 173 Marine Conference. World Conscription. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. New Marine Headquarters. I get it. Marshall Naval Headquarters. Buddha Sengoku hung up the phone bug in his hand with a sad look on his face. But in this solemn atmosphere, the sound of slag, eating senbei was heard. Sengoku didn't even have to lift his head to know that the one who could still make such a movement at this time must be the big-hearted guy from Garp. Garp ate the senbei without anyone else, until he felt Sengoku looking at him, and then stopped eating the senbei in his hand. I saw that he handed the bag containing the senbei to Sengoku, shook it, and said, have a headache. Eat one first to suppress the shock. 5. Idiot. Who wants to eat your senbei? Seeing Garp act like this, Sengoku's face became even more ugly, and he scolded, Lili. However, scold after scold, Sengoku snatched the senbei bag from Garp's hand, took a piece of it, put it in his mouth and chewed it. Ha 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 ha. Sengoku, I knew you were such a virtuous person. Looking at Sengoku's actions, Garp laughed instead. Garp knew in his heart that since the Summit War, his old buddy's situation has become more and more difficult. Just by looking at his white head overnight, you can see how much of a headache the swells at sea have given him since the Summit War. Coupled with the battle of the Summit War, Marine and the world government were hit too hard, especially the death of the 5 elders, which caused internal turmoil and caused a lot of right and wrong. If it weren't for the Kong Air Force, who was the president of the 3 armed forces, he would stand on the platform of Sengoku, support him to continue to serve as the Marine Marshal, and personally sit in the Marine headquarters until the headquarters moved to a new location. Then inside Marine, the situation on the sea will be even more out of control due to factional disputes. The Big Mom pirates have a new action. Suddenly, Sengoku changed the subject. Advertisement. Hearing that he was about to start talking about business, Garp restrained the emotion on his face and sat quietly in his seat, waiting for Sengoku to say the next words. According to the latest news I have received, recently, the Big Mom pirates have fully attacked the territory of the original Whitebeard pirates. To this end, they have slaughtered an island in New World that originally belonged to the Whitebeard pirates. Quote. Sengoku's words shocked everyone. Slaughter Island. And it's a New World island. New World is different from the Paradise in the first half of the Grand Line, where super criminals and big pirates gallop. Rewards for wanted criminals worth over 100 million can be described as innumerable, like carps crossing the river. For a country that is still standing on an island in such a turbulent zone, any country in the first half of the country can be slaughtered by pulling out any national defense force. But it is such an existence. Under the attack of the Big Mom pirates, only the island will be slaughtered and the country will be destroyed. Ah, Lili Lai. It's really scary. It actually slaughtered the island, wiped out the country. Such appalling things made Kizaru, who seemed to not care about everything, turn a little bit more serious. The reason why they are a bit serious is not because of the Big Mom pirates, but because of their cruel and inhumane practices. Boom. At this moment, Akainu, who was covered in bandages, slapped the table. He stood up imposingly, looked at Sengoku with sharp eyes, and shouted to him. Sengoku, I've already said that Marine's top priority is to gather most of the people in New World and put them in the first half of the Grand Line to stabilize the world. That small part of New World is left to those pirate dogs. Quote. Akainu's presumptuous performance naturally fell into the eyes of everyone in the conference room. But the people in the conference room did not speak out and accuse Akainu of being presumptuous. One Akainu is Marine San Admiral, who has the power to almost be side by side with Sengoku. Advertisement. The second is also because Akainu represents the hawk among the 3 Marine factions. These days, the battle for power between Marine doves and eagles is heating up. So many scenes like this have happened at this time, so that everyone has begun to get used to it. Sakazuki. There are countless innocent people living in New World. They need Marine's protection. Sengoku rubbed his sore brows, looked at the imposing Akainu, and said to him. Humph. Absolute justice must have sacrifices. 35. What's more, the sacrifice is the sinful dirty place of the New World. 95. Sengoku, Marine will be engulfed by those vicious pirates sooner or later under your cowardly leadership. Akainu snorted in response. All right, put your quarrel aside for now. 0 for flowers. What we are discussing now is the matter of the Big Mom pirates fighting for the territory of the former Whitebeard pirates. 99. Since Sakazuki has come up with a plan, Marine doesn't care about it, let the pirates bite the dog, then we will use a vote to decide. Seeing that Sengoku and Akainu were together again, Suru, who was Marine's chief of staff, also stood up at this time to coordinate. And take out Akainu's proposal and let the 60 Marine generals present vote to decide whether to implement it. And this is also the rule that Marine makes decisions when encountering major events. I agree with Sakazuki's plan. 35. I agree. 35. I disagree. This is cruel. They are pirates. They should let the pirates bite the dog. I agree. Advertisement. I agree. As the crane's voice fell, everyone in the conference room also expressed their thoughts. The Eagle Marine generals headed by Akainu, as well as a small number of Marines belonging to the neutral faction, all chose to agree. Only the doves composed of Sengoku, Aokiji, and others expressed their opposition. But after some statistics, the votes were 33 to 27. The Hawks are the best after all. Since most of you agree with Sakazuki's proposal. Then about the Big Mom pirates, move to seize the site of the original Whitebeard pirates, we Marine will watch the fire from the other side. Let those pirates. Dog bite dog. After seeing the final votes, Sengoku couldn't help but feel sour. He clearly knew that this decision would mean that countless innocent people in the New World would be implicated. But Marine's ruling rules are like this, and in such important matters, he will not be able to make a statement just because he is Marine Marshal. After Sengoku let out a faint sigh, he glanced at Crane and motioned her to take his place and continue this meeting. As an old friend, Crane is also very aware of Sengoku's tiredness. So she also stood up from her seat and said to everyone in the conference room word by word. Then let's move on to the next item. In view of the current situation where pirates are rampant in the sea, Marine strength is not enough to suppress the sea. To this end, our staff has made a proposal, Marine World Conscription. Advertisement. 174 The meaning of Whitebeard. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the next few days, Su Yong basically tied up with Cheomung, telling him about the many movies and animations he had seen in his previous life. Whether it's steel suits, anti-Hulk armor, Transformers, Gundam, he can think of basically being said over and over again. No wonder Su Yong was so concerned about this. If Mewtwo can really tinker with the steel battle suit, then the safety of Emily and Anna will not only be guaranteed. Even after that, they can rely on the industrial automation assembly line to mass-produce steel troops, and in a short period of time, a group of powerful and loyal subordinates can be produced. What's more, this is a mecha. Romance only for men. Who can say no to one? And in no time at all, a fighter jet can be created with a hail of bullets. Even now, Su Yong came to the world of pirates and obtained powerful strengths such as 493, Sage Body through the system. But remembering the sentence, all fear stems from lack of firepower, and justice is just under the lip. He read in his previous life, Su Yong can still feel a kind of excitement that comes from the bone marrow. Blue blue blue, blue blue blue. Just when Su Yong talked about artificial intelligences such as Jarvis, White Queen, and Ultron, to Cheomung, a phone bug in his arm suddenly rang. Since the number of people on board has increased, Su Yong has equipped the Shira and everyone with telephone bugs. And the phone bug that rang at this time was his personal phone bug. Advertisement. I'm Su Yong. I was curious about who would contact me at this time, and Su Yong still picked it up. It's me, Marco. As Su Yong picked up the phone bug's face instantly changed to a pineapple head, and at the same time, Marco's voice sounded from the phone bug's mouth. From the phone bug's expression, Su Yong could see that Marco's expression was good at this time, so he also teased him. It's brother Marco. I heard from Beasta that you ended up sneaking to his hometown, living in seclusion with him, and becoming a country doctor. What? Is retirement too boring, or is he swindling you again? Exclamation mark. As Su Yong knows the plot, after the Whitebeard pirates disbanded, Marco went to Whitebeard's hometown. The only difference is that the current Whitebeard is still alive because of Su Yong. Because of the unique emotional ties, after seeing that Marco also made the choice of retirement, Whitebeard, who returned to his hometown first, did not, stubbornly, continue to drive him away this time. As a result, Marco, the captain of the first team of the Whitebeard pirates in the famous town of the sea, the ship doctor, the zone devil fruit, the phantom beast type phoenix fruit ability, and the person who sent him the nickname, Phoenix, began to work as a village doctor. Together with Whitebeard, the two lived in seclusion in their hometown and retired. Hearing Su Yang's ridicule, the expression on Marco's face revealed by the phone bug was stunned for a moment. Obviously, he didn't expect that he secretly went to find Father Whitebeard, so many people would know about it. But when he remembered that Su Yong was the most caring person in the Whitebeard pirates, he quickly said with relief. Advertisement. Haha, you don't know what kind of temper dad is. When I was on the boat, I rubbed everyone's wine to drink, just to send his share of the treasure. Now I came back and found that there is no wine here, so I started to make my own. 35. I couldn't even persuade him to drink less, but now I sell it myself. In this world, there are not many people who can make Su Yong care. Whitebeard must be one of them. He was relieved to hear that Whitebeard's retirement had been so colorful from Marco's lips. Afterwards, he stopped entangled in this issue, and instead asked. As long as he is happy, what is Marco doing to me today? It's not a big deal, I'm just here to ask, are you in New World or in the first half? Hearing that Su Yong started to get to the point, Marco stopped chatting and asked him. Just finished replenishing a wave of supplies from Sabayati Island, and it is still in the first half of the position. What happened? Marco, you can speak directly. Although it is not clear why Marco suddenly asked this matter, Su Yong answered directly. That's it, I recently received news that the Big Mom pirates have recently invaded our former territory. And, they slaughtered an island that didn't want to be loyal to Big Mom. 35. Although the Whitebeard pirates have been disbanded now, and you have established your own pirates. But we hope you can take over the territory of the Whitebeard pirates and take care of those old friends. Advertisement. Firstly, this is what Dad meant, and secondly, you will eventually go further in the future, and now is a good time to show your strength. After learning about Su Yang's location, which was not far from New World, he also said to Su Yong word by word. 0. Listening to Marco's words, Su Yong was silent for a moment without speaking. As he said, in order to achieve his goals, he will eventually go further in the future. And after the Summit War battle, his group has long become a thorn in the side of Marine and the world government. Especially when he didn't know what trump cards Yimu still had, although Su Yong was not afraid of their pursuit, no one wanted to be chased like a dog. Therefore, the top priority is to improve the strength of his group as soon as possible. Uchiha Madara, Diablo and the others who have been summoned, the fastest way to improve their strength is to fight. Only by fighting with more powerhouses can they quickly promote the percentage of their own strength to unblock, and even go further in the future. 4.6 And Su Yang's own strength growth is nothing more than finding more summoning fragments, summoning more powerful people from other worlds, and gaining more abilities through the increase of summoners. After so much brainstorming, Su Yang quickly made a decision. Go to New World. Moreover, when they entered the New World this wave, they not only had to chop off the claws that were stretched out by those forces one by one, but also took back the territory that originally belonged to the Whitebeard pirates, and put them under the name of their dimensional pirates. During this period, you must improve your strength through battles, find summon fragments, and make your group stronger. Immediately, Su Yong also took the receiver and said to Marco over there. I know, Marco, those territories that once belonged to the Whitebeard pirates, from today onwards, are covered by me. Advertisement. 175 Ant and Kaido join forces, please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. New World, Ghost Island. Kaido-sama, the Bog Mom pirates have already swallowed the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. 35. If we don't take the opportunity to snatch some more, then the bargain will be taken by Big Mom. Fuzz Fu, who was originally from CP9 and now works in the Kaido Pirates as an intelligence officer, bowed and reported to Kaido, who was sitting on the throne. After hearing Fuzz Fu's report, Kaido snorted coldly after taking a big mouthful of wine from the gourd. Lin, humph. That old woman really has ambitions as big as her appetite. The meaning is self-evident. At this time, seeing Charlotte Lin taking advantage of the opportunity to make a lot of money, how could he not want to mix in the previous one and make a big one? Lord Kaido, I'm not optimistic about such an action. 99. At this time, someone in the hall raised different opinions. Everyone looked at the person who spoke out against it. It was the Jin, who escaped from Su Yong, Uchiha Madara and the others a few days ago. On that day, Jin fled with serious injuries, and because of the failure of the operation, he felt ashamed to come back to see Kaido, so he hid on an island to heal his wounds. But in the end, Kaido ordered Fuzz Fu and Black Maria to find and bring them back. 10. After being brought back, he is still one of the three disasters. But the status is really not as good as before. He basically attended the meetings about Beast's pirates, but most of them were in a state of punching in and going to work, and he rarely spoke or expressed his position. Only this time, he opened his mouth for the first time. Seeing that it was Jin, one of the three disasters, who raised the objection, Kaido glanced at him, put down the wine gourd in his hand, spit out a breath of alcohol, and asked, tell me the reason. Su Yang. Advertisement. After hearing Kaido's words, Jin didn't say much, just slowly said Su Yang's name. As soon as these words came out, Kaido looked at him silently, and did not speak for the first time. Instead, he was a chubby man with two sharp fangs, full of green hair, and a head inlaid with two long yellow horns. Sasaki stepped forward and said that Su Yong was just a squad leader of the Whitebeard pirates, even if they killed Lord Jack and Quinn. In my opinion, it's just that they used some shady methods. Lord Jin, I think you're just because you were scared of being beaten by that guy, that you're here to destroy your own ambition and promote the prestige of others. It is an insult to the title of Three Disasters, for someone like you who has been scared to death. Kaido's Beast's pirates are pretty much all about the strong. After the death of Jack and Quinn, the vacated Three Disasters position did not hang for too long. After a lot of fighting, Sasaki and Black Maria, who are Liukong Luzi, also translated Fei Liapu, Junta, stood out and won the position of the Three Disasters with their powerful strength. Sasaki's personality is arrogant, especially after winning the position of the Three Disasters, it is even more floating. In addition, Jin's previous mission failed and he did not return to the pirates, which made him look down on him, so he had little respect for Jin's attitude. Maria, what do you think? Jin didn't pay any attention to an arrogant guy like Sasaki. Instead, he turned his attention to a tall, sexy woman wearing a sexy kimono and holding a pipe. This person is Black Maria, who was promoted to the new Three Plagues together with Sasaki. Black Maria put down the cigarette holder that was smashed in her mouth, and gently exhaled a curl of smoke before saying, Judging from the intelligence, Su Yong and his Whitebeard 17th Division are really not easy to mess with. If you really face them, whether it's our Beast's pirates or the Big Mom pirates, whoever faces them alone will not be better off. As Black Maria said, advertisement. Except for a guy like Sasaki who has a bad mind and is extremely arrogant, anyone with a discerning eye can see the strength of Su Yong and his 17th Division. What's more, the Beast's pirates have already had 2-3 disaster-level powerhouses killed in their hands. Under the strong strength shown by Su Yong and the 17th Division, even if Kaido is acting, he is a bit out of luck. The words of Black Maria made Kaido's eyes light up. Since it's not enough to face it alone, let's face it together. Kaido made a final decision and announced his decision. In the face of such a large site left by the Whitebeard pirates, he still has to take action to share a wave of dividends. But not the Beast's pirates alone against Su Yong and his 17th Division. After speaking, Kaido took out a phone bug from his pocket and dialed it. He took out a phone bug and called someone. Blublu. Blublu. Soon the phone worm was connected. Kaido, it's amazing that you would contact me. The phone worm was quickly connected, and Charlotte Linlin's characteristic face appeared on the phone worm's face, and she let out a smirk. Yeah, I never forget what I said before, if I see you, I will definitely kill you. Linlin. Kaido, who took the initiative to contact Charlotte Linlin, also took a sip of wine and shouted to the phone bug with great momentum. As Kaido finished speaking, he clearly heard a loud noise from the phone bug. Obviously, this sudden connection also brought a lot of pressure to the Big Mom pirates. Kaido, you bastard, are you here to declare war on me? Advertisement. Soon, Charlotte Linlin's voice sounded again, and the meaning of her words shocked everyone on the Beast's pirates side of the phone. I won't contact you for that kind of boring thing. Now, the Whitebeard guy has disbanded the pirate group. Let's win his territory equally, and if Su Yang's 17th Division comes to disrupt the situation, we will destroy them together. Unite. Linlin. 95. As the captain of the pirates, Kaido's thoughts are very clear, he said to Charlotte Linlin on the other end of the phone. What nonsense are you talking about? Who would be afraid of that kid named Su Yang? 493 inches. Old woman, do you think I'm joking with you? If you underestimate that guy, just wait for him to settle your territory. Then he needs Su Yang to have this ability. Old woman, don't keep thinking about your dessert, just observe the situation outside, you bastard. After arguing for a long time, after being explained by Katakuri on Charlotte Linlin's side, Charlotte Linlin agreed to join forces temporarily. The Beast's pirates join forces with Charlotte Linlin's pirates, and the crew of both pirates go quiet. Even after some brains were brighter and realized what was about to happen, their bodies had already begun to tremble with excitement. Well, Kaido, it should have been decades since our last collaboration. Charlotte Linlin smiled wickedly. HMPH, we just get what we want. Kaido snorted coldly. What? United. United. Instantly, members of the Charlotte Linlin pirates, and members of the Beast's pirates, on both ends of the phone, were shocked to hear that Charlotte Linlin and Kaido had joined forces. This is not your ordinary pirate alliance. This is an alliance between two pirates of the Four Emperors level. The alliance of these two powerful and terrifying forces is enough to bring a landslide and tsunami-like impact to the world. The sea is going to be chaotic. Advertisement. 817WB. 176 The Fishman Island makes waves. Please ask for full order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At the same time that Charlotte Linlin and Kaido used the phone to form an alliance from the sky, on an island in the New World, the Red Hair Pirates, who were usually the same as the Four Emperors level pirates, were having a banquet. Yu Hongfa's disinterested temperament, when friends come from afar, naturally wants to hold a banquet. At this time, he was sipping wine with Mihawk. Boss, the Big Mom pirates are attacking the Whitebeard pirates' territory. 55. Just when the redhead was eating meat and drinking alcohol, Usopp came to him and reported to him. Unexpectedly, the redhead who heard the news of Usopp was still drinking, tons and tons, without any reaction at all. The Whitebeard pirates have disbanded, and their territory in the New World is not small. Now that the old woman has made her move, Kaido will probably follow suit. You are such a person who likes to join in the fun, but you can't help but not join in the fun. Seeing that the redhead did not respond at all, Mihawk put down the wine glass in his hand and asked the redhead. As soon as Mihawk finished speaking, he waved his red hair and said with a grin. Hiccup. Although the Whitebeard pirates disbanded, the members of the Whitebeard pirates are still alive. Of course there are people who should go and inherit those islands. I'm not the son and crew of that Whitebeard guy, what am I doing in the fun? The redhead was burping his wine while saying that with no concern on his face. However, as a close friend and confidant, Mihawk also heard what the red speech meant and said. Advertisement. Shanks, the person you said should be Su Yang. Indeed, not only is he a strong individual, but the crew members of the 17th Division are also very strong. Their state makes me think of the rocks pirate you mentioned to me in the sea. It's no exaggeration to say that I think there must be Su Yang in the position of the Four Emperors, and even, one day they will surpass you, asterisk. After hearing that Mihawk gave Su Yang and the others such evaluation, while approving in his heart, he put on a shocked expression and said to Mihawk with a bitter look, huh. You are so rude to us. Confidence. It's not that I don't have confidence in you. But I saw something in the 17th Division of Su Yang and the others that the Rocks pirate didn't have, unity. Because they have the unity, the emotional bond that the Rocks don't have, they're stronger than the Rocks. 35. Although he knew that his best friend was pretending to be joking, Mihawk still spoke to the redhead. The red hair nodded and agreed with Mihawk's point of view. Then he slowly raised his neck again, looked at the sky above his head, and pondered, if Su Yang can really do that, then it's a good thing for the sea. New World, the Fishman Island. At this time, the singing and dancing in the Dragon Palace will no longer be the same as before. King Neptune frowned as he looked at the thick stack of memorials on the case in front of him, and the minister of the left side was chattering about the recent chaos on the Fishman Island. After the top battle, Whitebeard's move to disband the pirate group undoubtedly set off a huge wave on the sea. Advertisement. As the link between Sabayati Island and the New World, the Fishman Island, the gateway of the New World, naturally became the first victim of the impact under the huge waves. Because of ethnicity, the Fishman Island is not well recognized by the world government, so it cannot obtain the protection provided by Marine. It was because of Neptune's friendship with Whitebeard before that the Fishman Island was blessed by the Whitebeard pirates, allowing those pirates who had just passed the Grand Line and entered the New World to cast their teeth. The Fishman Island, which has lost its protective umbrella at this moment, is no different from a sweet cake in the eyes of the vicious pirates. In the slave market of the underground world, the price of merman is always high. Therefore, these days, there are frequent disappearance cases of mermaids, and there is an endless stream of pirates who come to the Fishman Island to make trouble. If it wasn't for the sea man, Jinbei, who was one of the 7 warlords of the sea, leading the Sun Pirates to return in time, and personally sitting in the Fishman Street, then the chaos on the Fishman Island would not have been known at this time. Your Majesty Neptune, Baron Ball and Pokemus of the Big Mom Pirates have arrived. 35. After the boss Jinbei got the news, he has already taken Aladdin and the others there. Do you see if the Dragon Palace will send someone to meet him? Just when Neptune was having a headache over the status quo of the Fishmen Island, the right minister, who was a seahorse fish man, hurriedly came to report with a few Dragon Palace guards. I see. Hearing the words, Nipton pondered for a while and then opened his mouth to instruct the minister on the right, then let Shaxing and his two younger brothers go to meet him. 35. Yes, His Majesty Neptune. 35. Hearing Neptune's orders, the right minister also led the order to turn around and go to inform Prince Shaoxing. Looking at the back of the right minister leaving, Nipton rubbed the bridge of his red nose like rosacea, turned to look at the left minister and asked, 66 Have the final conditions for the Big Mom pirates been confirmed? Advertisement. Hearing the words, Minister Zuo respectfully came to Neptune a few times before Neptune's case with his crutches. He found a copy from the thick memorial and handed it to Neptune. After taking the memorial, Neptune opened it and took a look. His brows, which had just been relieved, could not help but wrinkle deeper. I saw that on the memorial, it recorded in detail several major conditions set by the Big Mom pirates. 1. The Fishmen Island needs to establish a dessert factory to provide 10 tons of desserts for the Big Mom pirates every month. 2. The Fishmen Island needs to pay the protection fee to the Big Mom pirates every year. 3. Seaman Jinbei needs to lead the Sun Pirates to join Big Mom and become its affiliated pirate group. 4. Jinbei, the captain of the Sun Pirates, and Aladdin, the vice captain, must marry a daughter of Big Mom, a farmer, according to the rules of the Big Mom pirate group. The Fishmen Island needs to complete the above conditions before the Big Mom pirates will provide the corresponding shelter for the Fishmen Island. Such conditions are not unreasonable, not to mention the desserts that require 10 tons a month. That is to say, the sky-high price Bailey has to pay every year will bring a great burden to the economy of the Fishmen Island. Not to mention, the Big Mom pirates also requested that Jinbei bring the Sun Pirates to join them as an affiliated pirates. Minister of the Left, you said, we the Fishmen Island really can only seek the blessing of Big Mom. Is there no other way out? 35. After sighing heavily, Neptune put down the memorial in his hand and asked the Minister Zuo who was standing beside the case. P.S. Opened a new book, the type of summons from the old era. If you are interested, you can go and see the old times. My crew is stronger than a billion. Advertisement. 177 The Fishmen Islands Countermeasures. Huracan. Please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. His Majesty Neptune. In fact, there is another faction that can be considered. The Minister of the Left, the old god, thought for a while and replied to Neptune. Oh, what force? Minister Zuo, please tell me. 35. After hearing the words of Minister Zuo, Neptune was also overjoyed and hurriedly asked. Yesterday, after that Muir came back from the New World, he met the old minister in Fishman Street. During the chat, he revealed a message to the old minister. 35. Su Yong, the captain of Whitebeard's 17th Division, who shined in Summit War, established his own dimensional pirates. As soon as Neptune's voice fell, Minister Zuo also slowly told Neptune a piece of news that he only learned yesterday. What? Su Yong took the original Whitebeard 17th Division to form a new pirate group. That's an amazing bunch of guys. Neptune, who heard the heavy news from Minister Zuo, was also surprised, and he shouted in surprise. After digesting the news, he immediately made a decision. Advertisement. Secretary Zuo, go to Fishman Street to find Muir immediately and see if he can contact Su Yong. If we can obtain the protection of Su Yong, and have the strong background of the 17th Division, we the Fishmen Island will have no worries in the future. Hearing Neptune's words, the left minister was also shocked. He knew clearly in his heart that Duke Dandan and Pokemus, who were the officials of the Big Mom Pirates, came here to finally agree on this matter. This wave is just talk. If the two of them can't talk about this trip, it is estimated that the Big Mom Pirates will send one of the 4 generals to lead people around the Fishmen Island for martial arts. Immediately, the left minister asked Neptune, Your Majesty Neptune, what about Baron Ball and Pokemus? Drag over there first, and when Shaoxing and the others meet people, they will be taken directly to the Dragon Palace for a banquet. Taking advantage of this time, Minister Zuo, quickly get in touch with Su Yong and the others and ask if we can get his blessing. If he doesn't want to, then we'll just have to agree to what Charlotte Linlin offered. If he wants to, for Newgate's sake, the conditions should be more relaxed than Charlotte Linlin's. After all, it is the Mermaid King who has been in power for many years. Neptune set the tone very boldly, and opened his mouth to instruct the Minister of the Left. And when Minister Zuo heard Neptune's thoughtful plan, how could he have any idea of refuting it? He immediately bowed to Neptune and said, Your Majesty Neptune is wise. You. As soon as the words fell, Minister Zuo also hurriedly left the Dragon Palace and hurried towards the Fishmen Street. What Neptune and Minister Zuo, who were trying their best to plan for the Fishmen Island, did not know that the foreign aid they hoped to find was already driving the Shira to the bottom of the sea, on the way to the Fishmen Island. However, they encountered some small trouble at this time, and the ship was blocked by the orange-yellow, huge octopus sea beast, Huracan. Advertisement. Of course, the huge Kalakan is basically a disaster, a nightmare and a synonym for those pirate groups with poor strength. Kalakan only needs to draw a whisker, and he can destroy the direct group with the ship and the people. But it was in front of the dimensional pirates, and that was the ingredients that he brought to his door. Uchiha Madara threw an illusion in the blood wheel eye, and Kalaken had no resistance at all, so he just stopped. Octopus is better if it is made into takoyaki. Rude guy, octopus has to be fried on a hot plate to be delicious. 35. No, Uchiha Madara and Diablo started a new round of disputes over how to cook octopus deliciously. I'll bet 10,000 Baileys and they'll have another hour in this big fight. Watching these two guys rise up again, the tornado floating in the air spoke to Ace Kano, Giorno Chopper, and Enolia who were on the side. 1 hour. I see them at least 3 hours. 10,000 Baileys with you, and I will add another 10,000 Baileys. As soon as the tornado's voice fell, Ace Kano raised 3 fingers and said, I don't think they will last that long this time, it's just food after all. I bet 20,000, 2 hours. 35. Giorno Chopper also did not miss the bet this time. After estimating the stalemate between Uchiha Madara and Diablo in the past few days, he said in a steady manner. 30,000. 5 hours. 35. Enolia crossed her arms in front of her chest and made a bet. Rem was not surprised by the behavior of the pirates in the pirate group. After serving a dessert to Su Yong with her sister Ram, she also said to Su Yong with a curious expression, Sir Su Yong, you guess how long Madara-sama and the others will last this time. Su Yong, who was also watching the crew's bet, took 2 desserts and smiled mysteriously at the 2 sisters after hearing Rem's words. Advertisement. Then he turned his head to the tornado and shouted, I bet less than 10 minutes. 0. Hearing Su Yang's astonishing words, the betting people directly cast their surprised eyes. Lord Su Yong, Lord Madara, they can't last for an hour or 2. Would 10 minutes be too fast? Ram also looked at Su Yong worriedly and reminded him. Su Yong raised his hand and rubbed Ram's pink hair. After scooping out the dessert with a spoon and putting it in his mouth, he also raised his hand and pointed in one direction. Everyone looked in the direction of Su Yang's finger, and they saw Cheomung, who was addicted to scientific research and couldn't extricate himself. At this time, he came out of his research room, and stood at the bow of the boat, watching quietly. Illusion Kalaken. And Emily and Anna, also wearing white coats, holding pen and paper, stood behind Cheomung. Humph. Pretending to be mysterious. Looking at Mewtwo, who was clearly preparing to do something, Enolia, who was most at odds with him, snorted coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw that the super dreamy eyes that were standing straight on the bow also cast a glance at him and said, Backward lizard. Today, let you open your eyes to this stinky lizard, and see what the power of technology is. 55. After Mewtwo finished speaking, he ignored Enolia who instantly turned into a dragon man. He took out a ball-shaped object with a black body and an eye in the middle, and threw it at Karakan without a word. Woo! Under the blessing of Mewtwo's superpower, the spherical object flew straight towards Karakan. The moment it touched Kalaken, the spherical object instantly separated from the middle, and Karakan also turned into a white light with the entire octopus, and the entire object was accommodated by the spherical object. Advertisement. 177 Super Dreams offering. Please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shish, shish, shish. Click. As the entire octopus of Kalaken was taken in, the eyes on the spherical object began to pierce the eyes. It wasn't until the eyes blinked 3 or 4 times that a sound on the buckle card was heard from the spherical object. When the blink of an eye ended, the spherical object floated back from the sea under the control of Mewtwo's superpower. What kind of technology is this? Ninjutsu. Magic. It's amazing to be able to accommodate such a large sea beast. Such a hand of Cheomung directly attracted everyone's attention, and they discussed it one after another. Su Yong, who was different from everyone who didn't understand the situation, also spoke to everyone at this time. It's called a Pokeball, and it's a tool used by Mewtwo to recover Pokemon. And what Mewtwo just used was the Mewtwo Ball that he invented and created himself. 5. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Kraken was recovered by Mewtwo, and it can't be used as an ingredient. The dispute between Madara and Diablo is meaningless. It's not even 5 minutes now. Kill it. Give me money. It's just that the first 2 sentences are still simple popular science for everyone, and the last 2 sentences are a slap in the face, but they have to pay. Tornado, Ace Kano, Giorno Chopper, and Enolia looked at each other for a while. Instead, both Uchiha Madara and Diablo started laughing. Advertisement. He also made fun of a few people, saying that whoever let them bet with themselves will be killed by Su Yong now. This time, I don't know if it caused public anger, or it was due to the fact that the Tornado and Ace Kano were prepared to rely on Su Yang's account, and the Tornado and Ace Kano turned their artillery on Uchiha Madara and Diablo. For a time, the entire Shura was noisy again. On the contrary, after Mewtwo completed the subduing behavior, he informed Emily and Anna of the data that he had just observed, and asked them to talk about these data and record them, next to the 2 sisters. This was originally supposed to be supplied to Su Yong, but he shouldn't be able to use it with his strength. I'll give it to you. 35. Mewtwo raised her hand and handed the Mewtwo ball with Kurakan to the sisters Rem and Ram, and said to the 2 sisters. Lord Su Yong. Seeing that Mewtwo wanted to give the Mewtwo balls to her sisters, Rem and Ram didn't expect it, so they had to look at Su Yong and ask him to give them an idea. Super Dream said to send you should take self-defense. If you are really in danger in the future, let the meat shield of Kalaken be released to protect you. Feeling the eyes of sisters Rem and Ram, Su Yong said to them while eating dessert. But if it's self-defense, it should also be given to Emily and Anna. Their strength is lower than my sister and I, and they need this kind of protection even more. After hearing Su Yang's words, Rem thought hesitantly for a moment, then cast his eyes on Anna and Emily before speaking. Su Yong looked at Rem's kind-hearted appearance of considering others, and smiled and explained his arrangement. You don't have to worry too much about the safety of Anna and Emily. The steel battle suits that Xiao Meng has been researching in the past 2 days have already got some clues. I believe that the steel battle suits will be manufactured soon. Advertisement. At that time, Anna and Emily, who are wearing steel suits, will be turned into mobile turrets. If Karakan is given to them and released in battle, it will affect their mobility and prevent them from letting go. 35. Rem was relieved after hearing Su Yang's arrangement. And I also understand why Emily and Anna recently went to the research room to help Mewtwo with their research whenever they were free. After Rem and her sister Ram looked at each other, the two sisters expressed their gratitude to Mewtwo together. After receiving the thanks from the two sisters, Xiao Meng did not stay on the deck any longer, and took Anna and Emily, who had recorded the data, back to the cabin to continue his scientific research. After the barricades on the road were resolved, the Shira continued to head towards the Fishmen Island under the operation of Su Yang's mind. In the Dragon Palace of the Fishmen Island, the situation at this time was a little anxious. It was a little different from what Neptune had envisioned. Originally, they thought that this time, it was only Baron Dandan and Pokemus that were sent by the Big Mom pirates. So I wondered if I could hold a banquet or something to stabilize the two of them first, so as to prolong my plan a little longer. 0 for flowers. Unexpectedly, this time the Big Mom pirate group was dispatched, and it was not only the two of them who came to the Fishmen Island. Along with them, there is Charlotte Daifuku, the third son of Charlotte Linlin, the Bean Minister. And 2 of the Dim Sum 4 stars, Fry Minister, Charlotte Snag, Cookie Minister, Charlotte Cracker. With such a heavyweight specification, the attitude of the Big Mom pirates here can be very clear. If you can talk, then have a good talk. Advertisement. If they can't reach an agreement, the Fishmen Island will be attacked by a group of chessmen and soldiers led by the 3 brothers. It is also because of these 3 people's valuable identities that Baron Dandan and Pokemus, who are subordinates, naturally intend to show off well. So after they saw Shark Star and Jinbei, they ignored Shark Star's proposal to hold a banquet to entertain them. Instead, they hurried to Dragon Palace and wanted to talk to Neptune as soon as possible. King Neptune, you have thought about it. I tell you clearly, the Whitebeard pirates have been disbanded, and there are not many pirates who can keep you the Fishmen Island. This time is an invitation from our Big Mom pirates. 35. If you refuse, or have any other thoughts, then it's not the uncle, I'm talking to you. Master Dafuku, Master Cracker, Master Snag, they are still waiting for me to return to my life. As soon as Napokmus arrived at the Dragon Palace and saw Neptune, the Mermaid King, he said to Neptune straight to the point. We, the Fishmen Island, can naturally feel the kindness of your pirate group. It's just, the conditions set out before are really too harsh. Even if we have the will, we are actually powerless. Although Neptune didn't think that Pokemus would be so urgent before, and he gave himself such a show almost as soon as they met, he still spoke to him. But before Neptune could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Pokemus. Humph. The conditions are harsh. If you want to get the protection of our Big Mom pirates, you have to feel harsh on such a condition. Then I can only let a few adults come and talk to you. Advertisement. 178 The Fishmen Island is covered by Su Yong. Please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The words of Pokemus made many people on the Mermaid Island side in the Dragon Palace clench their fists. Even the sea man, Jinbei, who was sitting next to him, looked at Pokemus with a hostile look in his eyes. As if feeling the change in the atmosphere in the Dragon Palace, Baron Dandan, who had been sitting on the Daoyutai without speaking, said. King Neptune, it's not that we are going to overwhelm people with power. Now that the Whitebeard pirates have disbanded, the situation in the New World has fallen into chaos again. In the entire New World, the islands that want to be sheltered by our Big Mom pirates are unknown. 2 days ago, there was a country that didn't know the good and the bad, blatantly refused our asylum, and was directly slaughtered by Lord Owen in a fit of anger. Now that you Mermaid Island can have such an opportunity, I still hope that King Neptune will consider it carefully. The words of Baron Dandan, 493 inches, are indeed more euphemistic than that of Pokemus, but the meaning of threat is stronger. In this way, the pressure was completely put on Neptune's side. At this time, Minister Zuo slowly walked in from outside the Dragon Palace, and came to a corner of the Dragon Palace. After feeling the look in Neptune's eyes, Minister Zuo also nodded slightly to Neptune, indicating that the matter was done. The moment he saw Minister Zuo's actions, Neptune only felt that his heart that had been hanging all this time was like a big stone falling to the ground, and finally let it go. Even at this time, he looked at Baron Dandan and Pokemus with a bit of confidence. The small movements between Neptune and the Minister of the Left were not discovered by Baron Eggy and Pokemus. Advertisement. King Neptune, sir, I will ask you one last time. Agree to the conditions of our Big Mom pirates. Or refuse. Seeing that Neptune still doesn't make a statement, the more reckless Pokemus can no longer sit still, and he said to him unceremoniously. I refuse. And the Fishmen Island has been sheltered by the dimensional pirates. If you really do something to the Fishman Island, then I believe the dimensional pirates will go to Charlotte Linlin. 99. After hearing Pokemus' words, Neptune, who had endured for a long time, finally broke out and shouted directly to Pokemus. The Mermaid King Neptune spoke astonishingly. Not only Baron Eggy and Pokemus didn't think of it. Even the Prince Shark Star, Minister Wright, Jinbei and others on the Dragon Palace side were all shocked by Neptune's words and had found a pirate group for the Fishman Island that could shelter them. And not only did he refuse the shelter condition of the four Emperor's pirates for this reason, but he even meant to have a bad relationship with it. What, Nipton, how dare you provoke our Big Mom pirates? Okay, I'll report to the three adults, Daifuku, Cracker, and Snug. My lord, I want to see how the dimensional pirates that you are talking about is looking for trouble with our Big Mom pirates. After hearing Neptune's words, Bachmus didn't know where he got the courage to make him dare to be so brave, but the bottom line also made him very angry and shouted to Neptune. Saying that, he stood up and walked away. King Neptune, you will surely regret this decision. As for that little-known dimensional pirate group, our Big Mom pirate group will definitely destroy it. Just do it yourself. Advertisement. And Baron Eggy also looked at Neptune angrily, and after leaving a few words, he left with Pokemus. Seeing how the two of them left in anger, everyone who didn't know the details of the dimensional pirates looked at Neptune anxiously. Your Majesty Neptune, this is a great injustice. That's the four Emperor's pirates after all. And listening to the meaning of Baron Dandin, they have already done the island slaughter thing before. Now they're going to report to two dim sum generals, and I think they'll be attacking the Fishman Island soon. I would like to lead the Dragon Palace guards to drag them and take advantage of this time. Your Majesty should take some princes and princesses to escape. 99. The right minister stood up first, and after giving Neptune a salute, he spoke with a decided look on his face. Alas, Your Majesty Neptune, the old man will also take the Sun Pirates to block them alone. Hurry up and escape with His Royal Highness Shark Star, Princess Shirahoshi and the others. Before the minister Wright spoke, Jinbei also sighed and took a step forward, speaking to Neptune. Ha 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 ha, who said I was going to run away? I'm just staying at the Fishman Island and not going anywhere. Seeing that everyone was so determined, Neptune was moved, but he also laughed out loud. This time, everyone in the Dragon Palace except the minister Zuo was stunned. What's wrong? Neptune is this evil? Advertisement. Originally good, how can you say crazy to crazy? Cough, cough. The old minister will explain it to you. Minister Zuo, who was standing on the side and couldn't stand it any longer, coughed softly at this time, and stood up to answer questions for everyone. Everyone saw that it was the most wily minister Zuo who had always behaved, and combined with Neptune's somewhat unreasonable performance, they also understood a little. Obviously, that dimensional pirate group, I'm afraid it was Neptune and the left minister who found thighs for the Fishman Island. Later, Minister Zuo learned from Namur that Su Yong took the 17th division of the Whitebeard pirates and established a pirate group called Dimensional Pirates. And just now, he got in touch with Su Yong through Namur, and on the phone, he has sought shelter from the Dimensional Pirates for the Fishman Island. And in the conversation, he had already learned about Su Yong and everyone in the Dimension Pirates who were already on the way to the Fishman Island. It is impossible to say that during the 4.6 period when they had just negotiated with Baron Dandin and Pokemus, Su Yong and the others had already arrived at the Fishman Island. Unlike those who don't know exactly what happened after Summit War. Jinbei was a participant in the war, and he saw with his own eyes the terrifying power of Su Yong, Uchiha Madara of the 17th Division, Diablo and others. Therefore, after listening to Minister Zuo's remarks, Jinbei breathed a sigh of relief and said with a relaxed expression. Huh, that's how it is. I didn't expect the Dimension Pirates to be Su Yong and his 17th Division. Your Majesty Neptune, as long as you survive this time, with the protection of the Dimensional Pirates, the Fishman Island will be worry-free in the future. I'm going to convene the Sun Pirates, we must block the attack of the Big Mom Pirates and drag them to the Dimension Pirates. Advertisement. 180 Cracker. I want Bloodbath the Fishman Island. Please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. On the cake boat, Charlotte Daifuku, the third son of Charlotte Linlin, the Bean Minister, sat on the main seat. The 10 sons Cracker and the 25 sons Snage, who are also known as the 4 stars of dessert, are under him. The three of them looked at Pokemus and Baron Dandin who had just returned from Ryugu angrily. Lord Daifuku, Lord Cracker, Lord Snag, that Mermaid King Neptune is so ignorant. I just told them about the arrival of the 3 adults, but he not only directly rejected our invitation, but also took the initiative to provoke our Big Mom Pirates. They also said that if we move the Fishman Island, what dimensional pirate group is behind them, it will definitely make us go away without eating Kabuto. As soon as he returned to Pokermus on the boat, after seeing the 3 of Charlotte Daifuku, he began to cry, and his words were extremely provocative. What? There is such a thing. That old guy from Neptune dared to provoke his mother and provoke our Big Mom Pirates. Brother Dafu, I'll take my biscuit soldiers to the Dragon Palace, and let that old Neptune kneel down for my mother to atone for it. After hearing what Pokemus said, Daifuku, one of the 4 generals with a long beard, a strong build, and a biscuit-like armor on his right hand, held a shield in his left hand and a sword in his right. The biscuit minister, Charlotte Cracker said. Brother Cracker is right. The Fishman Island is so arrogant and unforgivable. Advertisement. Brother Dafu, let me slaughter the Fishman Island with ordinary chessmen soldiers, and teach this arrogant guy a lesson. At the same time, on the left side of Daifuku, Charlotte Snag, the Prime Minister, with a chubby hairstyle, a long hooked nose, a red and white striped scarf, a chubby body, and a huge samurai sword on his back, also shouting. Seeing that Pokemus brought back such news, Charlotte Daifuku's brows, which were originally Zhong faces, were even more wrinkled. With a relatively calm personality, he naturally heard the meaning of sowing discord and telling lies in Pokemus words. At the same time, he also believed that the time had come. As long as the Mermaid King Neptune was not crazy, he would not have made such an unwise choice to provoke their four emperors' pirates. But there is no wind and no waves, and it is impossible for Pokemus to distort the facts too much in this matter. So in order to verify the truth of the matter, he still waved his hand to persuade his two angry brothers, and asked Baron Eggy who was beside him. Baron Eggy, is what Pokemus said true? Baron Dandan, who had not spoken much before, after hearing Charlotte Daifuku asking himself, he also held up the pink teacup on his head as a salute, and answered at the same time. Good afternoon, Lord Daifuku, Lord Cracker, and Lord Snag. As Pokermus said, the Mermaid King Neptune has indeed rejected our solicitation. And also arrogantly expressed that once we attack Mermaid Island, the Dimension Pirates, the sheltering force they found, will also come to trouble us. Charlotte Daifuku fell silent after hearing Baron Dandan's words. In the entire Big Mom pirate group, Baron Dandan is a guy who has a bigger picture. Even he said so, want to come. That Mermaid King Neptune did indeed do these seemingly unwise things. But the more this happened, the more Charlotte Daifuku became more vigilant. Advertisement. There must be some extremely important reason for a king like Neptune to make such a strange move. Just as Dafu was thinking about it, Cracker and Snag on the side could no longer restrain the anger and impulse in their hearts. For them, Neptune's behavior can be said to be a slap in the face of their Big Mom pirates. Seeing that Dafu did not speak at this time, the two of them also stood up from their seats and advised Dafu. Brother Dafu, what kind of bullshit dimensional pirate group? I have never heard of it. I am here to call Biscuit soldiers, bloodbath the Fishman Island. 99. Yeah, Big Brother Dafuku, the majesty of Mother is not to be challenged. The majesty of our Big Mom pirates is not to be challenged either. The two of you exhorted and shouted at each other, directly interrupting Dafu's train of thought. Looking at the two angry younger brothers in front of him, Dafu considered their own powerful strengths, plus himself, Pokemus, and Dandan Baron. With such combat power, even if the three disasters of Kaido Beast's pirates come together, it is not without the power of a battle. Thinking of this, Charlotte Daifuku also frowned and said to her two younger brothers. Humph. Since Neptune and the others committed suicide and provoked the majesty of their mother, then we will bloodbath the Fishman Island today. Hearing that Daifuku had agreed to the proposal, Cracker and Snag immediately began to gather their men. In less than 3 or 5 minutes, a large number of pawns were already holding weapons and standing in front of the three of Dafuku. The Dragon Palace guards, who had been left at the pier by Xiaoxing and others at all times to observe the movements of the Big Mom pirates, were already on guard. Kill. When Charlotte Dafu gave an order, the imposing chess pieces and pawns rushed towards the Fishman Island. Advertisement. Fire. Meet the enemy. The Minister Right, Boss Jinbei, and the brothers of the Sun Pirates will arrive in a little while. 35. Behind us are the compatriots of the Fishman Island, we must stop them here and kill. Seeing that the Big Mom pirates really attacked the Fishman Island, the general of the Ryugu guards who stayed here also shouted to the surrounding Ryugu guards. Boom, boom, boom. Defend the Fishman Island. Kill. 35. Along with the roaring cannons in the phalanx, the fish people who were the guards of the Dragon Palace also took up their weapons in their hands, roaring in their mouths to meet the chessmen who were charging. Ha 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 ha. Today I'm going to bloodbath the Fishman Island. Cookie soldiers. Charlotte Cracker grinned with a big mouth and swung the giant sword in her right hand, and a puff of dust swept up from behind him. And in this dust and smoke, one after another, huge biscuit soldiers who were tall, dressed in biscuit armor, held a shield and a giant sword, and had the same face as him were created by him using his devil fruit ability. Boom boom, boom boom. The tall biscuit soldiers who looked like giants, led by Charlotte Cracker, stomped on the ground with a bang, striding towards the Ryugu guards. A battle involving the life and death of the Fishman Island broke out. Advertisement. 181 Yuzin of Namur. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The fighting at the dock of the Fishman Island opened the prelude to the war. Even though Fishmen's physical fitness is generally stronger than that of ordinary humans, how can the Dragon Palace guards of the Fishman Island be the opponents of the Big Mom pirates? What's more, at this time, the high-end combat power of the Fishman Island was absent, so that the battlefield resulted in a one-sided massacre. Ha 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 ha. Only blood can be called the majesty of our Big Mom pirates. You weak Murloc scum, give me a quick death. You can only blame you for following an arrogant king. Charlotte Snag slashed through the crowd with a huge katana in her hand, taking the life of 1 or 2 Murlocs with each knife. Hit the water. Just as Charlotte Snug was waving the huge samurai sword in his hand, preparing to split the Dragon Palace guard soldiers in front of him from top to bottom, he heard a loud boom from behind him. Woo. At the same time, an attack broke through the air, smashing straight towards the back of Charlotte Snag's head. Swish. Feeling the attack from the back of her head, Charlotte Snag turned slightly sideways and didn't even turn her head back, she just turned the big knife in her hand, the light of the knife flashed, and then split the attack from it. Just as Charlotte Snugger broke the attack that was coming towards her, a figure rushed towards him from his side at the same time. Murloc Karate Katakana middle dot 3000 Wa Jungchen. Hearing a loud shout, a bluish-white fist smashed straight into Charlotte Snag's face. Boom. Charlotte Snag was too late to defend and was thrown aside by the blow. Advertisement. Such movement naturally attracted the attention of Charlotte Daifuku, who had been watching the battle from behind since the battle started. I saw that the person who attacked Charlotte Snag was a Murloc with garlic hair, full of shark fangs, a short stature, wearing a blue long-sleeved white shirt and jeans, and a number 8 tattooed on the lower right side of his neck. As the third son of Charlotte Linlin, Daifuku, the Dauda, minister of the Big Mom pirate group, naturally recognized the identity of the person at a glance. Former Whitebeard Pirates 8th Division Commander Sharkman Namur. Zuzah, ZZZY, Z's. Seeing that Muir attacked his brother, Charlotte Daifuku naturally would not continue to watch, but instead placed his hands on the belt around his waist and began to rub it as hard as he could. With the friction of Charlotte Daifuku's hands, a cloud of smoke slowly emerged from the golden belt at the position of his belly button, and then at a speed visible to the naked eye, it turned into a dark blue-skinned demon with a strong body and a knife. People. Hey, I am a lamp demon. Quickly die. 35. After the demon's upper body materialized, he only heard a loud shout from its mouth, and he waved the pipe in his hand and flew towards Namur quickly. Magic Hunter. When the devil came to Namur, he heard a loud snort from his mouth again, and the pipe in his hand also slashed the Guandao from top to bottom in a posture of slicing Washin. Armed color. Murloc Karate Katakana middle dot 5000 Wajang fist. Feeling the power of the magic man closing the sword, Namur quickly used armament hockey, wrapped his arms around him, and threw a fist at the blade cut off by the devil man. Boom. A loud crash sounded from where Muir's fist collided with the blade of Majingwan's knife. You dare to attack me. Die for me. Advertisement. One knife flow I. At the moment when Namur and the devil were deadlocked, Charlotte Snag, who had just been sneaked back by Namur, also wielded the huge samurai sword in his hand, which was a horizontal slash to Namur. Humph. Seeing that Snag's sneak attack was about to come, that Muir snorted coldly, instead of holding a stalemate with the devil, his right fist hit the huge force attached to the devil's blade, making himself dodge aside. However, Snug was already quite powerful, and Muir was a sneak attack just now, so he had the upper hand. Now even though he borrowed some of the great power of the devil to escape, Snag's unparalleled speed still caught up with Namur. With a single knife, the T-shirt on Muir's body was cut, and a deep incision was left on his chest and abdomen. The devil is finally broken. Seeing that Muir couldn't dodge and was injured, Charlotte Daifuku also controlled the devil to bully him and pursued Namur. Seeing the color. Boom, boom, boom. With the help of observation hockey, Muir narrowly avoided the demon's continuous slashing. The empty blade smashed into the ground, leaving a mess of large and small on the ground of the Fishman Island pier, as if it had just experienced an earthquake. Yi Dao Lu Yan Wei. 99. Before that Muir could catch his breath, Snag's loud drink was heard in his ears again. The sword light flickered, and Muir added new injuries. Charlotte Daifuku. Charlotte Snugger's continuous attack brought great pressure to Namur. Speaking of which, it's not that Muir's combat power water, but the one who besieged him is the super powerful general of the Big Mom pirate group, and the other is the backbone of the pirate group. Advertisement. Backquote yeah, is this the captain of the Whitebeard pirates? In addition to sneak attacks and face-to-face battles, it's really vulnerable. Seeing that Muir was gasping for breath, Snag sneered while carrying his huge samurai sword. That Muir gasped heavily, glanced at the devil who was staring at him, and he was also angry with himself. Just hold on for a while longer. Soon, Jinbei, the minister of the right and the others will be able to come over. And then, you can wait until Su Yong and his dimensional pirates come here to support. Seeing that Muir was already scarred and could not last long, and Cracker, who was killing in the crowd with the biscuit Manuohao soldiers beside him, Snug only felt that he had only one thing in his heart. All patience was worn away. I've been dragged by this guy long enough, big brother Dafu, let's get rid of other farmers together. Snug shouted to Charlotte Daifuku, who was beside him, and then swung a huge samurai sword towards Namur. Who? The Fishman Island. Not a place where you can be arrogant. 35. Murloc Karate Katakana middle 8000 Wajang fist. Namur gasped for breath, and after shouting at Snug, he also charged at him with his teeth raised and his fists raised. Devil slash. It's just that Muir's punch was blocked by Charlotte Daifuku's control of the demon before it could touch Snag. Seeing his fists being held up and the samurai sword slashed by Snug, Namur sighed in his heart. It seems that I can only hold on to this. Advertisement. 182-dimensional pirates participation, please complete order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Just when Namur was about to close his eyes and wait to die, a crisp sound of steel crashing came from his ear. I saw that Muir's body at this time was being protected by a transparent mask. And the huge samurai blade in Snug's hand was slashing above the light shield, and he couldn't go any further. Boom. At the same time, above the sky, a huge ship broke through the bubbles far outside the Fishman Island, landed head-on from the sky, and landed on the ground of the battlefield. For a time, the dock battlefield was dusty, and the thick smoke engulfed the ship. Only the pirate flags that floated on the ship without wind and automatically showed their true identities. Looking at the familiar scene in front of him and the mysterious mask protecting him, Muir already had the answer in his heart. Su Yong, here we come. Dimensional pirates. Arrived. What, just fell from the sky? I don't know, but it looks like it's a pirate ship. Don't be ridiculous, this is the seabed below 10,000 meters, whose boat can shuttle across the seabed without coating, and then float in the air after breaking out of the sea. Regarding these 493 unexpected guests, both the Dragon Palace guards and the chess pieces were all talking about them. And the Bean Minister, Charlotte Daifuku, who was focusing on rubbing her waist, became extremely ugly after seeing this scene. The intelligence work of the Big Mom Pirates is among the best in the entire New World Pirates. As the third son of Charlotte Linlin and the Minister of Beans, of the Big Mom Pirates, he naturally learned about the entire process of the Summit War. Advertisement. He clearly knew that in this world, in addition to the powerful people who once dominated the sea and those with the ability of Paramesha Devil Fruit Lion Fruit, there are still a group of people who can make their ships fly. That is the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates led by Su Yong. While watching the pirate flag fluttering on the ship, Charlotte Daifuku's mind was also going through this brainstorming. How did these guys come here at this time? Wait, could it be that the dimensional pirates in the mouth of that old guy from Neptune is the former 17th Division? Damn. Damn it. Got slapped by that old thing. They actually hugged Su Yang's thigh. Suddenly, a terrible thought came to his mind, and this guess also made his face with the word, Zhong, look extremely ugly. That Muir, it's been a long time since you've been beaten so badly. At this time, a gentle voice came from the ship in the dust. At the same time, Namur, who was protected by the mask, was wrapped by an invisible force, and pulled him from the battlefield to the direction of the ship. Humph. Don't even think about leaving. One knife flow aye. Seeing that Muir was about to be rescued like this, Charlotte Snag snorted coldly, and at the same time, she continued to chop at Muir. Woo. Just as Charlotte Snuggle shot Namur again, a dark shadow came out from the ship in the fog. Jung. The steel crash sounded again, Charlotte Snag's huge katana being held by a sickle. I heard that in the Big Mom Pirates, there are 4 guys who are called Desert Stars and they are all good. Advertisement. Boy, why do I feel that you, a General Star, are somewhat unworthy of the name? 35. It was Uchiha Madara who stopped Charlotte Snug. He looked down at Snug and spoke to him with disdain. Huh, Uchiha Madara, who am I here? I didn't expect it to be the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Cookie soldiers, shred them for me. Watching Uchiha Madara appear and block Snug's attack, Charlotte Cracker, who was on the side, laughed and controlled the huge cookie soldier, rushing towards Uchiha Madara. As soon as Charlotte Cracker finished speaking, another shadow jumped up and down from the Shira. When the dust cleared, Diablo in a black dress stood in the way of Charlotte Cracker and the giant biscuit soldiers. I heard that you are also one of the 4 generals of the Big Mom Pirates. Now that Madara has chosen a general, how can I be left behind? Sorry, this road is blocked. The successive appearances of the strong men of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Regiment increased the pressure on Charlotte Daifuku. He knew in his heart that he could not drag on any longer at this time. He had to resolve the battle quickly, and then hurry up and retreat. Otherwise, their Big Mom Pirates may suffer heavy losses in today's battle. Wipe. Thinking in his mind, Charlotte Daifuku also accelerated the rubbing speed of her hands on her waist. Huh, the devil is finally broken. The Blue Lantern who was being controlled also shouted loudly at this time, and attacked Uchiha Madara who had already started fighting with Charlotte Snag. Advertisement. Whoosh. On the Shira, another black shadow flew out. Only this time it's not a human being, but Ace Kano's axe Rita. Charlotte Daifuku, who had already read some of the information on the 17th Division, knew in her heart that Ace Kano's divine axe, Rita, was invincible. So he also controlled the blue lamp demon and turned it into a puff of blue smoke, making the divine axe Rita pass through. Boom. The divine axe Rita passed through the smoke and fell to the ground, smashing the ground through a crack of nearly 10 meters. By the time the Blue Lantern demon controlled by Charlotte Daifuku reunited, Ace Kano had already arrived on the battlefield. It's not good to take advantage of the opportunity. He picked up the divine axe Rita that had been chopped on the ground, put it on his shoulders, and said with a smile. Lord Daifuku, Lord Cracker, Lord Snag. Seeing the familiar 17th Division powerhouses entangle the 3 of Charlotte Daifuku, Pokermus and Baron Dandan, who were originally leading the chessmen to fight, shouted unconsciously. Unexpectedly, the 2 of them shouted, but also exposed the 2 cadres who were incompatible with the chessmen in terms of clothing, shape, species and chess pieces. I saw Tornado at this time with his hands on his hips, looking at Pokemus and Baron Dan angrily, and said. Humph. Madara and the 3 guys have robbed all the good players, I'm mad at me. Since the 2 of you are the only ones who seem to be able to fight, then I'm going to fight the 2 of you today and take this group out. After speaking, regardless of what Baron Pokemus thinks, he will start a fight if he disagrees. Advertisement. 183 The controversy between Mewtwo and Akunorlia. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara, Diablo, and Ace Kano of the Dimension Pirates met Snug, Cracker, and Daifuku successively. Tornado also shot, hanging and beating Pokermus, Baron Dandan, and a group of pawn soldiers. And the seriously injured Muir has also drifted to the Shira. Floating over the guardrail of the Shira's eaves, Namur saw Su Yong and Remlam. Cough. Cough. Su Yong, long time no see. This time, let you see a joke. Seeing Su Yang's gentle smile as before, Muir coughed a few mouthfuls of blood before greeting him even weaker. I don't see much of a joke, those guys are the better ones out of Charlotte Linland's sons. Advertisement. It's not bad to be able to persist until now. I promise you, just wait a little longer, and the fate of these guys will be much worse than you. 35. The smile on Su Yang's face remained unchanged, and after a few words of relief to Namur, he also assured him. Namur, who has experienced the Summit War, has seen with his own eyes how pervert the strength of the guys who have just been spoiled by Su Yong, so he has no doubts about Su Yang's words. While the two of them were talking, the mask that had just shrouded Namur slowly dissipated like ice and snow melting. Feeling the peculiarity of the power fluctuation that just helped him and saved his life, Namur quickly used the perception of observation hockey in his body to find the source of releasing this wave. It was an unfamiliar and weird face. That Muir hadn't seen it during Summit War. But just from the fact that the energy mask can block the attack of Charlotte Snag, the for Desert Star, so that he can't slash into the slightest, it can be seen that the guy who can perform such a move will definitely not be weak. Advertisement. This, how long has it been? This guy, Su Yong, actually rode such a formidable powerhouse on his boat again. After that Muir glanced at Su Yong in shock, he still turned his head to that, at this time holding a savior, with a spoon almost the size of his body. 0. Just now. Thank you for getting along, brother, my Muir owes you a life. Cough, cough, cough. That Muir looked at Mewtwo's alien-like face, with a grateful expression and sincere thanks to him. 0 for flowers. Just after saying a few words, Muir coughed a few more times. When coughing, countless tiny blood droplets are also coughed out by the coughing sound. Advertisement. Mewtwo was as cold as ever, and for Muir's thanks, he just nodded slightly and didn't speak. On the other hand, Akunorlia, who was unhappy because he started a little late and was robbed by Uchiha Madara, Diablo, and Ace Kano for the chance to meet people, saw this. Behind the scenes, he pouted in disdain. He crossed his hands on his chest and said to Chow Meng, who was not dealing with him, "Cut. What the hell is that stinky cat? I don't know if these two people had some unknown deep hatred in their previous lives." Mewtwo, who has always shown people with aloofness, lost her sensible and calm state after hearing Akurolia's voice, and cast a glance at him with her cat-like slender and sharp eyes. Mewtwo threw a, "You can do it," look at Anolia, and replied. At least I saved people. And some stupid and ignorant lizard can't even grab the chance to shoot. Hee hee. A. Advertisement. 184 The Whitebeard Pirates have disbanded. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As Mewtwo ended with that soft laugh, Anolia's anger ignited directly. He, who was originally very angry, was provoked by his mortal enemy, and he could no longer restrain his anger, and he instantly turned into a half-human, half-dragon, and shouted at Cheomung, "Stinky cat, I think you are not happy for a long time. Now, believe it or not, a dragon's breath will blow you into scum. Oh, I'm afraid you won't succeed." 99. 493. Chow Meng chuckled and looked at Akunoria with sharp eyes, and at the same time a powerful wave of thought power emanated from the spoon in his hand. Okay. There are still friends on the boat, and now is not the time for you to compete. Seeing that the two went together again, Su Yong also shook his head with a wry smile, and said to Mewtwo and Anolia. "Humph. You stinky cat, wait for me." Advertisement. Cut. I'm waiting, stupid lizard. 35. With the Captain Su Yong speaking out and making peace, Anolia and Mewtwo also ended their confrontation, and went their separate ways after exchanging harsh words. Su Yong, the crew relationship on your ship is really good, just like when we were on Daddy's ship. Cough. Cough. The Muir on the side looked at the tit-for-tat appearance of Anolia and Mewtwo, and a smile appeared on his face, recalling the beauty of the Whitebeard pirates in his mind. Just at the end of the speech, that Muir's face finally became a bit lonely. The Whitebeard pirates, finally, disbanded. Seeing that Muir's face became lonely, and he was coughing up blood continuously, Su Yong also said to him. That Muir, Whitebeard just retired. Advertisement. And I spoke to Marco just before I came, and he told me that old Whitebeard had his own pub. When he was on the boat, he rubbed wine with us all kinds of times, and now it's even worse, and he directly produces and sells it himself. The days are coming. Su Yong patted Muir on the shoulder and told him what he knew. After many days, I heard the news about Father Whitebeard again, and it grabbed Muir's heart at once. Especially after learning that Marco not only found Father Whitebeard, but also stayed by his side. This made Muir relieved a lot, and his complexion eased a lot. Looking at your condition, I'm afraid you just injured your lung lobe. I'll let Giorno Chopper take a look at it for you and get a new one. Seeing that Muir looked better, Su Yong looked at Giorno Chopper again after saying something to him. Advertisement. Then leave it to me. 35. Giorno Chopper nodded at Su Yong, and also walked towards that Muir to prepare for his treatment. At this moment, a rough voice came from a distance. Ha 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 ha, brother Su Yong, I didn't expect you to come so soon. Hearing this movement, Everyone on the Shira boat looked in the direction of the 4.6 sound, as if Jinbei with a big blue head was stepping on his clogs. At the same time, there are not only the Murloc pirates of the Sun Pirates who follow him. Even the Mermaid King, Neptune, was riding his blue whale at this time, and came with the right minister and the three brothers Shaoxing with a large number of Dragon Palace guards. Advertisement. 185. The 17th Division has no one to mess with. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The situation that Jinbei and Neptune brought people over was also seen by Charlotte Daifuku in the battle. However, at this time, he was already entangled by Ace Kano. Especially when he found out that this guy Ace Kano didn't know what kind of medicine he was taking. As the battle time progressed, this guy's strength not only did not lose the slightest, but even improved. That feeling, as if Ace Kano was getting stronger every minute and every second. Sad guy, who gave you the courage to challenge the Dimension Pirates and challenge the man who stands at the top of all races? Ace Kano, who once again waved his arm to open the knife in the hands of the Lantern Demon, held the divine axe Rita, and said to Charlotte Daifuku indifferently. Dimensional pirates. Look at 10 years ago, that old Neptune really hugged Su Yang's thighs. At this time, Charlotte Daifuku, who was trying her best to rub her belt, frowned on her Zhong face, and murmured in a deep voice. Advertisement. He was even more anxious in his heart, and couldn't help but glanced around. At this glance, I found that Charlotte Snag, who was closest to me, was being beaten by Uchiha Madara at this time. Humph. You were still distracted when you were fighting against me, how much do you look down on me? 35. I am the sun. Charlotte Daifuku's small actions were caught in the eyes of Ace Kano, but Ace Kano's temper suddenly exploded. For the arrogant him, under the oppression of her own powerful strength, what Charlotte Daifuku needs to do is either to concentrate on her every attack, or just be at a loss and panic and wait to die. But now he is still able to separate out a scent of God to pay attention to other battlefields. Such a reaction shows that the strength that he has shown cannot bring enough pressure to him. This is simply an insult to one's own strength. Advertisement. With Ace Kano's gloomy face, he stretched out his right hand, and a fireball like the sun appeared out of thin air. In the next second, the fireball instantly expanded, becoming an incomparably huge fireball. The relentless sun. With Ace Kano's loud drink, he threw it directly at Charlotte Daifuku and his lantern. Watching this terrifying sun flying in, Charlotte Daifuku's pressure instantly increased, and she no longer had time to take care of other things. Feeling the speed of the fireball, Charlotte Dafu knew that she could never dodge it, so she could only control the lantern man with all her strength to see if he could split it. Armed color katakana middle dot magic severe break. Armament Haki, who was glowing with black iron, was instantly wrapped around the blade of the lantern man's knife, and with his loud shout, he looked towards the galloping fireball. Boom. When Mo and the others closed the blade, the moment they were loaded with the giant great fireball, a huge explosion sounded. Advertisement. The surrounding temperature also rose rapidly at this moment. Even not far away, some wooden things have already started to spontaneously combust. Originally, Charlotte Daifuku thought that her all-out 493 blow would definitely cut the fireball into pieces. But what he never expected was that the impact of this wave was so powerful that even if there was a lantern man standing in front of him, he could not resist it, and he let him fly out like a cannonball. It didn't stop until Charlotte Daifuku's back dragged on the ground for a while. It's just the power of this blow that directly caused Charlotte Daifuku to suffer internal injuries, and the external body is also tattered and full of wounds. The lantern man who had just been summoned was even smashed to pieces. If it weren't for its special properties, it would have completely turned into a fog at this time. Sure enough, the 17th Division has no one to mess with. Advertisement. 186 Surrender to me who is as powerful as the sun. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the big pit in the dust and smoke, the embarrassed Charlotte Daifuku slowly got up, and could not help but let out a sigh. But before he finished speaking, he saw a scene that he will never forget. I saw Ace Kano carrying the divine axe Rita in one hand and a new fireball in the other. Under the name of the blazing fireball, Ace Kano's figure is like a ghost. Oh pathetic weakling. Begin to regret it. I regret that I challenged the Dimension Pirates, and I regret that I challenged the man who stood at the top of all races. 9. Advertisement. Ace Kano looked down at Charlotte Daifuku, and said slowly in an arrogant tone. After he finished speaking, I saw him wave his hand slightly. The sun without mercy. Boom. The fireball in Ace Kano's hand floated out and threw it in the direction of Charlotte Daifuku. Soon, the fireball was like a bomb, and the moment it landed, it instantly caused a violent explosion. Everything around was engulfed by the flaming flames, causing the earth to shake. There was not much time, the flames gradually dissipated, and the big hole that Charlotte Daifuku had smashed had completely turned into a dry man-made lake at this time. And Charlotte Dafu was like a dead dog, completely collapsed and lying on the edge of the man-made lake. Advertisement. Apparently, he backed away from this strike by Ace Kano. The moment Ace Kano threw the fireball in his hand, he chose to escape. Not only did he use all the armament Haki he could mobilize in his body, but he wrapped his entire body. He even resorted to the Marine 6 styles, shaved, which he taught to some younger brothers by himself, but he never liked very much. In this way, he still did not completely escape the blow of Ace Kano, and was still affected by the aftermath of the explosion. Fortunately, under his various reactions, he escaped from death, and was not directly killed by this fireball of Ace Kano. Seeing that Charlotte Daifuku escaped, and cast a fearful and resentful expression to herself, Ace Kano couldn't help laughing, and continued to raise his high head, and said arrogantly to Charlotte Daifuku. 66 Ha 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 ha. Idiot weakling. I am so satisfied with your expression now. 9. Advertisement. Yes. In the face of me who is as strong as the sun, I should run away. Fear. Given the experience that a certain guy gave me, capable people like you cannot be killed by some conventional means. As your reward for being alive, let you see my newly learned power. Armed color. Good mono. As soon as Ace Kano's voice fell, armament hockey appeared on his arm and wrapped around towards the divine axe Rita. In the blink of an eye, the divine axe Rita, which was still shining with a golden luster, turned into a black iron color exuding a faint luster. After that, Ace Kano flicked his arm, and the divine axe Rita wrapped by armament hockey flew towards Charlotte Daifuku's neck. I beg to subscribe. Advertisement. 187 Is the Star Wars so powerful? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Meanwhile, on the other side. Giant black sword katakana middle dot 1 sword katakana middle dot II. Charlotte Snag looked at the man with the spiky head and long hair in front of him, dressed in a black tight combat uniform, with a red layered armor on the outside, and while a drop of sweat dripped from his cheeks, he also charged up with a knife. The black iron-colored arm color has long wrapped the huge samurai sword in his hand, making it a black sword. Oh, have you used your armament? Then I'll try too. Looking at the black knife of 493 in Charlotte Snag's hand, Uchiha Madara looked at the 2 chains in his hand, and after he murmured a word, he also used armament hockey, which he had recently mastered. Advertisement. Before Su Yong introduced them to the knowledge of 3 kinds of hockey: armed color, seeing and hearing color, and conquerors. Let him know that armament hockey can bless and protect the weapons in the hand. It is said that only magic can defeat magic. In order not to be entangled in the fist or weapon possessed by armament hockey in future battles, and damage their own ninja gear. At the same time, when encountering the Logia demon fruit power, there will be no situations where you can't hit people or immune to death. So since the last time Su Yong taught everyone on board the 2-color hockey's physiognomy, he started to try it. Uchiha Madara originally belonged to the first few people who were summoned to this world by Su Yong. Having experienced more battles and unlocked his strength one step faster than others, he was the first to become master armament hockey and observation hockey. Although Diablo and Ace Kano followed closely and mastered the 2-color hockey one by one, the record of being the first master to practice made him happy. Advertisement. At least in this one, he can beat that fellow Diablo. As Uchiha Madara drank lightly, the black iron armament hockey bag wrapped the scythe in his hand. At this time, Charlotte Snag, who was holding a huge samurai sword, had already bullied herself up and slashed at Uchiha Madara with the sword in her hand. When there was a loud crash of steel, and Uchiha Madara's black scythe, also wrapped around armament hockey, blocked Charlotte Snag's knife. Humph. Seeing that her sword was blocked, Charlotte Snag snorted coldly, changed her hand, and swung the huge samurai sword as if it had no weight, slashing towards Uchiha Madara like catkins. When. 95. Advertisement. There was a continuous steel crash, and Charlotte Snag's attack was easily parried by Uchiha Madara. Your physical skills are far worse than that guy. 35. Or, even that bastard Diablo can hang you. Is your big mom pirate team's strength really so watery? 35. While blocking Charlotte Snager's attack, Uchiha Madara also looked at him contemptuously, and asked Charlotte Snagger in a disdainful and suspicious tone. As soon as this statement came out, it naturally made Charlotte Snugger angry. Damn it. You are not allowed to insult our big mom pirates. You are not allowed to insult mom. Huge underworld, one blade style, blue rain. Advertisement. 188 Susano reappearance please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Charlotte Snag shouted, waving the huge samurai sword in her hand, and slashing out one after another as if she didn't want money. The blue slash came from the sky like rain. And Uchiha Madara took out the fan pin to his waist with the same expression, and waved at the flying slash. Uchiha bounce. As Uchiha Madara's voice fell, Charlotte Snag's slashes spun around in the air. Instead, they were swept up by an invisible force, and they returned in the opposite direction. As Uchiha Madara, who has rich practical experience, he did not waste the opportunity to beat the underdog at this time. Give you more food. 99. Fire style extinguishing fire. After listening to a loud drink in his mouth, the surging flame poured out from his mouth in the direction of Charlotte Snag. Advertisement. The flame temperature is extremely high, and the area is very large. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly, and the heat wave washed over everything around. Charlotte Snag was depressed from the moment her slash was bounced back by Uchiha Madara in that weird way. Now there is another flame like a sea of fire, hitting him. Makes Charlotte Snug even more irritated. Giant gangster katakana middle dot Yichiru katakana middle dot Dragon Kun. With his loud shout, he saw his feet stomping quickly, and the whole person, together with the huge samurai sword, spun rapidly like a spinning top. In an instant, the fast-spinning Charlotte Snugger turned into a tornado herself, rushing towards the slashes and flames that had been bounced back. Ding, ding, Ding. When. The blue slashes like raindrops were quickly swallowed up by the tornado, and the sea of fire created by Uchiha Madara was actually absorbed and wrapped by the tornado created by Charlotte Snag. Advertisement. For a time, the tornado had turned into a terrifying existence that contained sword slashes and flames. Finally interesting. Since that's the case, then I have to come up with some unique skills to repay you. Looking at the tornado created by Charlotte Snag and rushing towards him, Uchiha Madara said with a twitch. As soon as his voice fell, the Guyu at the pupil of Uchiha Madara's eyes began to rotate at a high speed, directly advancing from the state of Sharingan to the eternal Mangekyo. Then a blue light instantly shone from the surface of his body, and when his whole body was wrapped in blue light, a blue giant rose from the ground. 0 for flowers. Uchiha Madara opened Susanoo, and the body also entered Susanoo's forehead. I saw his hands folded in front of his chest, condescending, looking down at the fire tornado that swept in front of him like a sword blade storm. Then, Uchiha Madara manipulated Susanoo, causing a blue light to emerge from his hands. The blue light quickly solidified into a bow and arrow. Advertisement. Susanoo reached out and pulled. A huge blue arrow shot out instantly and flew towards the spinning tornado. Boom. The moment the blue arrow and the flame tornado met, a huge roar sounded. It was like a bomb exploded, causing a violent explosion in an instant. Boo. Ha. Ha. Seemingly dissatisfied with the result of his attack, Susanoo, controlled by Uchiha Madara, drew his bow again to shoot arrows, and let the huge blue arrows shoot out one after another, bombarding the center of the explosion. The arrow flies off the string, bringing surprises to Charlotte Snugger at the center of the explosion. Boom. 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 Suddenly, the sound of the explosion resounded through the battlefield like firecrackers. Advertisement. 189 Listen to Su Yang. I can kill you. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Listen to Su Yang. I can kill you. Looking at the huge Charlotte cracker in front of him, Diablo smiled and pushed his glasses, took a very gentleman's posture, and said the most hated words in a calm manner. Even if you are a guy from the 17th Division, you are still very early if you want my life. Cookie Soldier, kill him for me. Charlotte Cracker looked at the man with black short hair and short black hair, with orange pupils like the sunset, wearing a black suit with a layer of purple and white shirt, and a bat-like black winged man behind her, and couldn't help but shout. Following the point of his sword, those biscuit soldiers who were as huge as him also charged towards Diablo with their swords and shields in their hands. Tack, 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 shish, 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 shish. 35. The biscuit soldiers swung their swords together in perfect coordination, waving the swords in their hands like a dense net, gathering towards Diablo. Diablo, on the other hand, was like a dancing dark elf, elegantly and dexterously avoiding the attacks of the biscuit soldiers. Advertisement. Tisk. Observation hockey is surprisingly easy to use. But, fool me with this kind of stuff and think I'm that Madara guy. Diablo murmured softly while dodging the attack of the biscuit soldiers. Armed color. Saying that, Diablo also used armament hockey, wrapping his hands around him, giving him a pair of fists glowing with a black iron luster. I saw his foot move, and his figure instantly disappeared on the spot. When Diablo reappeared, he had already appeared in front of one of the biscuit soldiers. I saw him waving his right fist wrapped around armament hockey and punching it away. Boom. Crack, crack, crack. Diablo smashed his body with a punch, directly smashing the incomparably hard armor on the chest of the biscuit soldier. Advertisement. Shoo. It's just that the biscuit soldier is not a living creature, but a puppet made of a biscuit, so Diablo's blow was not effective, and he still slashed towards Diablo with one knife. Diablo has a lot of fighting experience, so naturally he won't stand there and let the cookie soldier slash. I saw that his feet moved again, and the figure disappeared and appeared again. 0. This time, he appeared above the biscuit soldier's head. I saw him punch again and again, directly hitting the top of the biscuit soldier's head. Boom. Crack, crack, crack. Diablo's blow directly shattered the biscuit soldier from his head to his body. Boom, 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 boom. Advertisement. Crack, crack, crack. Then Diablo raised his fists and dropped his fists, from the end of the biscuit soldiers to the other end of the biscuit soldiers. He kept blasting all the biscuit soldiers in front of him into scum before he stopped. Ha 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 ha. Do you think this will work? Resurrection. Cookie soldiers. 4.6. Charlotte Cracker didn't feel distressed at all for Diablo's punching like a child and destroying his team of biscuit soldiers. Instead, she said to Diablo with a laugh. Clap clap, clap clap. I saw him raise his hands again and start clapping. Along with the applause, a plume of smoke rose from behind him again. Advertisement. 190 You are getting an axe at the class door. Please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The biscuit crumbs that had been smashed to the ground by Diablo quickly disintegrated at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then they regrouped into one tall, identical-looking biscuit soldier after another. Oh, can this thing still be summoned repeatedly? Like that multiple shadow clone technique from the Madara guy. If that's the case, then I'll have to kill you all at once. Watching Charlotte Cracker make another wave of summons, Diablo smiled and stretched out his hand, directly summoning a group of flames, and then tossing it in the direction of the biscuit soldier. Boom. Advertisement. The monstrous sea of fire appeared instantly, and a wave turned directly, rolling those biscuit soldiers in. Under the burning of this hot and extremely high-temperature flame, the biscuit soldiers began to become scorched and black at a speed visible to the naked eye. In a short time, the biscuit soldiers were completely buried in the scourge, turned into flying ashes, and disappeared into the flames. Looking at the biscuit soldier he had just summoned, he couldn't even resist Diablo's flames, and was directly burned to ashes and dissipated in the wind. Charlotte Cracker no longer continued to summon, but instead activated the armament hockey in her body and wrapped it around the blade in her hand. Then he saw the blade in his hand, and instantly began to spin at a high speed. Roll pretzels. As Charlotte Cracker snorted loudly, he stabbed his sword like a drill at Diablo's heart. Hey, the little trick of carving insects, how dare you make an axe? Diablo saw through Charlotte Cracker's sneak attack at a glance, so at the moment when he approached him like a drill, while sneering, he also waved his dark and iron-colored fists to meet him. Bumped together. Advertisement. Boom. The huge force collided, creating a huge storm around the two of them. For a time, the two of them were smuggled with sand and dust. You can withstand the attack of one arm. If you have a few more, I don't think you can withstand it. 99. Feeling the terrifying power coming from her own blade, Charlotte Cracker's square old face showed a wicked smile. At the same time, as soon as his voice fell, he saw his left hand pat each of his left and right shoulders a few times. Boom, 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 boom. As Charlotte Crete slapped her arms were born out of nothing. Moreover, each of them is holding a weapon that is extremely sharp, and the blade is still blazing with cold light. Advertisement. It looks like a spelling shishi version of the 8-armed Neja. Hey. The attack is coming. 35 feet. Charlotte 493 Cracker said, the octopus-like arm also moved at the right time, and began to attack Diablo continuously. For such a dense attack, Diablo stretched out his other arm, waving it left and right, opening the king and 8 punches that Charlotte Cracker attacked in turn. Ding, 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 when. Like a piece of music, the continuous metal collision sound is intertwined. Seeing her delay in breaking Diablo's defense, Charlotte Cracker couldn't help but quicken her hand. At this moment, there were several loud roars in their ears. Advertisement. 191 The real body is exposed. Please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Because those huge roars did not come from the same direction, Diablo also looked slightly sideways. Well, Uchiha Madara on the left battlefield has turned into Susanoo and is drawing a bow and shooting arrows. On the battlefield on the right, Ace Kano was carrying the divine axe Rita, holding a fireball in one hand and playing bombing there. Even the tornado that went to deal with the miscellaneous soldiers was manipulating his own psychic power to hang and beat the Duke of Egmus. It was only then that Diablo reacted, as if, the only one who paddled here. The appearance of this idea made Diablo unable to remain calm. He has to settle the fight ASAP. Otherwise, the guy Uchiha Madara will definitely get ridiculed later. Practice 2-color hockey competition before that, which has given that guy a step ahead. If there is anything or nothing, just dangle in front of you, and talk about yourself being the first to succeed in practice. Advertisement. Even if I don't want to make such comparisons with such a naive guy. But after a long time, there is always such a number one person talking about this thing, it sounds annoying, doesn't it? Diablo's expression changed. He is serious. Just listen to him say to Charlotte Cracker, I've been playing with you long enough, it's over, asterisk. Before Charlotte Cracker could react, Diablo disappeared from his sight. Swish. As if teleporting, Diablo appeared directly in front of Charlotte Cracker. At this time, his right hand is no longer the fist before, but the claws wrapped in the dark armament hockey. Advertisement. The sharp claws were gleaming and extremely sharp, and they were swaying with great power, and they slammed heavily towards Charlotte Cracker's chest. Hey, boom. With the sonic boom of the sharp claws rubbing against the air, Diablo's sharp claws struck Charlotte Cracker's chest with lightning speed. The thick, steel-like biscuit armor, under his sharp claws, was smashed into slag-like light and thin paper without defense. Crack, crack, crack. The armor and body made of biscuit shells also shattered instantly. It's just the fragmentation of this body, and there is not a trace of blood. Instead, it exposed the body that Charlotte Cracker has been hiding in that huge shell. Hey, a little trick of carving insects. Advertisement. Since the real body is exposed, then die with your armor. Diablo wasn't at all surprised by Charlotte Cracker's disguise. In addition to being the Demon King, he is well informed, and the observation hockey given to him by Professor Suyong also made him understand the real situation of the battle against Vice Admiral Charlotte Cracker. As soon as his voice fell, his body moved again, and a pair of sharp claws slashed towards Charlotte Cracker's real body, Monohao again. My real body is rarely exposed. Damn you, how dare you reveal the secret that I have been hiding for so many years. Charlotte Cracker also looked furious after her real body was revealed. After seeing Diablo rushing towards him without saying a word, the anger on his face became even stronger. He pointed the tip of his saber at Diablo, and shouted again. Swing pretzel. Nong. Advertisement. 192 Cracker. Die. Please order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As soon as Charlotte Cracker's voice fell, the sword in his hand spun at high speed again. At the same time, sword energy lingered from the high-speed rotating sword. Charlotte Cracker greeted Diablo, who was also rushing towards her, with a grim smile on her face. In the blink of an eye, the high-speed rotating blade in his hand and the shock wave generated by the sword energy met Diablo's sharp claws. Shish, shish, shish. Boom. At the moment when the two met, a violent explosion sounded, the ground collapsed, and a powerful airflow swept through everything around 493. Soon, the noise dissipated, the dust fell, and the position where the two were fighting revealed their true bodies. Diablo stood still elegantly on the spot. Advertisement. And Charlotte Cracker. His sword is broken. At the position of the heart of the chest, there is also a fist-sized through hole, and blood is flowing out of it. With his weak breathing, the mouth will also spit out the air with blood. But soon, his weak breathing stopped abruptly. Putting tilde operator tilde operator tilde operator. With a thud, Charlotte Cracker's body slowly, fell, unable to stand up again. Hey, it looks like I won this time. 35. Madara. Watching Charlotte Cracker fall to the ground dead, Diablo chuckled. After he finished speaking, the wings on his back suddenly flapped, and the whole person took off quickly, flying towards the Susanoo who just shot the last arrow not far away. Advertisement. Obviously, he was going to ridicule the energy that he had been holding back for the past few days. At the same time, Uchiha Madara controlled Susanoo and slowly lowered his bow and arrow, ready to see what happened to Charlotte Snag. How long does it take for such an opponent? It seems that some people are stupid and can't catch up with the speed of genius. At this time, a familiar and annoying voice entered Uchiha Madara's ears. Of course, Uchiha Madara didn't even have to look back for this familiar tone, and his mind had already added that Diablo fluttered his wings, maintaining his self-assured sassy look. Uchiha Madara turned to look. As predicted, just like the picture in his mind, Diablo fluttered his wings and looked at himself with a smile. It's just that the smile looked in Uchiha Madara's eyes, and she was bored. Humph. Advertisement. Did you think I'd be as troubled as you bastard? I just want to make the Big Mom pirates and the world more aware of the strength of our dimensional pirates. In battle, you must have the momentum of battle. Like me and Ace Kano, the bigger the movement, the better. Uchiha Madara also wouldn't let Diablo taunt him, only to see him folded his arms in front of his chest and said to Diablo. Oh, really? Sounds reasonable, but I've already killed people over there. And you, it seems that you still have such a breath. Diablo raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard the words, then pointed to Uchiha Madara not far away and said slowly. The smoke dissipated at this point, revealing Charlotte Snag, who had been attacked by Susanoo's consecutive arrows. I saw that his 7 orifices were bleeding, and his body was covered in bruises. Although he was also venting a lot and taking in less air, he still had the last breath to hang, and he didn't die right away. Advertisement. 193 Great Fortune, Ability Awakens. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Seeing that Charlotte Snag was not dead at the moment, but was extremely strong and held a sigh of relief. Uchiha Madara rolled her eyes at Diablo in the air, and then looked at Charlotte Snag, her teeth tickled with anger. Die when you're damned. At this time, you don't need to show your willpower here, hey. Oops, it seems that I took the lead in the fight against the Big Mom pirates. Just when Uchiha Madara was thinking about whether to control Susanoo and give Charlotte Snag another shot, and then kill Diablo with full firepower, it was Diablo's soft voice again. Words into the ear. Asshole. 9. When Uchiha Madara heard the words, her teeth itched with anger. Advertisement. In particular, the tone and style of Diablo's speech just now was exactly what he said when he was dangling in front of his eyes these past 2 days. This wave of anti-taunting from Diablo made Uchiha Madara's anger surging in his chest. Don't hesitate. First raise his hand to give that guy Charlotte Snag an arrow, and then control Susanoo to shoot Diablo out and kill him directly, so that his time in the future will be clean. Uchiha Madara made the decision in an instant. I saw that he controlled Susanoo to raise his hand, when he was about to mobilize chakra to show the blue arrow. The lingering Charlotte Snugger couldn't hold on any longer, and directly lowered her head and breathed. I'm so special. 39. Watching Charlotte Snag die without waiting for her to do it herself, Uchiha Madara only felt that there were tens of thousands of 5 people roaring past in her heart, and she couldn't help but scolded softly in her mouth. What, are you going to whip the corpse to cover up the embarrassment of your lack of strength? Uchiha to Madara, like. Advertisement. At the same time, Diablo spoke softly to Uchiha Madara. I killed you bastard. Hearing Diablo's words, Uchiha Madara replied directly, and at the same time controlled Susanoo to stab Diablo. Shoo. Susanoo's sword swing was easily dodged by Diablo. Watching Uchiha Madara angrily control Susanoo to give himself such a knife, the smile on Diablo's face became even brighter. As an opponent who has been with each other and fought tit for tat for a long time. Oh, seeking flowers. After seeing Uchiha Madara's behavior at this time, Diablo understood. He is in a hurry. Advertisement. Dodging several consecutive stabs from Uchiha Madara one by one, and looking at Uchiha Madara's gloomy face, Diablo only felt that he was refreshed at this time. While Uchiha Madara and Diablo were playing there, Ace Kano was nearing the end. Ace Cannon wrapped around Armament Hockey's Divine Axe Rita, but in the end it didn't cut Charlotte Daifuku's body. I saw a giant man with a black iron color all over his body blocking the path of the Divine Axe Rita with his hands. And the appearance of the giant man is exactly the same as the lamp devil summoned by Charlotte Daifuku's belt before. The only difference may be that the lower body of the previous Lantern Man is in a foggy state and is connected to Charlotte Daifuku's belt. The brawny man who appeared at the moment has a complete and strong lower body. Exclamation mark. At the time of life and death, under the strong pressure of death, Charlotte Daifuku's fruit ability awakened. Advertisement. 194 This is thanks to you. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The strong man of the lamp devil in front of Ace Kano is the fruit of his awakening of the oil lamp fruit. A lantern who shares Charlotte Daifuku armament hockey, observation hockey, has legs, is out of scope, and has an independent mind but is completely loyal to him. Moreover, after his awakening, he is connected with the life state of the lantern man. That is to say, as long as he summons the lantern devil, all the damage he has experienced and suffered during this period of 493 will be directly transferred to the lantern devil. So if you want to kill Charlotte Daifuku at this time, you can really kill him only if you kill that lantern man. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, I didn't expect it, Ace Kano, under your pressure, my fruit ability has awakened. Go, lamp demon, kill him for me. Looking at the lantern man standing in front of her, Charlotte Daifuku laughed and shouted to Ace Kano. Whoa, advertisement. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw the muscles of the lantern demon's arms bulge, and he threw the blade of the divine axe Rita directly. The divine axe Rita was thrown back by the lantern demon at an extremely terrifying speed. Woo, boom. At this time, the sun has been fighting for a while, and has climbed to a certain distance. Ace Kano looked at the divine axe Rita, whose muscles were even more bulging, and raised his hand to receive the divine axe with ease. Rita catches. At this time, it was already close to noon from the morning, and Ace Kano's strength had begun to soar towards his peak state. The attitude when speaking is also closer to the state of heaven and earth, honor me. Fruit awakening. Hey, rubbish is rubbish after all. The slight increase in your strength is only a short delay in the moment of your own death. Advertisement. Humble and weak. Don't forget, you are facing a man who stands at the top of all races. 35. Ace Kano carried the divine axe Rita, cast a disdainful glance at the lantern man who became independent because of the fruit awakening, and condescendingly condescended to Charlotte Daifuku who was like a dead dog over there. Tread, 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 tread. After all, Ace Kano is also a fast walk, carrying the divine axe Rita and rushing towards the lamp devil. Hey, go to hell. Seeing Ace Kano rushing in, the lantern man also waved his right hand, and instantly manifested his big knife, and also rushed towards Ace Kano. In an instant, Ace Kano and Lantern Demon, who each held a weapon, intertwined and fought together. The scene where the two of them were fighting at this time was like the titans who killed each other in myths and legends. If you don't fight until either side is out of breath, it will never stop. Same muscle expansion, same power output. Advertisement. There are not so many moves and skills, it is purely the collision of physical strength. Axe and knife, Ace Kano and the lantern. Ding, 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 ding. When. 4.6. Boom, 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 boom. 35. The sound of steel collisions is continuous, and every time the weapons collide, there will be a huge sonic boom. If it weren't for the two of them at this time, they were in the ocean under 10,000 meters. Then just listening to the thunderous roar, it would make people think that they came to the Thunder Island with continuous thunder and lightning like New World. Advertisement. 195 Dafu Shock. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Taking advantage of the gap between the Lantern Man and Ace Kano who were fighting like wild beasts, Charlotte Daifuku also took time to take a look at the surrounding situation. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it, just startled. I saw the two of the dimensional pirates, Uchiha Madara and Diablo, who were fighting with him just now, were actually fighting like a joke. What about Snag and Cracker? Is it defeated? Charlotte Daifuku was so nervous at the time, she quickly got up from the ground and looked around. Standing up, he finally saw clearly the fate of his two younger brothers. A ragged, 7-orifice bleeding died. Advertisement. The other one, although most of the body is still intact, has a large hole cut through at the location of the heart. In such a situation, Charlotte Daifuku's body, which was already reluctantly standing up, swayed instantly. Died. All dead. A strong sense of sadness rose from Charlotte Daifuku's heart. The expression on the face with the character, Zhang, also became distorted with grief. Their Big Mom pirates are different from those on the sea, the Backbone and Backbone are all Charlotte Linlin's sons and daughters. It is not an exaggeration to even say that Big Mom is the top family power in the pirate world. Advertisement. Of course, because Charlotte Linlin only cares about life, not temperament. As brothers, Perospero, Katakuri, Daifuku, and Owen also shouldered the responsibility of protecting and caring for their younger siblings. Therefore, in the Charlotte family, there may be intrigue, bullying and hostility among the juniors. But Perospero, Katakuri, Daifuku, and Owen are the oldest brothers of the generation. They are not only majestic, but they also care about their younger brothers and sisters while being embraced by their younger generations. At this moment, watching Charlotte Snugger and Charlotte Cracker die on the spot, his heart is naturally very sad. With a sad mood, he looked at Pokemus and Baron Eggy who were still fighting. At this time, Pokemus had been abused by the tornado and activated his Zone Devil fruit, indented into the turtle shell that had changed on his back, and was controlled by the tornado, smashing the ground like a walnut. At this time, Baron Eggy had also been smashed by the tornado, and the protection of the eggshell had already been smashed into the form of a juvenile Viscount, barely supporting under the attack of the tornado. Advertisement. As for the chessmen soldiers they brought, the casualties were even more severe at this time. Except for a few king and queen 493 pawns who had been given longer lifespans and were more powerful still alive, the remaining pawn soldiers were almost wiped out, basically shattered into pieces after pieces, piled up in mountains. Looking at the situation in front of him, it was already so bad. Charlotte Daifuku's heart is not only sad, but also a kind of fear. Two generals of the Big Mom pirates, a minister who was slightly stronger than them after awakening, two knight-level combatants, and two chessmen soldiers on board. Just such a configuration, put it in front of any force in the New World, it is definitely enough to give them a headache. But when I got to the Dimensional Pirates, everything changed. Advertisement. 196 Send you a happy one. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. 4 people. There are only 4 people out there. This is still in a state where the captain has not even shot. They have such a powerful and gorgeous lineup, and they were so easily killed and beaten by 4 people in this mere rut. What a difference this is. What a shame again. Just how terrifying the strength of the Dimensional Pirates is. Not to mention, in the information they collected, in addition to the captain, there were at least 6 people in the Dimension Pirates who did not take action. 4 of them were enough to hammer them, and they were almost wiped out. Advertisement. If the remaining 6 people and their captain Su Yong are allowed to take action together, can the Big Mom Pirates really hold up? Such doubts are like a boulder pressing heavily in Charlotte Daifuku's heart. Who was Charlotte Linlin's third son? The Bean Minister, who is in the decision-making circle of the Big Mom Pirates. Charlotte Daifuku has determined his thoughts in an instant. Can't fight them anymore. I absolutely cannot die here now. I must bring this news back to the Big Mom Pirates. When I go back, I must convince my mother to form an alliance with Kaido, who also has a grudge against Subai and the others. Only the Big Mom Pirates and the Beasts Pirates can resist such a powerful Dimensional Pirates. Charlotte Daifuku, who had a decision and an idea in her heart, glanced guiltily not far away, who was fighting against Ace Kano's strength. Exclamation mark. Advertisement. Charlotte Daifuku decides to sacrifice her lantern to get a chance for her escape. That was a skill he realized when he was awakened. When he encounters an irresistible enemy, he can use his mind to control the Lamp Devil to detonate the power in his body at the cost of his 10 years of life and the loyalty of the Lamp Devil. And because he is the owner of the Lantern Devil, or because he and the Lantern Devil are one body, the explosion energy generated by detonating the energy in the body of the Lantern Devil and achieving the effect of self-destruction will not harm or affect him. To put it simply, at the cost of his 10-year lifespan and the loyalty of the Lantern Devil, he can make the Lantern Devil blow himself up once. Moreover, this kind of self-destruction will only injure other people, and he himself can be unaffected by the self-destruction and remain intact under the self-destruction. Charlotte Daifuku looked around. At this moment, Uchiha Madara and Diablo are still playing like a fight, and Tornado is still playing with Pokemus and Viscount Chick. And Su Yong and the others on the Shira had just met Jinbei, Neptune and others. Ace Kano was fighting close to the Lantern Man again. If the Lantern Man blew himself up at this time, he would definitely suffer the most damage. Advertisement. Maybe, I can really replace one with the self-destruction of the Lantern Demon. With such a good opportunity, Charlotte Daifuku, who had no choice but to sacrifice everything to escape, was delighted. Immediately, he stared at the direction of Ace Kano and the Lantern Man, and silently recited a word in his heart. Boom. 9. Just as Charlotte Daifuku was meditating in her heart, the aura in the body of the Lantern Demon who was fighting with Ace Kano, Li Zhao, was also agitated instantly as if it were boiling. And the mutated state of the Lantern Man was also perceived by Ace Kano. He immediately raised his head and said arrogantly, "Hey, poor puppet, I finally realized that my weak strength can no longer be compared with me, who stands on the top of the race. It's been a long time since I fought someone so well. For the sake of warming up with me, I'll give you a treat. Level 35. Advertisement. 197 Lamp Demon blew himself up. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. As soon as Ace Kano's voice fell, the violent energy in the Lantern Man's body could no longer be restrained, and the majestic energy exploded. Like a nuclear explosion, the entire sky of the Fishman Island was darkened. There is only the center of the explosion between the heavens and the earth, and there is a light shining brightly like the sun. Gorgeous sparks and energy intertwined, wrapped in supreme force, sweeping away like an overwhelming sea. In an instant, the mountains shook, the sky collapsed, and the huge roar filled people's ears, causing many of the Dragon Palace guards and fish people who came to support them to become deaf. Advertisement. In this terrifying scene like World Destruction 507, Charlotte Daifuku used her milk strength to rush away quickly. And the rest of the people who were in the center of the explosion and within the range of the explosion also had magical powers like the 8 immortals crossing the sea. Uchiha Madara was not only under the protection of Susanoo, but also protected Diablo next to him in the palm of his hand when the explosion came. While Diablo was being protected by Susanoo's big hand, he also launched a defensive magic barrier, adding another layer of barrier to the two of them. Tornado, who was fighting with Pokemus and Viscount Chick, also used his psychic power to lift himself up quickly and kept himself away from the source of the explosion as soon as he sensed the danger. As for the Shira, only Su Yong who was on the ship shouted loudly. Wood-style wood expulsion jutsu. Advertisement. As soon as Su Yang's voice fell, a wooden shield with a green face and fangs grimacing was pulled up instantly. The huge and thick Grimace shield directly protected the entire Shira, as well as the Sun Pirates and Dragon Palace guards who had just arrived on the side of the Shira. The violent explosion produced by the Lantern Man was blocked by the Grimace shield summoned by Su Yang's wood style. Look at the fire on the other side of the shield, and the deafening explosion. Protected on the side of the shield, nothing happened, and the fish people who were not affected by any attack were talking about each other. As this the battle of the 17th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, the world's top fighting force. It's really terrifying. Yeah, if they didn't have such a strong strength, how could they have retreated after attacking Marine, making a scene of celestial dragons, and destroying naval headquarters? The world government has already listed them as the most dangerous group of people in the world. Now. Advertisement. Listening to His Majesty Neptune and Boss Jinbei, the Fishman Island has been approved by Lord Su Yong, and then the Fishman Island will be sheltered by them. Thinking of this, I suddenly feel like I am in heaven. Yeah, with the protection of so many powerful adults, we will no longer have to be bullied by anyone in the future. What a powerful and reliable group of adults. The explosion of the Lantern Man didn't last long, and it soon ended, and the ghost-faced giant shield summoned by Su Yang's wood style, like a deflated balloon, instantly withered and retracted to the ground. After the ghost-faced shield was retracted to the ground, the scene at the battlefield once again shocked the Sun Pirates and the Murlocs of the Dragon Palace guards. The former Fish Man's wharf no longer looks like a wharf. On the battlefield, there was a huge pit with a length of 50 meters. Advertisement. 198 ended. The victory of 4 people. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Inside and outside the pit are all broken walls, and none of the buildings are still intact. At the very center of the pothole, stood a muscular man with a golden axe in his left hand. The man's broad and strong chest rose and fell violently, as if he was breathing heavily. After he took a few heavy breaths, he turned around and strode toward the direction of the Shira. Until this moment, after seeing the man's face, some fish people who had read the wanted notice also recognized his identity: Ace Kano. The fish people couldn't imagine how Ace Kano was able to block this terrifying explosion, and it looked, still unscathed. Only the people of the Dimensional Pirates who really know Ace Kano are also secretly grateful for Ace Kano. Advertisement. Luckily it's daytime and it's almost noon. If it was afternoon or evening, then Ace Kano might not be able to handle it. Just when everyone cast their eyes on Ace Kano, a lowly-faced woman with green curly hair and a black slit gown slowly landed from the air. It was only then that everyone realized that the members of the Dimensional Pirates within the explosion range were not only Ace Kano. The tornado that floated over at this time was also one of the people who had just fought. So everyone looked around, and in the big crater that exploded, there was a tall, armored, blue-colored giant standing with a mask on. As if feeling the projected gaze, a white light instantly lit up on the mask above the blue giant's head. In the ray of light, a circular magic circle appeared in rotation, and instantly sent several strings of spell-like words in several directions of the mask. Advertisement. As the words of the spell were engraved on the mask gradually dissipated. At the same time, Uchiha Madara, who was in Susanoo, also released his ninjutsu, fell to the ground with Diablo, and swept back to the Shira at a very fast speed. All the members of the Dimensional Pirates assembled again, and no one was absent. And the Big Mom Pirates who came to attack the Fishman Island this time are not considered heavy casualties, that is, there are no bones left. After all, what Daifuku detonated was not just buildings and land, but also the corpses of Charlotte Snugger, Charlotte Cracker and those chessmen soldiers. 0 for flowers. On the Shira, looking at Ace Kano, who was gasping for breath, seeing that all the crew were unharmed, and even just at the center of the explosion, the Mermaid King Neptune sighed unconsciously. Little friend Su Yong, it is indeed you who can abuse the Big Mom Pirates to this extent. Advertisement. The old man is very convinced at this moment that with such terrifying strength, you will definitely be able to surpass that old fellow in Newgate. 55.0. In order to express my gratitude to the Dimension Pirates, the old man has just arranged for Minister Zuo to prepare in the Dragon Palace. The old man wants to invite Su Yong and your crew to the Dragon Palace and hold a banquet to celebrate today's victory for you. Ha 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 ha. 99. At the end of the day, Neptune, the banquet madman, left a glutton of saliva at the corner of his mouth. Uncle Neptune sincerely invites me, I have no reason to refuse. Hearing Neptune's words, the smile on Su Yang's face remained the same. After replying to him in a gentle way, he also turned his head and laughed at Uchiha Madara, who had been working hard. Brothers, let's go to the Dragon Palace for a banquet. La. Ha 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 ha. 5. Advertisement. 199 The Scheming of Akunorlia. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When I heard that I was going to hold a banquet in the Dragon Palace to celebrate, everyone in the Dimension Pirates had a bit of a smile on their faces. Especially Tornado, Emily, Anna, Rem, and Ram's children. Women are born with a strong interest in words such as mermaid and Dragon Palace. Hearing that they can not only go there to visit, but also have a banquet to eat and drink in it, he is naturally happier. Shoo, ha, ha, shish, shish, 507, shish. At the same time, a huge gray-white moray eel with a turtle shell-like house on its back floated slowly from the horizon. Advertisement. And outside the turtle shell house on the back of the moray, there are 3 words, Dragon Palace City, printed on it. This huge moray eel, the excursion boat of the royal family of the Fishman Island, quickly floated to the side of the Shira from far and near. Captain Su Yong, you and your crew can take an excursion boat to the Dragon Palace. The cruise ship is equipped with enough sightseeing equipment, so that you can see the scenery of the Fishman Island on the way to the Dragon Palace. As for your ships, you can stop here first, and I will let the Dragon Palace guards watch the ships for you. Seeing the giant moray floating, Xiao Xing, the great prince of Ryugu, also stepped forward, stretched out his hand and made a gesture of invitation to Su Yong, and said to him. Doremi trembles, the scenery of the Fishman Island is very beautiful, it will definitely make Captain Su Yong and you fall. As soon as the eldest brother's voice fell, the second prince Wang Xing also came up and said to Su Yong and others, singing and talking. Red roll over, see the perfect scene, then go to the Dragon Palace for a banquet. It's fun to be able to dance together and think about it. And the third prince, Karpap Star, was also on the side with his mouth wide open, twisting his body and jumping while talking there. Advertisement. Su Yong had met the three Sharksing brothers when he was in the first team of the Whitebeard pirates. What's more, the guys in their dimensional pirates are not normal human beings, so they have long been used to the strange behavior of their three brothers. So, then we don't. Su Yong nodded, ready to agree, but before he could finish his disrespectful sentence, he was interrupted by the sound of someone coughing. Cough, cough. Well, Captain Su Yong, I think it would be better for us to follow them in the Shira. One thing, this place has already been damaged by the Battle of Madara's guys, so it's really inconvenient to stop the ship. The second Shira can float in the air by itself, and it won't be too troublesome. Su Yong looked for the sound, and a clear expression appeared on his face after seeing the person who made the sound. .0. Exclamation mark. Advertisement. The person who spoke at this time was Aknerolia. As if feeling the strange eyes projected by Su Yong and other members of the pirate group, Aknerolia raised her hand and scratched her face with her fingers uncomfortably. Cut. Just as Akurolia's voice fell, a very disdainful voice came from the people of the dimensional pirates. Naturally, the person who will demolish Akurolia at this time is naturally his nemesis 4.6 Mewtwo. However, Akurolia, who heard Mewtwo's voice like this, did not start a war of words with Mewtwo as usual. He just glared at Xiaomeng with his own eyes. Obviously, he kept this account in his heart, and planned to settle the account with Xiaomeng later. The people around the Dimension Pirates saw this scene, and their faces were even more smiling and novel. Advertisement. 200 Giorno Choppers request. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Of course, if Tornado, Rem, and Ram don't feel comfortable sightseeing, you can take a cruise. Just leave me on the boat to control the boat and follow the cruise ship. You can travel with peace of mind, don't worry about me. The changes in the expressions of the companions were naturally seen by Akunorlia, but at this time he was very uncomfortable, but when he thought of some of his own hidden things, Akunorlia said with gritted teeth. Tisk. No wonder the defenses of lizard-like creatures are good. 39. It turns out that it is purely based on the thickness of the skin. Advertisement. Anna, 10 write down this point, such a discovery will play a key role in the development of our battle armor in the future. As soon as Akunorlia's voice fell, Yanran was not going to let go of her nemesis, Cheomeng. The tone commanded the person behind him. Standing behind Cheomeng, Anna, who was wearing a white coat, also immediately took out her notebook and pen, which squeaked down what Cheomeng just said. Anna, if this stupid cat's brain is caught in the door, you don't have to remember it. And, the thickness of the lizard skin has something to do with your ability to develop battle armor. 35. Stinky cat, I have endured you for a long time. It's my magnanimity to not care about you just now, don't try to make an inch. Finally, the long-suffering Aknerolia finally broke out. After saying a word to Anna with extreme restraint, she turned her head and roared in the direction of Mewtwo. Listening to the contrasting words and Akunorli's angry expression, everyone in the Dimensional Pirates nodded secretly. Advertisement. That neat appearance seems to be saying, well, this is the correct way to open it. The one just now, it's so unreal, it's like a dream. Seeing that Akurolia was about to fight Mewtwo again, Su Yong also said again. If that's the case, Aknerolia, drive the Shira and follow behind. Let's take a cruise ship to the Dragon Palace. Having said that, Su Yong is also ready to take Lime, Cam, Tornado and a few girls, whose eyes are already full of excitement and anticipation, to the cruise ship. Captain, you go first. I am on the boat to treat Mr. Namur and the friends of the Ryugu guards who were injured in the battle just now. It was at this moment that Giorno Chopper, who had not spoken until now, spoke up. Advertisement. Ha ha ha. Forgot that Mr. Giorno Chopper is a genius doctor. Your Majesty Neptune, allow me to introduce to you. Mr. Giorno Chopper, 507 Su Yang's ship doctor, has incredible abilities. He can not only regenerate a severed limb, but also treat internal injuries caused by shocks, and even necrotic internal organs. As soon as Giorno Chopper finished speaking, Jinbei next to the Mermaid King Neptune also stood up with a big laugh and introduced Neptune very enthusiastically. Listening to what Jinbei said, Namur also stood up for Giorno Chopper and said, cough, cough, His Majesty Neptune, as Jinbei said. After the top battle, Mr. Giorno Chopper used his amazing ability to rescue many brothers in the pirate group. Very reliable. Advertisement.